Gather around, freaks. Everyone put on your matching outfits because we're meeting at Hey, Did You See This One Square. All the podcasts in the city are joining to become one. Oh no, a tragedy. I guess the only one left can be this one. Let's get home. Let's let's get home to Toronto Island so we can gather around the internet radio and gather around the internet trash can fire because it's time once again for Hey, Did You See This One?
The night is dark, and the air is still.
That was weird. A human circles the sun likely 80 times in their life, and smack dab in the middle is 40. This month, one co-host of the hit review podcast, Hey, Did You See This One?, turns the big 4-0. There are no themes this time around, as Jason carefully curated a series of films that include horror, comedy, drama, and action to suit the needs of the one true ruler. Praise the ruler! The ruler also demands that Jason invite his best and most famous friends on the show in order to fulfill the wish. The birthday wish. Because this April, Hey, Did You See This One presents no themes, just friends. Jason's 40th birthday extravaganza.
Oh, hi. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hey, Did You See This One? The weekly, what is it?
It's a podcast.
What are we doing here?
Roundtable discussion podcast where we just have to ask the question, hey, did you see this one? On this show, we take a film and we completely pull it apart, leaving no stone unturned. And I, of course, am Jason R. Phillips. It's my month. It's my birthday month. I made that intro video. It's a parody of my co-host's much better done videos. Stephen R. Waters. Nope.
Yours is fine. Yours is good.
Yours is fine.
I said it's good. I said it's fine and
Thank
good.
you. I appreciate that, Steve. It is a Weird Al style parody of yours, though. I did that purposefully. And as you said a couple weeks ago, yes, I couldn't resist using footage, 20-year-old footage of me at this point from when I was probably 21 and working with our guests this week, Jenny R. Johnson, star of Art.
Art star Jenny R. Johnson.
Oh, hey!
And
Thank you for having me.
Welcome back to the show. And
I
the
love
first time on the show, coming all the way from somewhere, doing some things, a star of film, making films, Graham.
Nothing in particular.
Graham R. Pass.
Hey!
This is also a milestone. It's episode. Get this. Think about this. Try to conceptualize this. It's episode 180 of Hey, Did You See This One? It's season 3, episode 31 if you're playing at home. And just as I said, I used to work with these fine folks a long time ago. It's actually how I would have met Jenny originally at Eastside Mario's about 20 years ago at this point.
Like literally, yeah.
Jesus Christ. But Graham, actually, technically, we've known each other probably closer to 30 years.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I didn't know
Because we grew up you grew up in like Whites Lake and I grew up in Shad Bay.
I thought you were gonna say we grew up in the 1950s.
I was in Prospect.
In Prospect, right?
Yeah, so closer to Shad Bay than White Lake.
Right smack dab in the middle. So that's the history. Graham actually is sort of the reason why we're for the season why we're doing this. He's been telling me to watch the Warriors for 30 years. I finally got around to it about 2 months ago, and then I was like, you know what? This is what we're gonna do. We need to have Jenny back on. Jenny's never seen the Warriors or hasn't seen it in a long time or something.
20 years, yeah.
It's been a minute. Graham won't shut up about the Warriors.
I can't be silenced.
And now I thought it'd be a great opportunity to have a reunion with you guys and talk about it. And this is a fairly popular movie, and it is one of those films that kind of fits the vibe of this show because it is very much one of those movies you're at a party and they're like, have you seen the Warriors? And you're like, I don't know. I saw it in a background at a party one time, or I saw it on TV or whatever. But
are you guys also part of this crowd of people that have had like parties where you would just watch movies? Like this is a thing that Jason has said to me. I'm like, what is this world where it's like background party movies? I've never went into one of these. Okay, so it is like a phenomenon that maybe I just wasn't a part of.
That's the only time I've seen Jaws was at a party.
At a party in the background,
Yeah.
like everybody was chatting.
Background party, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. That's the kind of thing that would drive me insane. Maybe I just wasn't invited to them because I probably kept telling people to shut the fuck up so I could watch. Everyone stop talking.
I know at our apartment we had back in '05, we would put the Warriors on in the background, and sometimes looping all night.
There you go.
It's some Warriors on mute with Scatman full blast and
jeez, what a combo! Trying to see if the music lined up with the Warriors.
Syncs up with Scatman.
Yeah. I wonder if there was a Scatman gang in this somewhere in the background that we just never got to see.
I mean, odds are.
Graham, just really quickly, you're significantly more quiet now.
Right.
Are you able to turn him up in the stream?
He's max volume.
I'm maxed out. I'll lean right into it.
Yeah.
Is that all right? Or
Get your face in
now?
there.
You're officially one of the scat men.
Ooh.
Scat for us. Scat, I say. Scat now.
Okay, well, with that said, we are, of course, covering the Warriors from 1979. What's the first thing we do on the show after we introduce everybody? Oh, it's time for a quick synopsis.
Zardoz speaks to you.
Oh my god, he's back.
He demands you synopsize this film. Tell him how, why, who, what occurs in this film.
That's right. And since Graham was the one that incessantly told me to do this film, I'm going to have Graham give us a brief synopsis. If you've seen the show before, you don't have to tell the whole thing, but just in a quick paragraph.
Yeah. So The Warriors, 1979, directed by Walter Hill, begins with the titular Warriors heading to they are a gang in New York City. They are heading to an enclave meeting of all the gangs in the city, called by Cyrus, the leader of the largest gang in the city. And Cyrus's idea is to unite all these gangs because with the strength of all the gangs, they can take over the cops, take over the mafia, and live the gangster's paradise, I guess. And from there,
yeah, that's like Valhalla for gangsters.
Cyrus is killed at this big gang meeting, and the Warriors are framed for it. So the rest of the movie follows the warriors as they fight their way back to Coney Island, being pursued by every gang in the city.
Yeah, that's about it. You don't really need to expand beyond that because the rest of it is just them literally trying to get from one side of the city to the other while being pursued by rival gangs. Yeah, good job. Excellent work. I applaud you. But only half.
Yeah, it's the most concise brief synopsis I think that I've heard in a minute, because sometimes people meander a little bit. They're like, and then this like, no, just the plot is good. Well, thank you, Graham. Next up, this is a riveting segment every week. I think some of us are going to be like, I watched it, and other people, Graham, are going to have a storied history. So this is our brief history with The Warriors.
Brief history.
I'm gonna throw a curveball though. Jenny, why don't you tell us your brief history with The Warriors?
All right. Well, I have seen it before. I've seen it a number of times before. I just haven't watched it in 20 years. Yeah. And Graham gave me a DVD, and I still never opened it.
Oh, Jenny.
You know, like,
That's okay.
I look at it on my shelf and I'm like, I should really watch that. Anyway, but he brought me the
Is it
theatrical
still in the
cut.
plastic seal?
No. I cracked. Oh, sorry. I shouldn't say I didn't open it, but I haven't actually taken the CD out and popped it
No.
in. Anyway.
That would be way funnier if it was still
Yeah,
in the
I know.
plastic.
But that's it. But that's the one. That's the one.
It was. I gave you. It's this release. This was the original DVD release,
Mhm.
and I think I bought about 10 copies.
I remember.
To different staff members at Eastside
Mhm.
Marigolds.
Wow, you really love this movie.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard of that happening
Just
before.
had to-
Like someone
it's-
buying their favorite movie for their coworkers.
Yeah, well, we were die hard into it,
Mhm.
Right.
and so this would have been mid 2000s, like early university years for us. And I lived in a 2-bedroom apartment. There were either 4 or 5 of us living there at any given time. And I believe this all began because we looked at a Rolling Stone magazine that was counting down like the top 25 cult films of all time. And The Warriors happened to be up there. And I think from there we rented it from Video Difference. And watched it. Actually, I don't think there was a DVD release at that point because we started watching the VHS release and then got onto the DVD. But it's something that we watched over and over and over and over again and quoted, to the moon and back. So it's just one of those films that sticks with me because of obviously seeing it a million times, but the association of the friends that I had that we all watched it in that time period, and it was unforgettable, although I can't remember a thing.
Yeah. I had sort of a similar thing, but with Evil Dead 2 and the Army of Darkness.
Nice.
We would do the same sort of thing where it's like the night is winding down, everybody. Most people are gone. Let's put on a movie. It's either going to be Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness. Which one do we want? Do we want to chuckle or do we want to gut chuckle? You decide. Cool. My brief history for this movie is that it was it had a cult following, and there was a video game release in 2005. And so I had then sort of like inflated the grandiose nature of this movie, or lack thereof, in my mind, thinking like, oh, I guess this must be one of the best movies ever made if Rockstar is making a video game about it. And it turns out it's just really well suited to make a video game out of. It's not like the movie is, and this is not an opinion of the movie, because we will get into my opinion on the movie. But back then when I first watched it, I was like, I don't get it. I really don't get this. And I found myself drifting in and out while watching it, and it didn't really kind of connect with me in the way that I think it should have. And I never really gave it a shot again after that. And I have played the video game, and the video game was kind of the same, where I'm like, yeah, whatever. This is okay. It's not great. and that'll bring us to the rewatch, which is then, because I haven't watched it since then, which I really should have at some point, because I've gone through so many different like eras in my life of like appreciating movies for different reasons at different points in my life. So I would be interested to know what a 25-year-old version of me would look like, or a 30-year-old version of me would look like watching this movie, and what the opinion would be. Fortunately, we're only going to get this version of me. But yeah, not a huge history, but it is one that did stick in my mind enough that I remember the first time that I watched it, which a lot of these older movies, I'm like, I know I saw it at some point, but I don't know when, why, or how. I don't have any sort of nostalgic connection to it, where weirdly I do for this, even though my opinion of it wasn't great at the time.
That's pretty much exactly the same for me. I remember when the game came out, I hung out with a group of people. It was like late high school, and they were fascinated with the movie because they were punks, and they're the punk warrior crossover.
Oh yeah, Jason, your gang was called the Punky Perverts. I remember that.
Come here, see.
But it was one of those situations where a bunch of
Formerly just the perverts.
And they added leather and spiky gloves and stuff. Yeah.
You're not
Isn't
too
working
far
for
off.
us.
We can't just be called the perverts, guys.
Yeah.
But our friends had this house. They got this house on Windsor Street in Halifax, and it was like 6 dudes living in a house. And back then, it cost basically nothing to rent a whole house in Halifax. And I remember this movie just being on the TV all the time. And then the game came out, and they were playing the game, and they were quoting it and this and that. So, but I'd only really seen it through that lens. I'd only really seen bits and pieces on a TV in the background in these like house parties that Steve is like miffed by.
I'm not miffed. I just am like, what? But I do actually think that it is because I probably did get invited to one and told everybody to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I'm trying to watch this.
You can't put a movie on and expect me to just not watch it. What the hell's wrong with you? That's why I can't go to sports bars and have conversations with people.
Or those Toronto bars that are playing like a movie
with
like no sound.
Poltergeist 2 is on, guys. We have to pay
Ace Ventura 2.
Subtitles.
Yeah, what the heck?
My version of that though was UHF. It would be like end of the night. Let's put on UHF. But for this film, I actually didn't watch it until basically Graham was like, it's one of my favorite movies. You have to watch it. If you've never seen it, you should cover it on the show. And then I did finally sit down and watch it all the way through. And what I'll say is I basically only got the element of them trying to escape from the assassination. Watching it this week, basically for like the second time all the way through ever, I got so much more out of it. There's so much hidden in this movie, and I think I know why it is. I think there's more sort of discovery outside of what the movie is to be found than there is in the actual movie, because Graham's going to play a little game with us towards the end, and I think we're going to learn a lot more about the characters, because they don't really give you a whole lot to go off of. But it seems like these characters, like, are there books? Are there the Warriors books or something like Halo
comic books?
You're right about that, because it's so tight. They don't give you a lot of everything, and especially when you've got a cast this large. I mean, there are 9 warriors, and then you've got all the side characters and things like that. Some of the characters you only get their name once in the movie.
Yeah.
Like I no way you can get everybody's name watching this.
Is Cochise ever said in this movie?
He's one of those guys.
It is, because I was like, did he say goat cheese?
Yes.
Goat cheese
Yeah.
was what I said out loud to nobody.
And then like there's Snow.
Yeah.
His name I think is only said when they're running in the Furies scene. It's like him and
is that like the main bad guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. The clanky bottle guy. That's his name.
No. That's
yeah, that guy. And they don't say his name through the whole thing. So his name is Luther.
Evil name, so makes sense.
Yeah, and his gang is called the Rogues.
But
like Jason mentioned,
which you do see on the back of their jackets.
Actually, yes, you're right. You do see that.
Except when they all get into that car that has like another gang's name all over it. So confused. Like, what the hell? What's going on?
I referred to him in my notes as Casey Neistat. I don't know if you know who that is. He's a YouTuber from the early 2000s, and they look similar. Anyway,
he looks like a lot of people.
You're talking about Fingers.
Yeah.
That guy Luther. Okay, yeah.
Before I could remember, yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say when he's doing like his serious sort of like losing his shit mode when he's on the phone and stuff, I'm like, this guy is his face is transforming as he acts into Robert De Niro, back over into that guy from like what's his name, the guy who played like Archangel in the X-Men 3, but he's also in like a bunch of other things. I forget his name.
Right, yeah.
And then he was also like shifting into like this Canadian actor who was in one of the Freddy Krueger movies and a bunch of TV shows from when I was a kid. And I'm like, this guy's face is like, he's like Jim Carrey over here. He's doing all these facial expressions, and I don't know.
Yeah, he's just an AI morph video.
Yeah, it was good.
It's like Geddy Lee's shitty cousin.
Yeah, I can see Geddy Lee too. He's got the what's that family from like medieval times that were all inbred that have the weird elongated chins.
Oh god,
it kind of looks like that family.
The Mac Tonight family.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. Good pull. It's because TikTok. It's because TikTok is teaching everybody about everything all at once right now.
Why I'm getting stupider.
The Mac Tonight. The Mac Tonight gang would be great if they all had like weird moon faces. Do we? I forget if I asked Jason. I was like, you should ask the guests for us all to come up with a gang that we will pitch as a gang. If not, let's maybe while we're going through the show, we think about it and then we'll reveal it at the end.
I have mine, but we'll do it later.
You're not allowed to reuse the Punky Perverts because that was your gang in real life.
Fair enough. How about we talk
the Punky
about...
Perverts? Just a fun fact: they rolled around on pogo sticks, just like doing, like chasing.
I mean,
with chains, like,
get back here! Oh, like the sharks, like the sharks from Earthbound. Graham knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's what Jason's actual gang was Earthbound. They were just called Earthbound. Okay.
True.
Shall we move on to some other talk?
Production talk.
All right. Quiet on set. Are we rolling? Okay, let's shoot this piece of shit. Sound. Speed. Action!
This is the segment of the show where we talk about the production of the film, which I think Graham once again might have some insight on, but Steve's good at this stuff too, of course. I will say off the get that the budget for this film was $4 million and turned around a box office of 22.5, so should have been a sequel.
Yeah. I mean, this probably could have had like a Purge level franchise if they really wanted to. But I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe Graham knows why.
I've heard, yeah, sorry to butt in, but they apparently after the movie come out in theaters, a lot of gangs got into it. We're like, hey, let's go see this, get the whole gang together, and then it's rival gangs meeting up at theaters and fighting and things like that. Apparently,
that was back when that phrase actually meant get your literal gang together.
Yeah.
Wear your colors, wear your flag.
The studio got spooked and wanted to, and cut the movie early, so it didn't get as long a run as it perhaps could have.
It's crazy.
Interesting. But it is also seems like one of those ones where like maybe a remake would be in order, and like why not? And maybe set it in sort of like if you can get a budget high enough, make it sort of like a cyberpunk level of like future, because this is like in the future, but it doesn't tell you how many years or when, and like it looks like it's just the same year. Like there's nothing about it. Just seems like it's nighttime.
I'm gonna start to sound like a broken record throughout this because you've both watched the Ultimate Director's Cut, which I demanded Jason not to, and watch the theatrical cut.
Yes.
But this movie is an example of a movie that gets much worse because of the Ultimate Director's Cut. All the content is still there, but it doesn't need this animated intro where Walter Hill is telling you about this Greek story it's based upon, and then the comic book frames. All of that is in this Ultimate Director's Edition, and it is pretty much universally reviled by fans.
What the hell? Why would they
can
do
sort of
that?
see-
Yeah.
Well, I think Walter Hill, he would say, "Oh, it always felt like a comic book movie to me," and
Right.
fair enough.
So it's not even based on a comic book.
No,
it's
No.
so
Um,
this
it's based
movie
on a
is-
novel.
Yeah, this movie's
Interesting. So
based
I
on
guess-
a novel by Saul Urich. There are lots of differences we can
Mhm.
go over
Yeah.
later, but the sometime in the future was in, I guess, the original script, but I don't know if it was the editor or the studio, but they just decided like that's kind of pointless because when you just say something's a little bit in the future, shouldn't that mean something? Shouldn't it be setting up?
You'd think so,
anything?
yeah.
But
But
Mm.
you're just looking at then current day New York City, except everybody's in costume.
the
Yeah.
way I looked at it was, I was like, are they doing that just so that people aren't like, it's not like that. It's not like that. If we just say in a little bit in the future, people are like, maybe it will be like that.
Maybe
One
in the
day,
90s.
5 years from
Yeah,
now,
right?
from now, yeah.
Because that's what I sort of drew from it. I was like, this is a weird, just like, is this a weird dystopian future? But then it specifically isn't, because a regular prom people get onto the subway,
Yeah.
and then you
Yeah.
you see that there's a divide in
Listen, Jason,
like,
we're
the
living in a
social
dystopian
levels.
future right now. And people
Yeah.
still go to
Exactly,
prom.
right?
We
Well,
can see how
and-
that you can see how that colored both of your sort of experiences of
Mhm.
it immediately puts in your head the question of like, oh well, what is this future? And if you're not focusing on, if you're looking for little details of like, oh, is that an iPad over there?
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
that's you're already on the wrong path.
Give
Like,
me a
the
hover
theatrical-
car. or
Totally,
something.
yeah.
The theatrical movie starts with the shot of the Wonder Wheel, the big Ferris wheel, with the Warriors.
it's a great
over it.
shot too, yeah.
And then it goes like the music starts bumping, dun, 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 dun,
Mhm.
and then you get the shots of the train interspersed with credits and the guys talking to each other. So I can kind of see when they marketed the game is when the DVD came out, the director's cut. So I think they wanted to really kind of tie those together with a similar art style. And if you remember the ads for the and the cover art, I think even for the game, it was a very comic book style that's sort of replicated in these rotoscopy
Yeah, I guess there's like a.
things.
I can see like how you could take something like this, where it's like this is based on sort of this mythical story that was told in texts long ago. What is the equivalent of these sort of heroic texts now? Comic books, superheroes, that kind of stuff. Like I can see how that would be kind of interesting to somebody to do, but Jenny, for example, amazing artist. I dabble as well. But, like, these were not good drawings. They were just frames of the movie that they traced over and put like flat colors on top.
Right.
And they didn't really have any sort of artistic merit. And I even used the example of Grand Theft Auto 5 and Red Dead Redemption. They have
Mhm.
the same sort of like traced style with style though. Like you can tell that they spent hours meticulously making these images look good. But this movie didn't do that. They're like, we're just gonna use. I'm not even gonna use a stylus and a pen. I'm just gonna use my mouse to outline this guy and drag and drop a brown. This guy's peach color. And then done. And then like it looks like absolute shit.
Yeah.
And every single time it happened, I was like, come on, like hire an artist. You can give them the images, like take the frame from the movie, give it to an artist, give it to Jenny, and Jenny will spend hours giving you good stuff. And like it's just kind of disappointing, right? Because if you're trying to make it look like a comic book, then make it look like a comic book. Don't make it look like you put it in Photoshop and up the contrast and drag dark lines around the edges.
Mhm.
It actually was making me mad. I was like, and this is the thing is like I knew that this was added because I'm like, obviously this is a digital upgrade or add. This wasn't part of the original thing. You can just tell by looking at it. It also there's such a contrast from like this super stylistic and well shot movie from the late 1970s with just these gross digital drawings slapped in as transition pieces. And the text, me and Jason had a little conversation about this as well. The text they add, it doesn't add anything.
No.
At all.
It's annoying.
If anything, it
almost
retracts. Yeah. Yeah. It's
Like-
Later,
he's alone
dot,
now.
dot, dot,
Oh,
dot,
really?
dot, dot.
Thanks. Yeah.
I'm not going to take this too far off topic for this, but it's like the way that you guys would have experienced this movie is the way that you also experienced Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves in the episode that
Right.
Jenny was also in. So Jenny and I, I also saw Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, 50 times as a kid.
Mhm.
But when I listened to your episode, I didn't even know there was a, director's cut or whatever.
Neither did I
And-
until I was
and
in
just-
it.
And yeah, you seemed horrified by it.
Yes.
From what I was hearing, it was just like they took all the cut scenes where the maybe the editor or somebody was like, is this like too rapey? Is there too much rape stuff in this?
Yeah.
And then they're just like, put all that back in.
No such thing. Put it in.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Hey, you know that witch? Sheriff's her son. Huh.
Why not?
Yeah, just
And then
things
it-
that don't add it, things that detract from the movie that were taken out for a reason.
Yeah.
And then you jam them back in, and so yeah. That's
was
your
talking
first
to-
experience with it. It totally colors it.
Mhm.
We had a little conversation today about Gladiator and Ridley Scott and how he's notorious for going back and coming up with new versions of his movies as well. But he's like sort of the outlying example of somebody who goes back, and sometimes his director's cut will be shorter than the theatrical cut. And he's
wow.
like, I'm taking stuff out because it's not needed. And
Yeah.
he knows how to like tighten it to the point where it's like, now it is actually a better movie. I'm not
Right,
gonna
he's
just throw
actually-
a bunch of Ewoks blinking and like, you know what, maybe we need a couple of Jawas going Houdini over here. It might be good, right?
Mhm.
This is all because I watched the extended cut of Gladiator. I watched it just to like prepare for Gladiator 2, and I couldn't really tell what was added because in my head it was already that long. It went from
Right.
235 to 250. Literally think, and me and Steve and I like kind of had this conversation. It just seemed like the fight scenes were maybe a bit longer, and there was a bit more of Commodus being like looking off into the distance for a little bit longer, contemplating murdering his own
Right.
family and everybody around him. Great film, and also it was weird to look at the warrior through the lens that it's supposed to be like a new version of an ancient warrior or group of warriors that have to take on this journey, where the Gladiator film is literally that. I didn't do that on purpose, it just sort of played out like that. But I've had these kinds of Roman warriors on my mind for
I have a question. I don't know
week.
if you have the answer, Graham, but like,
Sure.
was it Walter Hill that decided to make these changes? Like, is this a director decision or is this like beyond that? Okay.
Curious about this
Yeah.
too.
So
Because Walter Hill is like, he is one of fucking Ridley Scott's homies. Like they
Yeah.
have
Right.
worked on so many things together.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the novel by Saul Yerk was like, it says up front, like this is based on, I don't know, it's called Anubis or something.
Yeah.
It's probably not it, but and so that's where Walter Hill got that from. And I from his interviews in this Ultimate Director's Cut, in the special features, he does say like, well, I wanted to feel more like a comic book and I wanted to have this introduction, but I'd have to watch to see what he says again, because I just don't understand what it adds really.
Yeah.
It seems like it's just misguided because it already feels like a comic book. You don't need to add these comic
Totally.
transition,
Yeah.
like these
Totally.
I don't know
And the-
whose idea the transitions were, but
The transitions that exist in the movie, like those empty street scenes sort of in between the set pieces, are so good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so like they do their job so well. I can't imagine throwing crap in between them.
Yeah.
That sounds crazy to me.
And
From what
even,
I
like-
read though, like that his original vision was to have it be like that, and there was just like the technology or the time
Oh,
constraint, the
God.
budget wasn't there for it. And I was reading
does that remind
people
you of?
talking about it on Reddit, and it's like this is a great example of the budget not being there, and you're forced to fucking just make the movie. But
Yeah.
for some reason, these directors go back and take another pass at it,
Mhm.
and Walter Hill unfortunately made the wrong choice. I think
I know, but that seems like a fucking bullshit. That seems like it's bullshit to me because, like, I can see Spielberg or Lucas going back and doing that because they're making science fiction movies where the technology is literally not there to add. In Cloud City, they digitally add windows because they were just in a big white room for a lot of it.
Right.
Now they have cool cities in the background. That's a cool additive thing to do.
Mhm.
But this movie just putting in transitions when, you know, they spent all this time to make the lighting and framing
Yeah.
like so painterly and nice. Like everything is framed so well
Yeah.
in this movie that it feels like a drawing or something that you're taking time
Yeah.
for, which, you know,
I think-
a lot of movies don't really do a lot of the time
Totally.
to add that level of stylization to make it seem like it's a dynamic comic book page. And
I
this
think
movie's
Graham
doing it.
might be onto something when he said that since they released this at the same time as the game,
Mhm.
they wanted to have that tie-in, and at the time people loved this gimmicky
It's
bullshit.
true.
You know, like people were
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, give me the animated shit," but it almost looks like the equivalent of now AI slop. It's
Yeah.
poor
that's a good
digital
analogy.
nonsense that somebody did
Mhm.
not.
Yeah.
If they would have taken the time and effort to like actually rotoscope or make it look like the 70s, not just a
Totally.
weird bad, you know,
Well,
it
like
reminds
think
me
about
of
the Ang Lee. Think about the Ang Lee.
I was just gonna say the Ang Lee. I was just gonna say the Ang Lee Hulk.
But the Ang
those
Lee Hulk
comic-
is good. I'm
It's
saying
good, yes.
use
Yeah.
it as an example. And did that not come out before this re-release?
Right
This
before it,
re-release came
yeah.
out in 2005. No, Ang
I
Lee.
think that was
The
2002.
Hulk came
or
out in
3.
2003, I believe.
Yeah.
What?
So- Yeah.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people hate the Ang Lee Hulk movie. I do not. I think
I like it.
it kind of
Mhm.
rules.
Nostalgic for me.
Anyway, I think we're really harping on this aspect a lot. I don't think we need to like
Mhm.
deplete our gas powered thingamajig that we're all driving through the woods right now. But like
True.
we
Graham's
should
like,
talk
I am
about-
powered by the sun.
yeah, the sun
Fine.
powers me and it's
Yeah.
gone down.
Yeah, there's only really one more like blatant time where the comic freeze frames is awful, and we'll get to that later.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
talk about it more in the body as well. But like, I didn't the opening like warrior stuff. Those drawings look like actual drawings, so that didn't bother me as much. I'm like, oh, this looks like somebody actually drew this. Whereas the ones throughout the movie, again, it reminds me of when I was first learning how to digitally paint, and I would just be like, I'm gonna do a picture of my mom for my mom, and I would like take a photo and be like, tracing all the faces. I don't know how to do hair yet. Oh, this is fucking gross. I'm never gonna show anybody. And then delete. But these guys didn't delete. They used it in the movie.
To sort of pivot off of that, I just wanted to mention that the music and the score and the songs that were made for this movie are all great.
Oh yeah.
And that's pretty much everything I wanted to mention about production talk this week, because Walter Hill is a pretty prolific director. He's a
He's a
things like
writer,
48
director, and producer. He's
Yeah.
not in any way a bad member of Hollywood, as far as I know, in terms of like the bad stuff that we always talk about. But like in terms of the stuff that he's worked on, freaking dynamo, man. Like he's got a lot of stuff that I'm like, oh, but he's also directed things that I'm like, that sounds like a parody of a movie. It doesn't
Mhm.
sound like a real movie. Like my friend Andrew always says, like, have you ever seen that Stallone movie, Bullet in the Brain or whatever? I'm like, and I start laughing because I feel like he's making up like a stupid title. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's a good one, buddy. And he's like, no, it's real. I'm like, what? And then I look it up and it's called
Bullet to the head. I'm in a movie called
That's
Bullet to the
amazing.
Head.
But like Walter Hill's had he directed 48 Hours, which is a pretty good film, and Brewster's Millions, which I really enjoyed.
Did he?
Yeah, and
Oh, that's so
but he's
nice.
produced like most of the Alien movies. So
I think
How to
everything
produce
that Ridley worked on as well is like stuff outside of it, right?
Wow.
Right?
yeah.
And if
All
Walter
right.
wasn't producing,
Am I
think
wrong?
Walter's wife, Deborah Hill, was also producing. a lot of
Walter
things.
White?
Walter's wife. Well, he produced things too.
Oh man, he even produced Alien versus Predators.
Yeah, and Prometheus, your favorite movie.
Nice.
I love Prometheus.
I like
But
Prometheus.
mostly I love watching the 8-hour commentary where it's like just Ridley Scott talking about the movie and then it goes right into like all the special featers and he just talks through all of it. And you can
Amazing.
tell he's drinking wine and eating beer nuts the whole time. He's like nobody will fuck with me anymore. I'm a fucking genius. Like, eating beer
That's
nuts.
awesome.
There's a part
I
in
think-
the special features where all these concept artists are working and they're like, yes, we always knew that Ridley was around when they would wheel in a cart full of red wine. Like you see, it's like, and Ridley's just like drinking red wine, being like, this one's good. Yeah. Oh, this one's very scary.
Oh
yeah.
my god.
But yeah, I think we can wrap up production talk unless anybody has anything else to add. looking at you, Graham. Is there anything about the production that you want to
You know,
add in?
the costume design is
Yeah.
something else.
It's crazy.
I don't know who the costume designer was, but
Mhm.
the production designer. But apparently Walter Hill had just given her like a really long list of gang names. So-
Amazing.
Right.
And she had
And
to
no
just pick-
direction. She's like, well,
Yeah.
orphans. Let's see. They got to be dirty and green.
Gotta be
Yeah.
dirty, green.
Yeah.
Leader's got to look like David Schwimmer from the other side of the tracks.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's so
He's
much.
Bizarro
there's so many,
Schwimmer.
like, different gangs, different, just a really punchy style. That it's and a lot of it's iconic too. Like, apart from the Warriors, which has been influenced, hip hop and comics and other things.
Yeah.
Like the image of the Baseball Furies, I
The
thought
Baseball
is
Furies, for
pretty
sure.
recognizable, even if you haven't
Mhm.
seen the Warriors. It looks like something that you recognize.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially like
agree.
the yellow and black face guy. Like that guy's that's the. Even when I saw it, I was like, oh right, I forgot about this guy, but I knew
Yeah.
he's in my dreams sometimes, chasing me around with a baseball bat.
Uh-huh.
I looked up the costume designer. It's a person called Bobby Mannix. Nothing really that sticks out to me, like End of Days, Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2003,
Oh.
Muppet Madness from 1988. There's
I knew it was
also
her. Sorry,
Mary.
I was like last night. I was like, as soon as I saw the woman's mouth go up to the microphone, and she's like, "The Warriors, sorry, but we're
Oh.
coming for your ass."
All right,
I was like, I'm like, wait a minute.
Oh yeah.
I know this mouth, and I was like,
You
and I
do.
know this voice, and I was like, all right, agents, you need to find Carmen San Diego.
Oh, that is her. Holy
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The
I didn't
cheese.
want to. I didn't want to say it immediately because I was like, all right, reel it in, Steve. You might just be getting a little too excited here because
No.
she's also in one of my favorite movies of all time, Shaft 2000. But she is a good actor, and I
Forgot
was
that
glad
existed.
to see. You don't even see her
Mhm.
face; you just see her mouth, a close up. of
Yeah.
her mouth.
But that voice, I mean,
Oh
anybody
yeah.
in our age range would recognize as the chief from Carmen San Diego,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and I'm sure other things.
Yeah.
This movie,
Shaft
The
2000.
Warriors, and Shaft 2000. And that's it. Do we want to talk? We want to get right into it. It's
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with a short body.
The body of the episode.
So I also want to immediately hit you guys with this.
Take it first.
That's when they said the name of the movie in the movie.
This is one of those movies where the name of the movie is, of course, the thing that they're saying constantly. But this might be a record. 2 minutes and 26 into the movie during that opening segment, he says "the Warriors," which is also more rare than you would think, where they include the. But
Right.
this is a film that does start out with kind of a stylized intro bit. That Ferris wheel is iconic. I couldn't find the theatrical. I couldn't find it using the ways that I find movies typically. It might be
Mhm.
lost to physical media owners only to have real, because from what I read, even if you have the ability to watch this on streaming where it still does exist, I think it is the ultimate director's cut on streaming.
Mhm.
I did read that elusively you can find situations where like Amazon might have the selection for both, but I think that
Right.
might be Amazon US. But my version of this movie did open with that bullshit. The Warriors of
It's
yore.
fine. It's not that part is not that bad.
But it does. The movie opens with the iconic Ferris wheel,
Mhm.
and it goes from there with the score over subway trains, sights from around the city. They're talking about going to.
It's very, very good.
Summit. Yes,
All of
It
this
is.
very good. There's only one part that I was like, ugh, of course, but that's me. That's a me thing. I'm sure people in the 1970s were fine with it, but I was the whole time thinking like, this is such
Then
a.
I know what it
Right.
is.
Yes. Okay. Just got it. Okay.
What did you do, Jason? Did you do did you do this or something?
No, I didn't do. I
Okay.
crossed off one of my notes.
All right.
I think you just got everybody to figure out.
You
what
all
it was
figured it
we
out
were
at the same
talking
time.
about.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
But the way it's shot, the way we're framing close on everyone's faces, we're
Mhm.
giving everybody sort of an identity and sort of a snapshot of these characters
Mhm.
and showing just sort of a little tiny slice of their thought processes and their personalities, and more importantly, giving everybody sort of a moment to be framed up so that we'll be able to recognize them throughout the movie a little bit easier, which is like,
Mhm.
it's sort of like a better version of, have you ever seen like Suicide Squad, where they spend fucking 25 minutes introducing you
Yeah.
to every character and you
Yeah.
don't give a shit about any of them?
Both movies
this-
do it too. It's not like one or the other. They both
Yeah.
introduce
But the second one, they
random-
do it a little bit faster, quicker, and better. Like it is
Mhm.
better. This is like, it's like that, but super condensed. And they're also giving you sort of exposition as to what's
Mhm.
going on, but with enough mystery for you to not really know exactly what's going on.
I tried.
Yeah.
I tried to write them out as they appeared, and here's what I wrote: purpley guys, mimes; army guys, thugs, the warriors; Asians, but they're kind of like Genghis Khan.
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, they're like
Greasers.
Mongolian-ish.
You're like,
they're
the
yeah.
Huns,
Definitely
the
step-
Huns.
step-
Yeah.
Greasers, electric terminators, Spanish guys, I guess. And then
Most
I
of
was
the
like,
gangs were like not homogenous, but every once in a while you'd get one that is like, okay, that's all one race, I guess.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
at the same time, I don't know. Even then, you're sort of like you're peering in the background, being like, I think there's a
Yeah.
black guy there. I think there's a white guy there.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think it's all. Yeah.
It's a good blend.
They didn't
Of
want it to
course.
be like the race warriors. You know?
yeah,
Yeah.
s- silver jackets and
That
tank
would've been the
tops.
sequel.
Yes.
And tank tops. Yeah, and so they in the book, the gang that the Warriors are based on is a black and Hispanic gang.
Mhm.
And Walter Hill wanted it to be a black gang, but it's 79 and the studio's like, I don't know how that's gonna play. So
It's a weird thing where it's
they
like,
split it in half. As
yeah,
far as the
but
Warriors go.
they kind of mixed it up, and it I don't know, as far as movies translating well to a modern day sort of way that we would do movies like this now, it's sort of like it's on par with like how we would do it now.
Yeah,
we
that's
would- we
actually
would-
surprising. Yeah.
I was also sort of like, did fucking John Carpenter direct this? Because John Carpenter's always been pretty good at sort of like making sure that there's a lot of representation in his movies, because he walks around the world being like, what are you talking about? Not everybody's white, black, Asian, or anything.
Yeah.
We're all mixed up here, folks. We should have representation everywhere.
Yeah.
So I was kind of pleased that at least the Warriors had that sort of non-homogeny, and we're getting a little bit of everything.
Mhm.
And forgive me for saying, but Rembrandt, gay, right? Like he's gay. He's
Oh,
definitely
yes,
gay.
okay.
Yeah.
If not
Come up
very
eventually.
heavily queer coded.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is,
Yep. 100%. I mean,
which makes other
know if-
guy, Dexter's dad or whatever, that guy needs to chill out, man.
Oh
You're
my
being
God.
So offensive to your
Yes.
good friend Rembrandt.
Yes.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ajax
but-
just wants to lay wool, which is the craziest thing I've ever heard, and he drops multiple F slurs through the movie,
Yep.
which I hated. But he was an interesting like foil for Swan, I thought.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
'Cause Swan is very like laser focused on what we have to do, and you have this guy yapping in his ear. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Grand Theft Auto 5 with the two I can't remember their names now, Lamar and no, that's not his name. You know what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
The guy that can drive well.
Oh,
Trevor? No.
No,
He blows things up. Franklin?
Franklin
Franklin
and
his friend. I think his friend's name is Lamar, isn't it?
yeah.
Maybe.
You better get rid of that yee ass haircut. But that's what those two reminded me of, where it's like one guy trying to do right and one guy just being like, well, why are we trying to fuck over here? It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
It does have a
Gross.
very Grand Theft Auto energy to it, which is like, again, one of those things where I'm like, am I just sort of connecting it to that because it was a Rockstar video game, or do I actually feel that way, or did they choose it because they're like, this is sort of on brand for us and could exist
Yeah.
within our sort of Rockstar world?
I wanted to say that about the Warriors game because they also had that other game, State of Emergency and Manhunt, that were all around the same time.
Oh,
Or they were
man,
just
you really
trying-
are a member of the punky perverts, aren't you? Jesus
Well,
Christ.
Rockstar was like, Grand Theft Auto, let's use the same engine from GTA 3 to make these interesting other things. And State of Emergency was like, what if what if a mall was on fire and you had to kill as many people as possible? And that that's kind of like this. And the Warriors is like, I think you're a gang and you fight other gangs and you move through the plot of the movie. And Manhunt, well, we don't talk about Manhunt because it's a snuff film, the video game.
Except it got a sequel and those other ones didn't.
Yeah, that's true. The punky perverts are in effect,
Yeah,
buddy.
they love it.
What-
Actually,
what
Manhunt is
game?
not nearly as egregious as like it was made out to be. It was just like Saw, except like if Saw made you have to kill prison because you're killing killers. You're not killing innocent people. You're like killing other perverts and monster
That
men.
was still in the time that video game violence was on.
Yeah. I think it got
many
banned in,
politicians'
like-
radar, and then it
Yeah.
spirals out of.
It was like our
Yeah.
satanic panic. There was like this thing in the early 2000s
Yeah.
where video games were being so heavily vilified for any type of violence that existed, which is now, I think, been scientifically proven over and over again to not be the case. I think it's like
Yeah.
even where it's like, no, it actually reduces people's tendency to be violent because they're able to sort of exercise that part of their brain without committing it in real life. So it's maybe healthy for people to go and run people over in GTA 5 or whatever.
Kept me out of prison.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been definitely. No, I don't want to get into that. We
Right.
already did that the other night. So Rembrandt's
maybe-
gay, right?
Yeah.
So
Anybody else?
There are
about that?
there are definitely a few scenes that hint to that, and if we want to just get, I'm not going to talk about the scenes, but there is this sort of protectiveness in the way that some of the warriors speak to him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm not talking about Ajax, obviously, because
Yeah.
Ajax never really talks to him throughout the movie.
Mhm.
But there is this sort of like older brotherly concern in a few of the scenes with
Yeah.
Rembrandt. Like
Yeah.
at one point where Cochise makes fun of him, and he's saying like, "That's high math for Rembrandt," and Fox is like, "Oh, don't worry about it. He's just nobody can read.
He's
these
being a
things,"
prick. Yeah. Leave
Yeah.
him
you
alone.
know? And
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
very sheepish, and he's kind of got that sort of like, he's sort of like a little bit more feminine, and he also just kind of like doesn't give a shit when the women are there. He's like, oh god,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
fucking hell.
If anything, I think when he's watching the women, especially when the women are dancing together, he's like,
Ugh.
no,
Yeah.
not like bad,
Wait,
like
you can do that?
like not,
He's like, wait a minute,
you know,
two
not so
women
much
can
like,
kiss?
oh,
Does that mean
lesbians,
two
yeah,
boys can kiss
but like,
too?
but like, this is like an oddly safe queer space, also, like
Yeah.
that sort of.
I mean,
yeah,
they are
he-
called the Lizzies. I think that's
yeah,
that's
exactly,
little on the nose.
exactly,
Pretty on the nose.
yeah.
But
we'll
at,
get-
at
yeah,
this,
there's more. There's definitely some more hints that we can pick up on as we go through.
Yeah.
At
So
this
I
point in the
immediately am like, well,
story-
Rembrandt has to live. If Rembrandt dies, this movie is going to
Yes.
from a 4 to a 0.
Exactly.
if Ajax kills Rembrandt and then drops an F slur, but that does
I
not
was hoping
happen.
that Ajax would end up kissing Rembrandt at the end, and it would be revealed that all of it was just internalized homophobia.
Right.
Yeah.
So they get to the meeting. Cyrus wants to unify all the gangs, and he basically says like, this city could be ours if we didn't infight so much. There, and also this is the like dystopian element of it, because it might be less dystopian and more anti-elitist, anti-authoritarian message, because they're like, there's 20,000 police and there's 60,000 of us if we all unify. So this might be a dystopian future that's exactly like what it's like now,
Yeah.
where if we just rise up a little bit.
It's a
Yeah.
good
I
scene.
didn't say
It's
it.
like, it is very much like straight out of an old, golden age of Hollywood soldier scene where they're like,
Totally. Yeah.
he's rallying everybody together in order to take down the evil empire that's coming for them.
Mhm.
Even like Star Wars or like the Matrix, like they've all emulated this type of scene, and it's rare that you see it in this sort of context, and it's very cool. Like this whole
Yeah.
beginning is like so good. I think the
Yeah.
movie is like 5 out of 5 amazing right up until after all of that. Like as soon as they leave and like they're just running home, like that's when the stars start to fall off for me. But like this whole beginning chunk is just like awesome. I'm invested. I want to know more. I want to see everything that happens. He gets assassinated. Holy shit. This is tense. Oh my god. This guy's the evil guy. This little fucking goblin man. They're called the goblins probably, right? And he's the Goblin King.
Yeah.
But he does. Cyrus uses the iconic line, "Can you dig it? Can you dig it?" Which
it's been quoted in so many things. Go ahead, Jenny. Sorry.
Can we talk about the Dwayne Johnson of it all? Like when I saw this movie, it was right when The Rock was coming up. Like when I first saw this movie, and I was like, oh, this is his character. This is literally where he got this character from.
I mean,
even what he's doing with his face, there are like facial
a bit
expressions.
Of the eyebrow,
oh my
I
god!
can see
Like it isn't even just that. There's like when he calls them suckers, like there's it's The Rock. It is
I don't
The
wanna
Rock.
be pedantic. Okay. The wrestler you may be thinking of is Booker T because he says, "Can you dig it, sucker?"
Oh no. I'm not talking about can you. Although at that point, The Rock was using "Can you dig it." I had heard him say that at that point.
I'm not gonna argue with you.
But no. But also,
like, I
can
don't
you
want a
smell what The Rock
man's
is cooking? Can you smell what The Rock is cooking? Right?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm just saying. Like
The only thing
very
that I'll say, like, I do see what you're saying. The only thing that the pedanticness of it is that Booker T specifically would say, "Can you dig it?"
right.
The Rock,
Sorry. Yes.
The Rock never said, "Can you dig it?" But I do see what you're saying with this character sort of holding that, having the mannerisms and captivating an audience of 60,000 with relative ease. I do get that, and The Rock would have peaked right around this time too.
Like
So,
when he because I mean it was like post Rocky Maivia, but just like early Rock days when
Yeah.
I first saw this film, and that was like
I can't believe that he used to be Rocky Maivia.
I
before
was
that.
watching Monday Night Raw the first night he came out with his little tassels on. Thank you very much.
Yeah, he was the blue chipper, and he
Yeah.
had the weird tassels, and
Yeah.
it's interesting now to see how far Samoan wrestlers have gone. They don't have to slap these weird
Right?
pseudo Samoan gimmicks on them all the time. But when they do, it actually pays homage to the actual island of Samoa.
Exactly.
But I agree and disagree, but I agree.
I don't have an opinion because I don't know nothing about wrestling.
That's all right. You have
Just
more
like
brain
The
space
Rock,
for other things.
Cyrus,
True.
they really
I
work
have no
crowd.
brain space.
Yeah,
for
right?
anything.
This crowd really gets worked up.
Mhm.
This is one of those scenes that it's really fun to watch the background because
Oh, yeah.
you're thinking like how they directed these people. Like the reactions to some of the things Cyrus says are just like, there's the first ADs over there and be like, yeah, scream as loud as you can and throw your arms up in the air.
Yeah.
Because it'll be can you count, suckers? And then guys are throwing the arms up in the air, being like like they just won the lottery or their mom beat cancer.
I know how to count. I can count. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only bit of trivia I know about this one, as far as because they had to coordinate all these extras running, so it would essentially be you
I
get
noticed this,
one
yeah.
group of guys
Mhm.
and say, all right, you guys, you're running that way, you're running this way, and you're running that way, and action kind of thing. So
Yeah,
it
it's
is a
very hectic.
impressive and busy and hectic scene for sure.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you see me turning my head, I'm watching it at the same time.
I see.
I'm just keeping it.
Yeah, I love it.
Just for like frame reference.
Keep us on track. Yeah.
This is a good example of, I really like getting to do this where the last time I saw the movie was like many, many, many years ago because like you were saying earlier, Steve, it's like you're a different person watching it this time. And for me, I realized there's so many things I wasn't paying attention to. There were so many things about filmmaking that I didn't know about that
Yeah.
now I'm like, I see, and it's so interesting to me. Even down to the fact that he's wearing a silk robe, that all of the the captains of the Riffs, I guess, are silk robe guys, and then all the under guys are all not. But I
They all get a robe.
just never. Well,
His is nicer though, yeah.
yeah, and
Definitely,
and when they're all lined up, then like the guys at the front of the row each have like a nice silk one, and everybody else is in orange.
Yeah, you could. There was. I did like the detail of the different gangs, because there was always one person within the gang that you can tell is like he's higher up, and then
Yeah.
there's like maybe one or two other people in the gang that are like those two are also higher up, but
Yeah,
just above the rest, who all
Yeah.
are kind of like the same. Which is such a fun part of the costume design. And then the goblins, what are they called? The gremlins, the
rogues.
the rogues. Yeah, I think the only difference for him was that he had like a sheriff's badge, and everybody.
Yeah.
But otherwise, they just have like a sleeveless leather
Yeah.
jacket or whatever, right?
I
But
do
they
wanna
were
talk
like
about
black
that,
leather.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're
like
two-
leather-
those
the
are,
leather
two of those
daddies.
guys that are ever really visible.
Yeah.
Because it's Luther, and you can see his hair
Man.
going.
There's Luther
Yeah.
and chocolate
Some are kind of
fingers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chocolate fingers.
Yeah.
That's good.
So the police do show up and break up the situation, which is unfortunate. That's what Graham was referencing when everybody's sort of running all over the place. I wanted to say I did notice that as well. I love chaos in film, and this was one of the most chaotic scenes. I think it must have been so crazy to film this, but Graham kind of covered that. And then we get that great scene of a gun being passed through the audience
yeah,
over to Luther, who takes a shot. Cyrus goes down, and then in the same breath, he starts saying, "The Warriors did it. The Warriors did it. The Warriors assassinated Cyrus." And then later in the movie, we find out that Luther is just an agent of chaos. He just thought it would be hilarious to
He's a real
shut
joker.
this
Yeah.
down. Yeah.
or
But,
is he?
Oh.
We can
Theory.
we can definitely do theories,
Yeah.
but I know
Go on.
the line Jason is referencing is,
Jason, did you rearrange my fucking audio cues? You sick
I
fuck.
put them in order for you.
But
It'll
you
be
put
easier.
theories so low at the bottom. I need the ones that are impromptu. They need to be at the top so I
Okay.
can see 'em.
I thought I did a good, but
No.
you can move
No.
them around.
We can always talk about Luther's motivation later.
Yes,
Theories and
please.
things like that towards the end.
My theory is that like he didn't name the Warriors because he had planned to name the Warriors. He named the Warriors because that one guy knew
yeah.
that one guy saw him do it, right? So like I don't even think
Yeah,
that's a
because
theory.
Fox
That's
is just staring.
that's just like broadcast to you through the
Yeah,
movie.
He
Yeah.
turns
Yeah.
around, he gets
Yeah.
hit by the lights, and then I think we can see again it's Fox right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just
I think his plan was like, I'm gonna shoot a bunch of these fucking people. Like I'm just gonna shoot until the gun doesn't have any bullets left. Whoever's looking at me is gonna go down, and then when he gets hit in the eyes, he's like, "It was the Warriors. It was the freaking Warriors over there. There was that Warrior that did it." And we're
That's a
all
good
like,
impression of that guy too.
Mhm.
Because
that's him.
a little thing I noticed about him is like he is very tough and intense, but in that final scene at the end, he cowers and does like a higher pitched like
Yeah,
bully getting defeated voice, which of course we'll talk about when we get there. But this character has a good character arc of a stereotypical bully. I really
Mhm.
enjoyed. I really enjoyed seeing him get his comeuppance.
yeah.
Because those riffs, they don't play around.
Speaking
Spoilers.
of riffs, giving the comeuppance, Cleon Cleon's the leader of the
yeah,
The
yeah,
Warriors.
yeah,
And
exactly.
After this shooting, after Luther starts shouting, "The Warriors did it! The Warriors did it!" He runs at Cleon, and then the riffs give Cleon the old
Elbow finisher,
elbows. They're all coming in with the
driving them in right in.
I mean, that would be like getting stabbed with a bunch of blunt. Like that's just bone getting hit by bone over.
Yeah.
That would kill you quick. And
yeah.
but he also like shit kicks a few people before it like they're
Yes,
all
he
coming
does.
and he's like
Yeah.
Like I'm like, whoa, this guy, and this kind of got my blood going. Where I'm like, is this the combat we're gonna get in this movie? This is gonna be great. If this is the kind of fight
No.
scenes we're gonna be getting throughout the whole thing, but no, it turns out there's gonna be 75 foot chases with a couple of moments to break up them running away constantly.
Yeah, there's definitely a martial arts element that goes along with those Gramercy riffs. I mean, I think the move
Yeah.
that kind of knocks Cleon down is a spin kick from one of the dudes.
Yeah.
And like this is why I'm like, if you remake this movie, you got to set it in like the actual that like give it a cyberpunk treatment and have them like like this is they call them the blades and they all have like blade legs, like the those like amputee leg things or whatever. Like
It's too much.
but
No.
they have like sword feet.
Do you guys know anything? When I looked up the Warriors earlier, apparently they tried to make in 2022, almost the year of our Lord, they tried to make a TV show out of the Warriors.
Oh.
It looks like they made a pilot, and it's definitely the Warriors because we got Ajax and Cleon, and
Right.
I wonder if this just like
I think this is one of those things
never
where it's
came
a
out?
property that you could make gold
Yeah.
with it, but you could also try to spin gold and you'd end up with a just big pile of wasted gold that it smells like shit and nobody wants to touch. And they're like, burn it,
Yeah.
never look at it again.
Yeah.
just turns green. I think
Yeah.
that's silver, but
This is fool's
Yeah.
gold.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think this could work as an Apple TV show where they actually kind of take some care. It'd be interesting. But the Warriors do flee from the situation, and we now assume the truce is off. That
The
was
situation
created
also a gang. They're running after them.
right.
It's the Jersey Shore, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Come back here. I'm gonna make you do our laundry.
And the Warriors are based out of Coney Island. So now the movie becomes they have to get back to Coney Island.
Yeah.
She's like
and-
50 or 100 miles from here.
Yeah, they don't know. Could be one, could be the other. Could be less.
We
Could
only
be
go on
more.
the
It is,
subway.
it is 27.
Yeah, so it's way less.
I looked it up.
It's also very funny that nobody knows how to read a subway map and doesn't understand it.
Yeah.
Or it's just
Yeah.
That's like a
you've
plot
never-
point in the
Yeah,
film.
they've
These
never
guys, like,
been here before.
No, they never left Brooklyn.
We ain't never left Coney Island.
Yeah.
And we never will. Oh shit, we got to go to a fucking giant council of the gangs of.
But
New
also the
York.
summit required them to not bring weapons.
Exactly.
So not only do the Warriors have to like get back, normally they'd be all packing, I guess, or at least have some sort of like a chain and a bat and
Knives,
Yeah.
brass knuckles. But nope, they're weapon free, so they have to get out of there with no weapons now. And then Ajax and Swan are like, who's the leader in this situation? And they kind of get at each other's throats.
Well, not really. What happens is that Swan just starts being like, we need to do this, this, and this. He takes up the leadership position, not because he wants it, but because he is like, we need to do something. So he starts giving instructions, but he's not really like telling people to do things. He's just saying like, let's go here. And then Ajax, in typical like, I'm a freaking douchebag. I was born a douchebag and I'll die a douchebag. So who stepped up and made you the fucking war chief?
Who made you leader?
Yeah. But then didn't Cleon actually wasn't he technically a second?
Yes, it has a shot. I love these shots where it's like, a pan along three guys and they all take turns saying something.
Yeah.
Like easy, Ajax. Yeah, lighten up, big boy. Swan's war chief. We got to stick together.
Yeah.
So yeah, they dropped. Swan's title is war chief.
So, which would make him like, I don't know. What would be the top?
Warlord.
Warlord. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. So he is
Those are the
technically
only two we
second in
know of.
command, right?
Yeah.
But he's not even like falling into the position of it. He's just sort of like taking charge to make a plan. And this dildo who cannot stop saying the F slur is like, maybe I'm gonna challenge you right here, right now. We don't know where we are. We're in a graveyard. We're all sweaty. And I need to fucking fight somebody, so I'm gonna fight.
And also, you guys go ahead. I gotta tag this up with a W.
No,
I
they
think
tell
now-
him
No,
to do
they
that.
told him to
Rembrandt,
do that.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah,
stay
yeah.
back here and tag this W.
Yeah,
You
Swan
stay
does
back
it,
and
then you
practice.
see their wicked tag.
That's
Yeah.
what. That's why he's
So
called
slow.
Rembrandt, Jason.
Yeah.
He's the one with the
Very
spray
slow.
paint.
Yeah.
because of the artists, the known as Rembrandt.
I feel like when
which
he was prepping for the role, he was like, no, this is fine. I got this. I don't need to practice this. And then when he actually went to film it, he was like, oh, this is actually like hard.
Yeah, he's like,
W looks like?
what, he does an M by accident, and he's like, fuck the Warriors.
We need more tombstones over here.
we don't got the budget.
Listen, we only paid one family to deface their ancestors' tombstone.
But we get our next comic book cut over to the riffs. Every time they cut back to the riffs, it's the same every time. They cut to the leader of the riffs being mad about having, he's angry. We got to get the Warriors, or this gang failed, and then it cuts immediately to the woman on the radio who is updating us in real time while we're watching the movie. Just recapping like a sitcom or a streaming series drama, recapping what's happened in the last 10 minutes,
or
which
Greek
is fine.
chorus.
She's
or a Greek chorus.
She's sending the word. She works
Right.
for the Riffs, or the Riffs have a connection with her. You see that? So the leader of the Riffs at this point, after Cyrus dies, is named Masai. Another thing you wouldn't know. It is in the credits, but they never say his name.
Right.
Yeah. So like Jason said, there are a number of these scenes where it's just Masai, like just standing as if he's lost in thought, and then some guy's head comes into the frame and is like, "Hey, they blew it."
Yeah.
And Masai will say, like,
The baseball
word.
Furies failed again. Well, that doesn't that doesn't surprise me. They're dressed as baseballs. Anyway,
You give the audio listeners the wrong impression.
Sorry, Cam just asked me a Star Wars
baseball,
question, and I had to answer it. Yeah, so he's like, you don't even know where the train is or whatever, and then he's like, Rembrandt is like, hey, the train's over there. It's right over there. Let's go. And then we get our first foot chase, right? Or did they just
Well,
give the
well,
train?
just
I can't
before-
remember. There's
just
so
before
many
that,
goddamn foot chases.
I thought it was interesting that when she's like, the riffs tell the woman on the radio to play a song, and she plays the song that's, says nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, which I thought was an interesting thing. Because in my head, my theory, let me just find that wherever I put it.
You have exactly
There it is.
8 seconds.
My theory is that everybody in the whole city has radios everywhere, and this is their way of communicating. You just tell the radio lady to say what you want. I'll get out there, but obviously,
I do like that as like a coded message, where it's not even really that coded, but it's like they message her, and then she's like, she puts on a specific record to give a message to whatever gang. It's that's such a cool way to do it, and such an interesting way in a film to like, we have a specific song to play here for this thing, because a lot of writers and stuff, like when they're writing a movie, or even editors, they'll like edit to specific music, and a lot of the time it will be something like that, where like the words spoken in let's take the words that are spoken lyrically in a song and take it actually literally, where it's like, you can't hide, we're coming for you, and like, and then you use it to literally tell a story, which like can be very corny in a lot of things, but in the context of this movie, I think it's like, that's such a funny way to go about it, and a fun way to have a song play almost to its entirety within a movie and have people just like running away in fear, having the song being like, we're gonna fucking find you, we're gonna fucking kill you. I like it.
And
I like it a lot.
It adds as a nice little interlude where we get to introduce to some more of the gangs around the city. That's the first time we see the Baseball Furies warming up. We see the group called the Punks that they'll fight later. The guy with the roller skates.
I have to be honest.
Like some guy with just pinstripe shirts and like fedoras. That's
Yeah.
their gang.
So many.
The Boppers.
Hawaiian shirt gang with the ghetto blaster.
I 100% read it as baseball furries like 40 times.
Oh no.
In my head, and I thought that could be another gang.
That would
And-
just be a bunch of mascots, like they're in mascot costumes, like the baseball furries.
But they're all from all the different like arenas around the city.
But after
When
the
I
game,
when I
they're fucking.
Yeah.
yeah, I came back. I heard what you guys are saying, and I made a note in my notes here that they just show a bunch more gangs. And the only one that I wrote down was, I guess it turns out later that it's like the roller skates gang. And I'll tell you the joke.
I don't think they
made
all
with
have
them.
roller skates though, do they? I think
Just the one.
Just the
But I was
leader.
like, were
That's
they
how you know that he's
inspired-
the leader. He doesn't have a badge or a helmet or anything.
Well,
He's
he's
got
the-
rollerblades.
He's the recon
the only
guy.
pair they could afford.
Yeah.
Or it's the
But I was
only
like-
it's the only guy who was able to skate. The rest of them are like, I don't know how to skate. These things just came out. Rollerblades are new. And like all these actors are like trying. They're like falling over.
I was like, are these guys inspired by Mork and Mindy? By Mork from Ork? Because they've got the like striped shirt with the suspenders and the curly hair. That's for the old heads in the crowd. I'm 40.
Yeah. I was more like this is the fucking Mario Brothers gang, or like the like cutesy tootsie Build-A-Bear gang or whatever. Like overalls like are not threatening. You know, when you see somebody in overalls, you're not really
overalls-
scared of them.
The
Unless they're not
overalls
wearing a
guys-
shirt underneath and they have a shotgun and they're like, get off my property. That's when they're scary.
all of the overalls guys, like the roller skate guy and the other guys, they all look like the one guy from Dazed and Confused. Like
I was gonna say they're all hot. I was like,
a dozen
look at
Don
these guys. You get to the
Dawsons.
hot guys.
Yeah,
It's just
because they're all
like
amped, they're all jacked, and
eight
pretty.
Dennis the Menaces.
They were all very
I
pretty.
can
yeah.
see Dennis.
Oh,
the
the
Menace as well.
that is more. Sorry, Jason, not to stomp on yours, but Dennis the Menace is way more
I
accurate.
think that's apt. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's much more apt. But this next sequence is actually great. It reminds me of a I can't pin down what it actually reminds me of. Maybe the Escape from LA movies,
Mhm.
Escape from LA and Escape from New York. But they're hiding in the shadows and they can see the train platform. They're like, we got to get up there to get on the train. And this fucking bus rolls through with guys in the bus and on top
Yeah.
of the bus. And they're basically just
Turnbull
like
ACs.
the Turnbull ACs. I wrote that down.
have we looked
They're
into that name at all?
Well, they're skinheads apparently, even though there's
Except there's
people that are
black
not
guys.
white.
It's
Yeah,
a multiracial skinhead gang.
But also they're the Turnbulls, like as in John Turnbull.
Doesn't that word mean?
No, it was turn balls like a ball sack.
I
They're not ball
don't
turners.
think it was.
Oh,
I thought it was Turn
I
Bell.
don't know. I was just trying to be like, what could it be?
And why ACs? What would AC mean?
Jenny, could you say more? Who's John Turnbull? I don't know.
John Turnbull is one of the not one of the like found. I think he signed the Declaration of Independence. But let me I know this because of Hamilton. To be fair,
Oh.
Alexander Hamilton.
Turnbull.
My name is
Okay, hang on.
Alexander Hamilton.
Turnbull. I don't know.
While
Fun-
you think about that, this might be a perfect time to say that on the Hamilton tip, Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote a Warriors musical, and
So good.
I'm not sure if
What?
it was ever performed. He might have done it a long, long time ago, and it was performed, on stage. But last year, I think they released this album on Spotify.
Mhm.
It's like, and so they're like 24 tracks of all the scenes, and it's a genre
Oh.
mashup. It's like R&B, hip hop, power metal, pop.
Yeah.
Depending on who's talking, and then it's got a gender swap cast. So it's a bunch of ladies who are the gang members and Cyrus and all this stuff.
Wow,
And
Right.
it's great. It's like it's a Warriors musical for your ears.
that's very cool.
And
This does feel like something that like would very much be improved by being a musical. Like if that park fight.
What are the
was
Lizzies
a-
called in this version when it's all men?
Oh, good question. I glossed over.
What?
Mm.
It's all
I
men.
didn't
What do you
listen to
mean?
The whole thing. All
Well,
the
if
way
it's
through
gender
once.
swapped, then when they get to the gay
Then
women,
then they're all men.
they're men.
I mean, I could say what they're called, but I don't want to.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
The Fredericks.
Mm.
That's too far. I'm sorry.
The Gabes.
Oh, you know what?
Okay.
I think it was Trumbull. I don't even know what I'm talking about. So what the hell does this the Turnbull ACs? I don't even know what that means.
Well, who knows what a lot of these names mean? But we do know they've got a big van, and
Yeah.
they're ready
It's like
to
a
wreck
school
the
bus
world.
almost, right? Like,
Mhm.
or
Yeah,
like
yeah,
one of
it's a
those
school
like
bus, that's
sort
right.
of like shuttle buses or whatever. Yeah.
I mean, that's like buses. That's the but
They all
yeah.
it's weird because they all look like they're staring out into space too. Like they're being very contemplative to
Right.
something.
Yeah.
I'm seeing this shot right now. I think maybe the idea is that they're listening to the radio broadcast or something, but they are all just like not moving. There's
It's
one guy
almost
who
like
looks
they're
blue
listening-
instead of his mind, seeing the fourth dimension.
Yeah, it's almost like they're listening to the same song we're listening to, and in their minds, they're seeing the movie that we're seeing as well. Like they're seeing the same montage that we're seeing, and they're like,
Mhm.
"Holy fuck!" And then they're seeing themselves in the montage, being like, "We're in this montage too! Holy shit, this is crazy!"
But what's interesting is like as the train comes, they just do a Yui and come back, and they're just
Mhm.
kind of like, we got to go. So they run out, they give chase, and they just make it onto the train, which I like these moments. You ever it reminds me of in Seinfeld where Jerry takes that woman out on a date and he gets home and he's like, you ever pretend you're being pursued and you got to get the key in the hole as fast as possible?
Yeah.
This movie evokes that like several times when they have to get to the
Mhm.
they're waiting on the platform and it's like we got to get on this train, and then like doors still have to close. Like these trains are running like the Toronto subway system. Where I was in Chicago last weekend and it literally is like looks the same. Like the L train is above ground in a lot of places, and it feels it's very similar vibe to this. And I really enjoyed, really appreciated that, and I really like that. I really like the suspense that's given to us. Because it is that feeling of like when I was a kid, I had this thing where he had to go upstairs to go to bed, and I thought skeletons were chasing me up the stairs.
Yeah.
And if I
used
looked
to do the same
down,
thing. Yeah.
Specifically skeletons.
yeah, it was skeletons.
Oh, I mean, everybody has that, but it's funny that yours is specifically skeletons.
It was
Mine was
skeletons.
just like,
I've got a
creeping
bone
dread, yeah.
you,
Jason.
Oh yeah, yes. Were you there?
Yeah, it was me. I was there. I was the skeleton.
You're right though about that like that heightened, like they really turn that anxiety up, and like and the way and that's where those transitions come in so well, because you've got those, and then you've got these very quiet, nobody's on the street, it's like absolutely silent,
Yeah.
and it's like creepy. It's like,
yeah, you get the
it's too
feeling that
quiet.
it's like 1 a.m. or something.
Yeah,
Like
so it never really lets you off the hook,
yeah.
Yeah.
which is just yeah.
Yeah, they're waiting
love
for
that.
they're waiting for the next train, but they can't go up. Or they got to wait until the next train comes. 'Cause
Yeah.
they can't risk getting spotted out there.
Yeah, they
You're
can't
right,
just
that is
stand
a
on the
really
platform.
Nice, quiet scene where they're waiting underneath, and they're all discussing like, "Are we gonna go for it?" Couple of slurs here.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep. That
We
other
don't
one.
have to. We don't have to mention it every
Snow
time.
really likes that other one. He uses that several times.
Let's just make a blanket statement. There's one character in this movie, and it is, to be fair, just the one guy. It's
Yep.
like it's not like a bunch of people are saying
Oh.
it. It's usually just
Well,
the one guy.
Vermin's got Well,
It's
Ajax
Vermin, yeah.
He drops that same one 3 times. But
Yes.
Then Vermin also says something that I think came from the Japanese surprise attack of
Yes.
Pearl Harbor.
He,
and
yes.
that's where that
Yes. He
term
says
came
that 3
from.
times. Yeah.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
But as they're home free, we go back over to
Yeah,
the rift.
but Vermin has the big dick, as we all know.
Yeah,
He's got the big one.
What about me? I got the
Yeah.
big one.
Yeah,
Vermin
and they all
looks the
laugh,
most-
which means he's probably telling the truth, or he has a really teeny tiny one.
Vermin looks the most like a C-list guy that's in every 70s movie. You know, that character is in every 70s movie.
But he also has
Looks like,
sort of
he looks
the-
like that guy from SpongeBob with the jaw, chin.
the Captain
Handsome
Sarcastic guy.
Squidward?
That's it. Maybe
Handsome Squidward.
the blue guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're thinking of Handsome Squidward.
Yeah,
Right.
that's it. He does. His,
You know,
his
the
chin
time
is
that-
exactly the right shape. Like it's
Squidward was handsome.
Are we talking about Ajax or Vermin?
Vermin.
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 Yeah.
Isn't Vermin like the guy who's got the big one?
I thought he. Yeah,
He's
I
got
thought
the
he was
big
por-
one
I
and
thought
the
he
hairy
was
chest,
portly.
yeah.
The big one.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
for
I thought
sure.
he was portly.
And
But,
No, he's not portly.
He's the most. He's the most Italian of the bunch.
Yes.
I mean, he looks the
Yeah.
most Italian. He looks like the
Mhm.
guy who's like, Whoa, Ma, I can't eat no more. Please stop. Ma, come on. You're
How much
embarrassing
longer we gotta wait?
me.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I see it. Why did in my head he was portly, but he's definitely
It was
not.
just all the
there's-
chest hair. It was just
There's
overwhelming.
literally no portly people in this entire
No.
movie.
no,
And
No,
he is
they-
handsome.
no, because it
Squidward.
was the 70s.
They did a lot of training too, because like, all the guys wanted to look ripped. So I think that it was like the summer before they started filming. They
Oh
were
my
all,
God,
like,
really?
They were all doing push-ups and shit.
Oh, that's nice.
But then only Ajax is the one who got actually jacked somehow. Like he's the most jacked out of everybody. I wonder if that was by
Yeah.
design. Maybe they made him train earlier just to like be like, no, you have to be the one who's like people actually believe that you can fuck them up. Because he is like he looks scary. Like he's muscular enough that I'm like, I don't want this guy to fuck with me because he might actually break my legs for fun and be like, God, now I'm taking your girl home with me.
That was
Mhm.
part of how we got the part. I think is that in the audition he was doing the scene where he's on the bench later and gets handcuffed to the bench.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So he was so animated in that he was like handcuffing himself to the table, lifting up the table, and,
Mhm.
and they were like, "That's our guy.
That's
Yeah.
the guy.
This guy.
This looks like a guy who's capable of some things."
That's the guy that Jenny's not getting in the elevator with. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that when we get to it, but like that that's not the comeuppance I was hoping for that particular character.
We all
Yeah.
kind of hoped that there would be some sort of redemption for him, but no, he just became worse. Like,
He might go to jail forever and get
Yeah.
sent to El Salvador, but you know, it remains to be seen.
But
Mhm.
I maintain that he's still redeemable, or he's still a valuable member of the group. You know?
Yeah, when he goes to prison and gets butt fucked over and over again, maybe he'll come out and be a
He's
changed
your
man.
Racist uncle who's still going to come over and fix your plumbing, and
Nice.
he knows.
Yeah.
He knows
But he'll still call you a queer and mean it wrong. And you're like, no, stop.
What?
No,
thought
I
you
heard
were
you're a
supposed-
queer. And I'm like, no, I am queer, uncle. Stop.
Hmm.
Yeah, stop saying that, please.
Oh man. So
So
over to the
they-
rips.
Yep.
The word that the turnbells have failed. They
Mhm.
blew it. Train gets stopped because of a fire. They suspect it was not an accident.
Yeah.
And then they get let out to oh no, it also cuts to the gang that shot the big leader guy, now Cyrus. So it goes over to what's his name, Luther.
Mhm.
And Luther is like
Oh, yes.
he just wants to blame the Warriors. This is where we find out their names are the Rogues, because he just turns his back to the screen. I think this is good storytelling. This is the show don't tell moment.
They should have done that
And-
more for like.
Agreed.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed. But I do like this where he like freaks out on the person at the store. 'cause
Or, hold
he's
on,
like,
hold
we
on.
don't
Or-
pay for our stuff.
You know what would have been good too is like anytime they showed a new gang, they're throwing all these stupid fucking comic book transitions and like little blurbs and everything all over the goddamn movie, making me lose my
Ugh.
mind. Make it be like a fucking like a brand. You know, they all have their own logo, and anytime they show a new one, just make it be like an animated like now they're getting into it with the rollerblade boys. Ooh.
That's kind of how the video games work. They
Right,
go
yeah.
All the way to that conclusion.
'Cause, I
where they
mean,
win
you know,
it,
like,
and
they're-
somebody's introduced, it's a freeze frame and their name flashes up stylized.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
And that works in some movies. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen like Domino or like, remember like Lucky
Mhm.
Number 11 and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Like, there was between like 2000 and 2006 or so, there was a lot of these movies that were like, they would
Guy
do this
Ritchie era.
crazy shit.
Yep.
Even like Scott Pilgrim or something where like
Mhm.
they get wild with the editing and it benefits the movie rather than being
Right.
distracting bullshit. It's like part of it, you know, it's woven into
Yeah.
the making of the movie. They didn't add it afterwards. It was like, no, we went in with the intention to have this stuff be weird the entire time.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know, just to at least let me know, like, because I'm now making up names for these guys in my head, so I'm like, what are these guys called? Like, what are these
Yeah,
guys
if you're gonna say the
called?
name of one of them, it's almost like you got to say the name of all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the movie proper, not this horseshit version that's like.
Well, that's
when it
that's the
goes to
Exactly.
to the Furies transition. It's like, oh no, oh, it's the baseball Furies.
That's why I understand that this movie is such a cult classic, because you kind of have to like read the book to get it almost, or you have to like just read the credits after. You have to stay for the credits and be like, oh, that was that person saying that was up.
Yeah.
and also 50 years of the movie existing to get the lore from watching the movie 100 times.
It's not
to
50
pick
years,
out
thank you very much. It's
1979?
barely
Okay.
46, not even.
Barely. Okay.
Thank
Josh,
you.
you might have given
I'll
away
tell
when
you
were
what, this
told.
movie
Line
was
up with
made
something, Jenny.
46 years ago.
This movie and I are both spring chickens. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
There's-
Don't you get it
something-
twisted.
There's something not to overlook about this scene before we go away. Obviously, it ends with him throwing something at the girl who's running the shop, but it opens with Luther on the phone with somebody.
Yes.
And this has been prime for theories, like who's he talking to?
That's where my
Yeah.
theory
'Cause
is.
it just starts with him going, "Oh, that's going on, eh?
Mhm.
Yeah, great." So
Yeah.
Well, what did you guys think when you were seeing this?
The
Like,
way
who is he
I
talking
thought
to?
about it, because he's on the phone a couple times
Yeah.
throughout the movie, and so I always thought that he was trying to look aloof or clueless in terms of what was going on to make it seem like his gang is uninvolved in the shooting of Cyrus, but he's dropping hints that the warriors are the ones that did it so that the other gangs will get riled up. So the way I thought it was that he was talking to the heads of other gangs that maybe they have sort of like
Mm.
shaky alliances with.
He's just making calls to
Yeah,
But,
to
but they,
drop
they, would have
tidbits.
already gotten the message through the
through the
airwaves.
radio, yeah.
Mm.
Like everybody already knows it's the Warriors at this point.
But maybe it's just to like keep them off hit, because like he knows that at least one of those warriors knows that he shot the guy, right? So
Yeah.
he's trying to make sure that nobody else knows that.
Mhm.
So I figured it was just him trying to make sure that he's not going to get hunted. So he's talking to other people and perpetuating it more.
Mhm.
But the real answer is I don't know, and I think that's the point, right? Because you're not supposed to know.
I think that he was a CI. And I think that the cops showing up at the same time that he shot Cyrus was not an accident.
So this was
And-
all
It's an
all
inside
on.
job.
And
And the fact that they all are wearing like black leather and he's wearing a sheriff's badge,
wearing a sheriff's
is
badge.
a stylistic choice that
Mm.
They're all dressed like
He's
Rob
like-
Halford.
they deputized me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had that.
They
a
said all
similar-
I gotta do is shoot Cyrus, but I wanted to shoot everybody.
yeah. Because then he's like, I just like doing stuff like this. I'm a crazy guy. Whoa. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never thought too much about it like
Mm.
when I saw it years and years ago. But
I
like,
never even
trying to-
considered that as a reality, is that
Yeah,
he could be
like,
a
I-
psychopath that they're like, here, take this badge, you're deputized now. Go,
I mean,
end
I'm
is
not saying
done.
I'm not saying that they gave him the badge. I just
Maybe
like,
he's
the
so
whole-
deep undercover that he actually went nuts, you know? He's like,
Right.
And which happens.
crazy now.
Yeah,
I used to be a really good cop, but now I'm fucking nuts.
I used to be a good cop, and now I'm above the law.
Now I'm a bad cop. Call me bad cop.
and
Yeah.
so it is very convenient that the cops roll up quiet on that whole thing, right?
Uh-huh.
And how doesn't anybody notice that they're surrounded by cops for
Mhm.
the roll in? And so yeah, this I would say if you're gonna form a theory about that phone call,
Mhm.
the like a CI or I was thinking that maybe it was he was talking to Masai, the new leader.
sorry,
of the
what
Rifts,
does CI stand
for
for?
some
Oh, that he
reason.
like that he
that-
like
that he would-
it was
that
an
Masai might have been
assassination, like,
behind it, that
yeah.
they wanted to get rid of Cyrus maybe because his idea was crazy,
yeah.
Or it
he'd
was
gone
too good. But
far,
what does
or
CI
the
mean?
Police were working. Confidential
Like-
informant.
Hmm.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
informant.
Yeah.
Undercover.
Informant, or he was just working with the cops for some reason. But yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Anyway,
like
but
that theory.
there
That's a cool theory. And
Yeah.
it makes sense. Yeah. I
it's
would
got
have liked.
legs. It's got
It
legs,
has
but
legs. Yeah.
Thank you.
I can
Did they
also
expand on that in the video game? Like they realized they pulled the badge off him and it's attached to like an actual identification. It's like, oh my god, there's pictures of his kids and he's like
It's stuck
happy
to
and like, yeah.
It's got a wire on it.
This,
There's a
I
tape
can put a
recording that you
damper
can
on all
listen
of this,
to.
though, because apparently Walter Hill told what is his name, the guy who plays Luther, to just
Oh, what is his name?
pretend
His
it's
name
your
is
boss or
David
something.
Patrick Kelly.
That's
Right, thank
It's-
you.
It's he was in The Crow as well. I
Yes, he was
think.
playing
but-
arguably the same guy.
Oh, yeah, that's where I fucking this guy's face. I
Yeah.
was like, I know this guy.
yeah, well, you see him and everything.
Yeah.
Anyway, David Patrick Kelly, I think, has said that he did. Walter Hill told him that he was talking to his boss or like a mob, and so David Patrick Kelly made this character up of like a mob boss,
Right.
that he was trying to get in the good graces of or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. Sure.
That makes sense.
Sure.
But yeah, I guess like at the same time though, like in this world that we're supposed to believe in, like these are all the gangs. I guess the mafia would still exist in this world in his mind.
Yeah.
But I kind of like the idea of him just being like a weirdo, like psychopath cop.
Yeah.
That, like got so deep into being undercover that he's now like,
I'm actually crazy now.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
it's-
to kill Cyrus, and then
Yeah.
yeah.
When I first saw this, I never actually considered the idea like I didn't know that it was supposed to be like a bit in the future. I didn't understand that was. I just thought
I
it
still
was
don't think it is, and I don't believe
1970s.
it
Yeah,
is, and
1970s New
I-
York. Yeah, like pre-Disneyfication. And
Well, yeah, New York was just like this in the 70s.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And this is just sort of like the next, like what it was like, only just like a little bit worse.
Mhm.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
It's
A
like, what if all the
comic book version
crazy
of
people in the
current day.
street banded together and became a super army?
But usually in there's that one show that was on Netflix years ago where they kind of depicted the same kind of idea, but everybody was just discovering and inventing hip hop, and spray painting and doing graffiti.
Oh, right.
It has the kid from the second new Jurassic Park. He's in a bunch of stuff. He's probably
the
something.
second new Jurassic Park.
It was
does
called
that
the
mean?
Get Down. The Get Down. The Get Down. Was it
Right.
called the Get Down? Remember the Get Down?
Maybe.
But the Get Down show was 70s New York, but it wasn't gritty in the same way. But the grit was
Mhm.
just that the city is in ruins because they're just tearing down buildings and letting people live in like burned out buildings, and
Right.
it's very like the economy is all messed up, and Times Square is like strip clubs and crime.
Just a shitty,
Mhm.
realistic, like crappy version of what we're actually living now, which is like what we're living now,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Well, we're living in that, but it's basically the 80s, but there's like a veneer on it.
Yeah,
All the
I
crime
think. I mean,
happens
like
behind
if they wanted to make it
closed
crazy,
doors.
they could have. But like, I don't think that was the goal, right? I think that they were just like you said, Graham, where they're like, they just slapped that on afterwards to make it
Mhm.
seem less scary to people and to have it a little bit more approachable, because people are like, they didn't want people to believe that this is what the world is actually like. So they're like,
Yeah.
maybe if we say in the future it
Mhm.
might be like
By
this.
In
in the future, they
1981.
mean when you go to bed at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry, a crazy top hat gang isn't going to come beat you to death with crowbars or whatever.
They're gonna tap all over your grave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, we get another comic book transition, and then as they
You can
progress,
Stop saying that. You can stop saying that. We can just
really, because
You don't get another comic book transition.
I know you guys didn't even watch that version of the film.
I think we fucking burned it enough in the beginning. We don't need to keep talking about it.
Okay.
I've run out of gas on complaining
I'll
about that.
bring it up at the very end because there's a point.
Ooh, okay.
Okay,
But
but
the
they encounter what did you call him? Dirty David Schwimmer, the orphans.
Or like
He's-
David Schwimmer from
he's
Outside the
Russ.
Tracks.
I thought they were called the Dirty
Russ.
David Schwimmer
Russ.
gang.
It's
Is that
Russ.
not what they were called?
But they
Orphans.
they encounter the orphans, and they're trying to navigate getting through, and they actually are like, we have to parlay, and he's like, why are you parlaying? And it's like, well, we're trying to parlay right now. I know this is a rare situation where we are actually just trying to talk things through,
Mhm.
but we are going to have to try to do it here. And they actually end up, it
Did they
almost
say
works.
parlay?
Yes, they
Yeah.
say parlay a
Yeah.
couple times.
Which is
Graham,
funny.
Is this the first movie you ever saw the word parlay in?
Probably
me?
No, I
They
said
use it-
Graham.
Pivot.
Oh,
They use it like it's part of their code or lingo, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
and the
Not
first
you-
movie that
not
I saw
something you would
parlay in was Pirates of the Caribbean, which
Yeah.
came out in 2001. And when I watched this movie, when they said parlay, I was like, I know what parlay means.
Yeah, yeah.
I
It's
know
a pirate
parlay.
term.
I know parlay
I
from
know what it
Westerns. Red Dead
Oh.
Redemption is what I know parlay is from. Because
Nice.
you have
Red
to
Dead
parlay.
Redemption?
Yeah.
That came out after both of those things. Way after.
I know. I'm telling you where I
That's a-
learned.
That's the first
concept
time
of
you heard
Chick-fil-A.
it? When's the first time you saw Pirates of the Caribbean?
I've only seen it once. I don't really. I haven't seen the whole series like you pervert. There
You've
you
only
go.
seen it once?
Oh,
I'm not a
Jason,
I'm
you've not seen the
It's
pirate?
a great movie. It's actually just good. It's like
Yeah,
a
what the hell?
great.
I didn't know
So
this about
I,
you.
actually, just let me say this because I
Sorry.
need to say it. I said this to Steve earlier, and he didn't respond to it. And in Gladiator, in the score of Gladiator, it goes dun 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 dun
Mhm.
dun 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 dun
Yeah.
dun 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 dun
Yeah.
dun dun dun, which is
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. Okay. So what's your? I think it's the
Is that-
same. I think is it
There's
not the
no
same guy?
point.
Is that Horner?
No, it's not. Hans Zimmer worked
Hans
on
Zimmer, yeah, right.
worked on Gladiator, and
Inclined
the
to
guy
acquiesce
that
to
the
your
guy that
request.
the guy
Yeah.
that made the guy that does the music for Pirates is a different guy because I looked it up immediately. I was like,
Oh.
why is this exact Sting in both movies?
Who did Pirates?
Jonathan Bonathan. I don't know. Steve's gonna tell you in just a moment.
Jonathan Bonathan.
Klaus Badelt and Hans Zimmer.
Okay.
Dun, dun,
There
dun,
you
dun.
go.
Yeah,
There
dun,
you
dun,
go.
dun. Yeah, dun, dun,
Aha.
dun, dun.
That makes sense.
Interesting. Let's.
Hans
let's
Zimmer's
see
like,
what
"Do
it
what
I have a
probably
riff
happened,
for you,
Jason,
sir?"
because he was a producer on it. So what probably happened is they collaborated, and he probably was like, "I have some table scraps left over from Gladiator.
Yeah.
Let's rework some of this that isn't exactly Gladiator, but work it into this because it is a good fucking catchy tune. And Gladiator is such a tragic story that we can take
Mhm.
this bit that's uplifted.
It's
that
definitely like
is
slowed down
hopeful.
in Gladiator. Yeah.
Well
Yeah,
said.
so they take it and then they'll be like, we're gonna use this unused track from Gladiator and use it as the main fucking theme for Pirates and make it a little more jaunty and piratey.
It's very piratey.
That's how people work. Collaboration is good.
Yeah. I just completely lost track of what we were talking about.
Oh, sorry.
And then I was
Okay.
like, wait,
So
parlay.
Orphan.
We were all about to do our
Yes.
Jack Sparrow impression. All
Yeah.
right.
so they have this encounter.
Orphans.
Ajax tries to talk to
Don't gloss
them.
over the orphans either. You gotta give
Mhm.
the orphans their couple.
They
of
explain. Oh, I got you. They explain the situation. These are the orphans. They are pissed. They weren't at
Well,
the
the
meeting.
orphans seem like they're about to they're almost like about to let them go until
No.
Mercy comes
Before
out.
that, Graham just shook his head hard because the orphans were not invited to the summit. They're too
Yeah.
gangsta ghetto,
They're
and I
real.
think that's what Mercy's character is. And I didn't recognize this the first time I watched it, but Mercy's representation, even though she's a stunningly beautiful woman who should not be in these living in squalor like this, she should have been snapped up.
What is she representation
modeling.
of? Tell us.
I'm trying to.
You're
She
taking
should've been-
so long.
It's been 4 seconds. You're making it longer. She should have been snapped up by a modeling agency. I thought this about Fiona from Shameless as well. Like, no, but
Mhm.
you don't look like that and have to live in Chicago. She should have been snapped up. But what these orphans represent is this like these people that are so below the poverty lines. So they're living in burned out buildings that they don't even get invited to the gang summit.
I
And
mean,
when
I assume
Mercy
they were literal
appears-
orphans.
Well,
No?
I think that's what they're trying to say here. When Mercy appears, you're taken aback. You're like, "What the fuck?" And she's such a
She
shit
doesn't look like an
disturber.
orphan. She's hot. Orphans are gross.
But they're
Sure.
so mad, and they can't really get eye to eye on the situation
Mhm.
that their parlay kind of just dissolves because she just comes and shit disturbs. Is like, "Give me your jacket." He's like, "I'm not giving you my colors," and then
Also,
she-
because then I wouldn't have anything on.
Yeah, I'm
Right,
cold
yeah.
already. I need
Yeah.
this to cover up my nipples. The only source
it's
of
New
heat
York
that
in
I have to keep
November.
myself
Yeah.
warm
Let's
at
be
this point.
real. It's one of those situations where everything's wet. It looks like
Mhm.
October. But basically she just stirs the pot. If she never appears into this film, I think things might be better. And I'm not I'm not saying that like she ruins things, but she is actively trying to like fuck with these guys because she knows that she could fuck with them. I think that's kind of my little theory about that. But she does appear.
She really wants attention, like, and not in a like look at me kind of way. Like
She's a little bit of a pick me. She loves gang boys.
she's
Little
hang
bit.
on,
Yeah,
on.
Jason,
She's-
jumping the
she
gun.
is
She
a-
has agency. I'm not saying that she's a bad character.
No.
I'm just saying that like she
No, she's actually one of the deepest characters in
Yeah.
the movie.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
she's very she is a prostitute.
Yeah.
They call her as much like right away.
And
Yeah.
she's like, don't call me that.
Yeah, don't call me a whore. But
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
Actually.
slut
But
for
also
money,
it's like
or-
the currency and is not currency.
it's
mostly.
safety, I think, protection. Yeah, it's like
it's
she's being
just-
protected by the orphans,
yeah.
and she's realizing that the orphans are probably not the best form of protection that she can get. So she wants the warriors. That's what I'm getting
Mhm.
from this, right?
Go on, Graham.
So she
Also,
can.
I just realized we're both interrupting you.
Oh,
no,
Sorry.
that's
No, no, no.
fine. Yeah,
but I mean, Graham has seen this
she's
1
looking-
billion times, so I'm
It's
like,
true,
kinda,
it's true.
I want to
That
make
is
sure
true.
that
I
I.
like hearing what other people think, and I don't necessarily have all the answers either. But she's looking for a way out. Like
she's
Yes.
also like, you didn't stop these guys. You guys are bitches too. You bitch.
Mhm.
To
Yeah.
the orphans.
I think
to the main
she's
guy
looking
there.
for some power out of her own situation.
Yeah.
She talks
Yeah.
talks about it later in
Yeah.
the much more in the when they're in the subway
Yeah.
scene, and she's talking about like, I want something now. I've seen what
Mhm.
happens around the block. You know, belly hanging down, 5
Exactly.
kids. I want something now. So yeah,
I want to go to Coney
She's also like
Island.
kind of trying to talk herself into like that what she's doing and where she is like good. Like no,
Yeah.
this is good. Like I'm living. This is
Yeah.
which is also like
She should have joined the Lizzies, but I guess you gotta be into that to be in the Lizzies.
yeah. I think you do have to be into that.
I think you have to be a lesbian.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
A Lisbo.
Also, at some point, I decided her name was Dolores. So in my notes, I was like, Dolores is not excellent
Dolores,
judgment.
what the
in
hell you doing?
originally, I was like, yeah.
Why the hell are you wearing such a bright color, Dolores, if you're going to be doing crimes? You got to wear all dark colors.
I'm not sure if they say her name more than once or not, but
I think it's yeah.
But Russ, David Schwimmer here, definitely says it when she comes out and she's doing the buck.
Yeah.
Cut it, Mercy.
Oh yeah.
And I think that might be the only time.
I remember her
I think
name
so, too.
throughout. I think it's because her name is. I mean, all their names kind of have sticking power. I think so. Like,
Yeah.
I surprisingly remembered way more names than I thought I would, and it's because they have very comic booky names. Where it's like,
Yeah.
you need to make sure everybody's name is memorable. If
Mhm.
if anybody was named John or Mark or something, I'd be like, no. Unless it was like Mark the butt fucker, I'd be like, yeah, Mark the butt fucker. Remember that guy? Yeah, he was crazy.
When I saw her this time after seeing the movie so recently, I was like, oh, it's Mercy. Mercy's back. But and then I was like, no, it's better than that. She's Mercy. And
Yeah.
it's the same thing with Steve. It's just-
Mhm.
There's so much work with the names. Like we talked about this before, but we have a cast this large and so many characters to keep track of. If you're gonna get their names, they should be names like these that stick, and a lot of
Yeah.
them work with their characters too. You know, Ajax.
Yeah.
He's very abrasive.
That was one that I forgot. So like,
Yeah.
because I called him Dexter's dad the whole time because I was like, this is the guy who plays Dexter's dad.
I
He's
called
like,
him Remar until I remembered that his until I remembered that his name was Ajax.
So half the names have some as Rembrandt, cowboy,
Mhm.
hat, vermin. He's gross. Swan doesn't really make any sense. Aside
No.
from, I guess he's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he was ugly before, now he's handsome. Swan was one where I heard them say it, and I had to rewind it a couple times to be like,
Yeah.
"Are they saying swine
No,
or swan?"
Yeah.
Yeah, he's beautiful like a swan. I wonder if he was like ugly when he was a kid. You know, like
Mhm.
he became the swan. Maybe
Well, they refused to give the colors up.
they used to call him Ducky.
Everything breaks down, but they just soldier on right through the right through like literally the ghetto inside the ghetto,
Mhm.
and Mercy follows them. And then we get a thing where the orphans are like, "Hey, you can't come through here," and they grab Mercy, and you think it's going to be like a bad situation, but they, I think it's Ajax or Swan grab
Ajax
pull
grabs
apart,
her first.
Yeah,
but
and then
they
Swan's like, "Get rid of that. Don't get out of here. You can't touch her like that." And then
But they rip a
immediately
piece
does the
off
same.
of her her
Yeah,
dress.
turn her dress into a
Jumping
Molotov
ahead a
cocktail.
little
Yeah.
bit to when the orphans come around the corner. There's a little
Yes.
bit that happens before that.
Yeah.
They catch her sneaking up on them,
Yeah.
and then they say, "Yeah, Ajax has got her," and Swan's like, "Let her go." And
Yeah.
then he comes
Let
up
her
to
go.
her, and she says, "You gonna jump me?" And he says, "Maybe we ought to pull a train on you. You might even like it." Fuck
Which is
you."
gross.
It is gross. So
Yeah.
If you don't want that to get any grosser, don't read what happens in the book.
Oh, they do
I'll
it?
just say, because it's one of the book. The book is. It's
And she
very
does
different.
like
They're
it.
all-
Oh,
They do
God.
run a train on her. Okay.
The characters don't line up. There's no
Yeah.
necessarily like this is that character and this is that character. The
Yeah.
gang names are all different. Everything's quite different.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that is the end of Mercy in the book, because they do gang rape her
Nice.
and then just leave.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad they left that.
Wow,
over
that would be it would be really easy to still connect and relate to the characters in the movie if that happened, right,
if
guys?
that happened. Yeah.
It's when it turns into
Right.
Clockwork Orange, where you're like, I feel so uncomfortable and nauseous the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do people keep dressing up as these Clockwork Orange guys? They're not good guys.
Yeah, they're terrible guys. The Clockwork Orange guys, like even like at the summit, they're like, no, you're not welcome here.
Yeah.
you need to leave. Yeah.
Like, but we got
need
milk
to
with
leave.
PCP in it and acid.
We saw what you did to that woman.
Mhm.
Yeah. But we get a big action set piece here where they pull out the piece off her skirt, turn it into a Molotov cocktail.
Which I
And
100% thought was her underwear at first.
But where did they produce the Molotov cocktail from?
Like, I thought-
their
I
his
thought he
butt.
He
Before
has
he
it.
just, like,
No,
went
no,
over
he
it.
hasn't. Listen, this is a very well done. It's part of the guy's fucking costume the whole time, and he
Okay.
unclips it,
Yeah.
hands it over, and I'm like, oh, because I thought it was supposed to be sort of like a water, because they sort of have like this indigenous vibe to them, and like it looked like it was supposed to be a water skin or something, and like he pulls it off and hands it over, and they just turn into it, and I'm like, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. That he, even though they were supposed to be at a no weapon summit, he still snuck in.
Yeah.
It's just booze. I'm just gonna drink it, but
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
it doubles as a fucking Molotov.
Mhm.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that's rad.
Pretty good.
And they blow up a really nice car. I think it's like a Dodge Charger or something, which I noticed. And then they flee to the train station, and the train is there.
Wait, they
Percy-
flee to the train station again?
Yeah.
That's what they gotta.
That's where they
It
got
happens
Another
10
thing.
more times after this, folks.
It's a big city, man. It's 30 miles.
There's a lot of train stations.
Well, they keep getting knocked
You can't
off.
just walk. Have you ever walked in Manhattan?
No.
Yeah, I have.
I
It's
have.
pretty huge.
I walked from City Hall
Lot of
all the way
borough.
up to Central Park, and it was a big walk.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's far.
Big Walk,
Um,
also another gang. They don't take the
The
train.
Big Walk.
Yeah.
We don't take Ubers.
We'll get there when we get there.
But there's also a second game also called Big Walk, and it's another Asian themed gang.
Oh my god. So Mercy follows. The Riffs get some more tips about the orphans, and the radio lady updates the city.
Mhm.
I love that feature. I never noticed the first time, was a note that I wrote down. Rogues are stoked that they can keep hunting the warriors, was a note that I wrote here. I think it cuts to them and they're like, yeah, we're hunting warriors over here.
I'm having a good time.
So the boys make it to Union Station or Union Plaza or whatever it's called. And the police get there and the warriors just straight up fight the police and sort of run.
Mhm.
One of the warriors gets thrown on the track by a cop. Graham, can you add some insight to this? Because this I didn't know who this character was. He was just kind of there. Was this Cochise? Was this Fox?
No, it was Fox.
It was,
It was
Fox.
Fox. Okay.
Mhm.
So the warriors are all on that train waiting. Everything's quiet. Cops comes by and they're like, "Let's bail."
Mhm.
There's a couple of interesting things here, because Fox gets thrown onto the track and presumably killed, murdered
Yeah.
by a police officer.
Yeah.
But the person who gets thrown on there isn't the actor that played Fox.
I was
They-
gonna. It didn't look like him.
They replace him. You can see it in a couple of shots. There's one shot where him and Mercy are running down the stairs, and you're like, he looks skinnier, with his hair's a little different, he's paler, and then you can clearly tell it when they're fighting. He's fighting with the cop on the right by the track. Yeah, they replaced the actor. So I guess what happened? Tom Waits, that was that actor's name. not that Tom Waits, but
Not
Tom
that Tom
Waits,
Waits.
or something like that.
Not the one
The
who
guy who
sounds
played
like
Fox
this.
was like I don't know, disagreements with Walter Hill, or he wanted to go work on something else or something like that. And so they were like, we got to write him out of the movie. Fox was supposed to be in the movie for longer, and I don't know up to what point. But I guess, yeah, he was getting kind of hot. His stock was on the rise, and whether it was disagreements with Hill or whatever, they're like, all right, we'll just kill him off, and he can go do whatever. So the guy who's playing Fox in that scene down the stairs who gets thrown in is like a body double, essentially.
Wow.
Do you think that he would have
also-
done it anyway, though? It's kind of like a stunt scene.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mhm.
They might have just cut him loose like before that.
Right.
My
that's
thought when
weird.
I saw him like what because I'd forgotten that's when he died, and I was thinking they haven't had the conversation yet where he was like, I saw the guy that shot Cyrus. Like he hadn't told anybody that. So I was like, oh God, the one witness is dead.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody knows about the Warriors.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's after them. They still don't know at this point that
I guess it kind of
Exactly.
works.
they did.
I also this moment kind of made me think that the rest of the movie was going to be the Warriors slowly getting whittled down unsanctimoniously, you know, like
Yeah, that's
because
what
it is such a like a cop just throws him in front of a train and that's how he dies. Like holy
Yeah.
fuck, that means people are just going to be getting like killed in like the worst unexpected ways. You know, 'cause the train's
I thought
coming.
it
And you're
was-
like they're both going to roll on. He's going to throw the cop and get
Mhm.
away. And I'm like, which one's it going to be? And then it's just the cop being like, "Fuck you, you scum!"
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're like, "Whoa, the cop survived even."
I thought it
Yeah.
was going to have like almost a horror movie element
Right.
of them getting picked off in
Yeah.
that same way. No,
I mean,
that's not what
it
happens.
still
Most of
at
them
least
survive.
raises the stakes because you
Yes.
don't know that, right? Like,
Yeah.
so you see that happen and you're like, oh shit, this is actually like
But then they don't
because
really do
because
that,
Cleon gets killed right off the bat too, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
And-
so
but I mean, that's one of those ones where you're like, Cleon is clearly the leader, and he's
Well,
such
sure, yeah.
he's such a good leader. He's got like a very strong presence, and
Yeah.
then as soon as he's like, "Everybody go against the fucking storm," and I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
"Oh my god, this is a Mufasa level. Like this
Yeah.
guy's gonna fucking get trampled by the stampede, or something's
yeah.
crazy's gonna happen to him," and he does. And that is like a good death. And you
Mhm.
know he's dead. Like the way they're elbowing him,
Oh,
we
God,
already
yeah.
talked about it, but like that's like your spine is broken, your legs are broken, your skull is pounded in.
Yeah. It's like 25 guys and they're each taking at least
Yeah.
like 3 turns with an
Like there was
elbow.
like a part of me
Yeah.
where I'm like, are we gonna get like a splinter, like him, like
Oh, God.
like, are we gonna get that at some point? Like, is it gonna happen? No, maybe
Yeah.
not. Okay. And so I'm now thinking when he gets thrown in, like, oh man, we're gonna get like really shitty, sad, unexpected deaths for everybody.
Mhm.
But not really. It doesn't really happen after.
no,
this.
Nah.
no. Him getting thrown to the tracks is the most shocking death in the whole movie, and it was
Yeah.
like you guys were saying, it you think that's what the movie is going to become, but it doesn't. It just
It
a
turns into like an
shocking moment.
unfunny boner comedy, like at one point. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, at this point, the baseball furries show up and they just chase them for like so long.
I now wish that they were dressed like mascots and they were called the
Yeah.
baseball furries. And they're like,
So-
You guys shouldn't have killed
Double
Cyrus.
terrifying.
We're gonna take care of you.
like, what are you saying? Like,
I said we're gonna take care of you.
they're like,
My biggest problem with this film is this, like, it's this sequence, but it is also what this sequence represents. I think this chase goes on for 4 minutes. It's just the baseball furies chasing the Warriors kind of out of Union Station and through
Mhm.
a park, and it goes on for so fucking long.
I
Like
think the
it's
worst
just
part
like
is
a
that
Benny Hill style like chase.
no, the cop chase is way more of a Scooby-Doo chase than this chase. This chase
Yeah,
is like
this
a
one-
regular chase.
And honestly, initially when they're like running down the sidewalk and then they sort of like wait to, and then they look and then there's
Yeah.
the silence again and then the guy comes up over the rise. Like that's
Yeah.
actually great.
And I
Yeah,
will say that
that's
like the
nice.
music
know?
in this part
Yeah.
is way better.
Yeah.
The
I
cop
think they're just playing for music. They're like,
yeah,
Totally.
We
Come on,
we paid him to
come on,
make the
track
song.
people.
We're
Exactly.
gonna do this chase for the whole
Yeah.
thing. Because like the cop chase went on maybe a little too long, but then the death has
Yeah.
the weight, and you're like, "Whoa, fuck!" And you kind of forget about how long it was. But
Yeah.
then to piggyback off of that right into this, where it's another chase, I
Yeah.
think like Jason, you're already hitting chase fatigue, and then they
Yeah.
give you another
Yeah.
chase, and you're like, I haven't caught my breath from the last chase yet. Like I
The-
don't want another
yeah.
chase. So it
There are-
felt like it was like a 9-minute long chase sequence when it wasn't really. Like there is a break in the middle.
There's less
but
of a break because of those comic transitions.
yes,
Because I know that was so
Ah,
one right there.
There was
yes.
another comic transition here. I wasn't going to bring
Exactly.
it
Goes
up.
over, and then it's
Exactly.
like, oh no, the baseball furies, and then everybody's just kind of standing there. There's no.
Yeah.
There's not
a
enough
really
time
good
to, like-
comic transition would be if like the sluggers were walking in and they're like, who's on first? Why's on second? They're on third or whatever. That would have been a good comic transition.
Mhm.
I did love the fact that there's like they're good with their baseball bats, and that's like kind of part of their gimmick. But I thought it was funny that one of the baseball furies puts his baseball bat up like that, and it goes shing, and I was like, is there a blade on it? There's not,
No.
but
It's
what was
not
that sound
quite.
effect for?
It's not
Yeah.
It's not quite like a real shing. It's like a synthesizer. Like it's on a synthesizer. They like.
Yeah.
That's what
So
I say. It's
yeah.
almost part
Yeah.
of the music.
Yeah.
And that's why at that moment I was like, I forgive you, movie, for making me watch
Okay.
that really long chase because
Yeah.
you did that. Like I was like, this, you have won me back, and I'm
Yeah.
now
One of
excited
the
for this.
Most
Yeah.
iconic lines of the old "I'll shove that bat up your ass and turn you into a popsicle."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which makes me
yeah.
be like,
If
oh,
you
that's
think
why
about it
this
too
guy
much, it
keeps.
doesn't make a lick of sense, but
Yeah. For me, I was like,
I also-
oh, he is gay. He's definitely gay.
Yeah. Exactly.
For
I also
That's
have
not
a
the
note
only
here.
time he says that about like shoving
No, he
something
loves
up
talking
somebody's
about
ass, right?
shoving things up dudes'
Yeah.
butts.
Yeah.
I also have a note here that is the Warriors take them out with their own bats, which
Yes.
really shows
Oh,
you should
yeah.
put a sock on your bat if you're going to use a bat, because you can't grab a bat if there's a sock on it. You can just pull the bat away. It's a technique that you can utilize.
Okay. All
Um,
right.
And did you come up with this?
No, I think yes. You know what? Yes.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, one of the
Googling bat technique.
one of the baseball furries, his name is Sockbat, and he's a bat.
Makes
And
perfect
he-
sense.
Yeah.
So the only thing about this fight that I
And
find
he pulls it
like,
out of his mouth like to fight you.
He's a magician as well.
And he goes, hey, Brett, you didn't think I was going to do that. The blah, I'm Sockbat.
oh my god.
Okay, I'm sorry. Keep
No, no.
When's the furry podcast after this?
This
Yeah. It's the late night. It's the late night show.
yeah.
What do you got?
This fight is good because they have bats, so that's like scary, right? But then they fight kind of slow with them, and the part with Swan and him, and I thought it was funny because
Yeah.
I went back and watched like the theatrical trailer,
Oh,
and
very
that's
nice.
one of the like featured moments in the trailer, but it's that slow
where they're like,
clunk clunk. I'm just like, ooh, that's not the yeah, it's a
yeah.
you know.
It reminds me of like dun 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 pam 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 dun 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 dun. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
but I
A
mean,
lot-
it's
lot
not a
of
bad
violence and
fight.
Fight moves almost have a natural brutalness to it. It's punching.
Oh,
and
sure.
kicks and slamming your head off that. So when you get into that, it does look a little too choreographed.
Yeah.
There's one shot that's right in there where one of the Furies is watching those guys do that, or watching a couple of guys fight
Yes,
with bats,
yes.
and he's just standing there like that and not noticing. I don't know if it's Swan
Yeah.
or Cowboy. Somebody just takes a like to his side, hits him right
Yeah.
in the ribs with a bat.
Oh!
Totally unaware.
It's great.
It's a great shot.
He's just like, huh.
Oh,
hmm.
whoops.
Yeah.
Maybe the sluggers have like an honor system where it's like, if one man is fighting a man with another bat, we don't go in without
Yeah.
a bat.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One on
It's
one
like
only.
Yeah.
Samurai code.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
There's definitely like some samurai shit going on there.
Exactly.
I mean, you heard the synthesizer told us it's basically a sword. When you pull it out. I would have liked more stuff like this throughout, because like, you know, they're trying here and there to like, but that first gang is like just the bus gang. Like, our whole shit is that we riding a bus together, coming for you, and then you're like, okay, we got away from the bus. Now who's next? A baseball gang in the park.
Hey, that bus guy's had 2x4s and
That's
some other
true.
stuff.
Mhm.
That we in the business we call those unrefined baseball bats.
Exactly.
Yeah, they didn't
What's the
figure
next
it out
thing?
What
yet.
business?
Yeah.
Just
I don't know,
wood.
the baseball
Wouldn't
business.
baseball bat.
The baseball biz.
I think-
I wanted some chains and stuff, and like I was
I
kind of
wanted chains this whole movie. The
Well, you
whole
got
time.
one later.
Well, that's because you're in the fucking pogo pervert punk gang or whatever. You're like doing, doing, doing with your chains. Like, is that a
well,
drawing, Jason? Should I draw the pogo pervert punk gang or whatever?
I'm gonna have to write it down.
Is
Pogo.
Twinkerbell in this gang?
He's the leader.
Yeah, the Twinkerbell is the leader of the Pogo pervert punk gang.
Oh no, that's what the Lizzies would be. It'd be a bunch of twinks.
Mm,
Right.
yeah.
It would be a twink gang, and they'd be like,
The Gabes.
"Come
or
on,
whatever
girls,
you
you'll be
said.
safe with us." And they like think they're
Yeah.
safe, but they're with a bunch of gay twinks, and then
Yeah.
it turns out that they're super violent twinks.
They're with a bunch of heterosexual twinks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like
I don't-
that.
I know what you
Wow.
thought, that I was a gay twink, but I'm just a straight twink. And they're like, "Oh fuck, a straight twink! You're the worst, the worst kind of twink."
The radio
Dun-dun,
lady.
dun-dun, dun-dun, dun-dun.
The radio lady gives an update about the fabulous furry freak brothers or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Also,
And
I
the-
saw that there were supposed to be deleted scenes with her where she's also giving updates about Carmen Sandiego's location on
Nice.
planet Earth. Yeah.
Mhm.
They got a twofer when they were recording her that day.
Exactly.
We heard that
Need
she's
these
in
lines from this
Dubai.
episode.
Yeah. But
She
we
stole
also have
the
heard
Eiffel
that she might-
Tower
yeah,
again.
Yeah, she might be in
Bonjour.
Brussels.
So the group is split up now. Half of them make it to the subway,
Mhm.
and a group of girls are there, and the other half, the main guys, meet a girl, and the naysaying rapist guy wants to fuck. I'm talking about Ajax, but
This
that's
is
the
your
note that I
notes.
wrote.
You called him the naysaying guy? Why don't you call him
Yeah.
the homophobic guy like I did?
He's always naysaying.
Yeah.
She
He's
asked
also
him.
saying the
God.
F slur a lot.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she asked him to keep her company, and then back over to the non-main guy warriors. Go back and make sure he isn't in trouble. And at this
Well,
moment,
there's sort of a back and forth thing where it's like,
yeah,
Yeah.
they're seeing this like gang of girls in the subway, and he's also like, they're doing this sort of like cutting thing back and forth. There's a moment that I am guilty of. I feel like maybe I shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna say it. And like he sits down and she keeps saying like, "Is this how you talk to chicks?" But she's not saying like all the chicks or like including herself in chicks. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. And I'm like, oh no, is it going to be like a weird thing where it's like a gang of like transgender people, and we're like, and it's going to be like a horrible like joke? Like that's what my brain was doing, because I'm like, it's the 1970s, and but I'm like, but maybe the 1970s was too early for them to get into this kind of thing. We're like, you know, are they going to be in this hotel room, and then all of a sudden it's a bunch of ADR voices of them being like, "You came to the wrong place, bitch," or something, and like start fighting them. But no, they took the good road, which is they're just lesbians.
yeah.
I feel like we're
But I mean,
conflating
like,
a couple
bef-
of scenes here.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Before we
Well,
get
I was
to
merging them
Exactly.
together. I thought
Yeah.
that she was going to be part of that gang because
Oh, I
they're doing
see.
it at the same time.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Also, Ark Scott is laughing at this comment. This is fucking funny. Straight Twink sounds like a candy bar from the 40s. I'd eat it.
Oh my God. That's hilarious.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Dig it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then in the
What the man? It was
the
Jenny
1960s, they're like, and now straight twink 2. You get 2 straight twinks for the price
so
of one.
good.
Just Twix.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
That's where Twix.
All right.
Right. So they
Mhm.
fool around a little bit until it turns into Ajax getting a little bit too intense, and turns out she's a police officer. She handcuffs him to the seat part. Nope. The park bench, and then he freaks out, and the cops show up, and this is his comeuppance for all of the terrible things he said.
Mhm.
I think he goes to jail forever, and that's the comeuppance. But I also feel like the language of this movie is like it isn't intense enough. I think this guy should have died for saying the F slur personally.
Mhm.
Maybe that's because I'm a woke lib, but
I mean, as a person who has been called that word a lot of times in my life. I don't think he should die for it, but I do think that he should have been like, he should have had a better redemption arc.
Yeah,
he didn't have
that's what I'm
one,
trying to say.
and then he just disappears.
Yeah,
maybe he dies. Yeah, but he also clearly is like maybe a rapist. Like he was gonna just rape her.
He's definitely
Yeah.
a rapist.
he's definitely a rapist, and they don't really care that he's gone. They see him get arrested, and they're like, "He got arrested."
He
Anyway,
was the
what are
worst
you
one.
up
They
to?
told him,
That
they
was
tried to warn
inevitable.
him.
Yeah.
There's like a visual relief on Rembrandt's face where he's
Absolutely.
like,
Yes, yes.
finally.
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
waiting for him. I was hoping he'd get fucked over.
Exactly. Yeah.
Rembrandt's in the other group. This is because
Yeah.
you keep calling
Oh,
them, like,
sorry,
the
it's-
main warrior
it's-
guys
yep.
and the other warrior guys. This is Ajax.
No, yeah, I don't know. I was saying like in general, like I know he wasn't there. He wasn't part of the two guys that come, but like he's
two guys that come.
yeah, two guys that
wasn't
come
part of
is
that.
also a gang, but it's only two guys.
Yeah.
they're in the park
Ralph and
together.
Merle. They're
Yeah.
they're here every morning.
It's Cowboy and Snow.
Cowboy and Snow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wrote he's going to dystopian jail forever. I think that's
He's going to jail, and terrible things that happen in jail are going to happen to him, and I think
Yeah.
he'll be appropriately
Listen, guys, we all
chastened
know
for his
he's secretly
behavior.
Gay. He's definitely
Yes,
gay as fuck.
absolutely.
Nobody says the
don't
F
get
slur that many
that
times
mad.
for no reason. Anytime
Exactly.
anybody like even remotely doesn't show interest in women, he says like, "What are you going F slur on me over here?" And you're like,
Yeah.
"Dude,
which is a crazy thing to say.
relax.
Yes.
Like, you chill out."
Yes, it is.
Are you going F slur? Is the
Yeah.
it was
That's
like
the-
who wrote this down on paper?
3 times?
Maybe all y'all going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that he believes you can go, which means he probably has those thoughts, and he's just trying to
Exactly.
Maybe
repress
I'll
them.
go F slur.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Listen, once you go F slur, you can't go regular slur. I'll tell you that much.
What is regular?
Where you go-
Yeah. H slur? I don't know.
Once you go F slur,
Oh
you'll
my
wanna go
God.
Jeff slur.
Holy shit! This is an intense thing to say directly to Graham.
We have tracked down the original liker.
I think.
Wow.
I mean, maybe.
We're gonna
No,
call
but-
Graham
well,
Commander
anyway.
Liker from now on. Commander Liker, what do you think?
I do genuinely like this movie. To be fair.
I do genuinely
I
like this
really do.
movie as well.
I
a lot to
genuinely
talk
don't
about.
like this
Yeah.
movie, but I did like the first maybe 15 minutes of it. I thought it was
Nice.
great, but
Yeah.
like the rest of it, I also am like I'm kind of on board with that guy.
Yeah.
But you know,
It's the kind of movie if you like, you can't really hold it against somebody for not liking it.
exactly.
Yeah.
I
Exactly,
understand
yes.
why it's liked. There's
Or
a lot
maybe
to
you
like,
can.
but
And
there's
it does tons and tons and tons of things well.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just in different
I mean,
ways, and in a
cinematography
slightly
alone, the
uneven
movie is
fashion.
really, really great. I've never seen
Yeah.
a subway shot so well for
Oh my God, right?
90% of a movie.
Right. That's that is one of the glowing things of this movie is like a street, a subway platform, an elevated subway platform. I've never seen it done better in any other movie.
So good. Yeah.
With people filled with anxiety to like get on the subway. Sorry,
I was
Dennis.
joking.
No. I was thinking about the lady cop who is Mercedes Rule, by the way. Who
Mercedes
was
Rule is from
who was for example, Tom Hanks's mom in Big.
Oh, wow.
Big. Wow.
Among other things.
I think you were the first person to point that out to me when I
Really?
saw it
Oh,
way
that's
back in the
right,
day, I
yeah.
didn't know, and you had told me that.
I'm
That's
not.
because we were
I've
playing
seen
De Niro
Big,
back
but I
then.
don't know.
That's
Yeah, I
right.
don't remember
Yeah.
the mom
I
role.
was-
I remember him getting big,
Mhm.
but I don't remember his mom being like, "Oh my God, you're big now."
Yeah,
or
because
whatever.
he was big and she freaked out and
Okay.
threw him out of the house.
You're too big for this
Um,
house now. Get out.
You need to rewatch
Which was
that
the
movie.
working title for
I
that
think I
movie.
do because I've seen that movie once when I was a little kid. I think I was like 5 years old when I watched that for the first time, and like he says the word "fuck" in it, and I
Mhm.
remember being like scared, like,
Yeah.
he said "fuck," and my mom was like, "You need to grow up." Like she said that to me when I was 5 years old.
What?
Yeah,
Good heavens.
and then I started using the F slur around the
Nice.
house.
I called your mom the upslur.
No, I kept calling my dad the F slur, and he didn't like it.
So
Just
We
one thing
transit-
in this scene, I gotta point out there's a shot of the cop. So when Ajax hits with the baton, it cuts to a close up of the cop, which is kind of unnecessary.
Yeah.
But and you look at this guy's face, his jaw is huge.
He's got like a
massive- looks
Zadar,
like
like
the
a Robert
Elephant Man.
Zadar level
Mhm.
face. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you're
Is
like,
that the
"What's
cherub
going on?"
face guy?
He looks like he's part of the baseball furries.
He looks like quite the unit.
Yes.
He's got a big old head and a big old chin.
He looks like
Mhm.
a Minecraft character.
Yeah.
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 And I do really like that.
Chicken
After
jockey.
that point, after he gets hit, Ajax just like he's mad, but then he's just straight up scared, and that's like when all of this.
I mean, I've never been
falls
hit in
away,
the
right?
gut
Like-
so hard that I immediately start bleeding from my mouth. So I'd be
Yeah,
kind of,
right.
I'd be scared too.
Mhm.
That cop was like, "I just caused internal bleeding," as he like takes a step back, and you're like, "Did they model?" He looks like they modeled him in the video game and then went back in time and put him into the movie.
Or
you know?
Yeah.
cast him based on the video game.
Yeah.
Polygonal face.
Like, you look like a Looney Tunes character. You look like a cop from a Looney Tunes character who's like, boom, boom, boom. Like he has no lines. He just beats you with a baton. Like that's
Yeah.
what you are.
You had to believe that guy.
It's
did not
only
have
like 2
full
seconds though, but
vision.
yeah, it did kind of burn in my brain where I'm like,
They
that
said,
guy.
Look at the mug on this guy.
I mean,
That's not true, but I mean, I get your point.
It still is an R-rated movie, but he's right
Yeah.
to a degree.
yeah.
You could say a couple F slurs and just show some movies. Yeah, if you showed a wiener though, good luck. The movie is out.
But also, if there was like more violence in this movie, it wouldn't have a higher rating. Like, violence
no,
and if,
no,
you-
you
and if
just-
they
does
said
not
the
move
F word, if they said fuck,
yeah,
a
they
couple
said
more
fuck.
There's your
times,
exactly.
yeah. You
Exactly.
could say the other one as many
Mhm.
times as you
as many
wanted.
times.
Yeah, you can say laying wool.
Yeah.
Laying
Rembrandt's
new
original
wool?
character
Was it
name
new
was
wool?
F slur.
I'm gonna lay some wool.
Yeah, he says one thing we might get out of this trip is a little strange wool.
That's
I
it.
wouldn't mind
Strange
laying
wool.
a little something down on the way back.
That's it.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The thing is
yes.
that like I'm not familiar with any of this lingo, but I knew what he was talking
Oh,
about.
well, of course.
Yeah, you're like, oh, he's talking about fucking a sheep or a person, probably, probably a person.
I think it's
Mhm.
because back in these days, nobody trimmed their
That
pubes.
too. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you think that nobody trimmed
It's
their
a-
pubes?
it's a
pubes in
metaphor.
1979?
It was a
Nobody.
thing.
Yeah.
It was
Why
the
would
whole
at the
thing.
time? Onion on belt, no trim of pube.
Exactly.
Yeah. The year was 1979. Dun, 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 dun. Pubes were everywhere.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Hey, speaking of strange wool, how are the Lezzies doing? I mean the Lizzies.
Oh, we'll get there. We're almost there. So they over to Swan. Mercy finds him. They're down in the subway. I wrote, the old 2 at a time trick on the subway because he walks through the like subway
Yeah.
turnstile with her. They encounter the police down there. He fights like 9 police guys, uses a baseball bat on one of their knees.
Yes, he does.
They escape through like not the sewer, but the actual train tracks, which you're not supposed to go there. You're not supposed to go down
No.
there.
You will die.
No,
Over to
you
the-
can do it if you believe in yourself.
If you believe. Over to the group with the girls. I don't know, they're the Lizzies yet at this point, and they're chilling. They get taken to a party, and there's weed there. Marijuana is at this party. They're smoking weed. This gang is called the Lizzies. I think they might be lesbians. That's what I wrote. Oh, maybe not, because one of the girls is making out with Vermin, and he's talking about how big his dick is.
But did you know that a lesbian can make out with a guy?
Yeah. Also,
she
Jason, did you
wants.
know that anybody can make out with vermin if you try hard enough? You can find a rat, you can do it.
Yeah, fair enough. I once kissed a rat.
Nice.
I kissed a toilet seat once. Anyway,
It's really funny.
Afro-
Sorry.
What else have you
No,
kissed?
I hadn't until this point, and again, this is one of these like me being 20 years younger, and now and and realizing like, oh, I'm looking at this in a completely different way. It wasn't until this point in the movie that I was like, are they the sirens and is this a Greek story? Like I just had this moment of like, oh, and then I was like, oh, and the DJ is the chorus and the anyway. And then I was like, and the Furies, what? Okay, anyway, so
I think they made it pretty clear in the opening cartoon thing.
That's not it. I didn't see the opening cartoon.
Right.
I was just flying by the seat of my pants over here,
It's crazy in the beginning cartoon when it's like dun, 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 and that like little dog is jumping around the other big dog, and it's like, yeah, that was my favorite part.
Hey, Junior, or whatever. Anyway, Afro guy, I think that's Rembrandt.
No, there's two Afro guys.
There's two Afro guys. Bigger
Rembrandt
Afro
is
guys, Rembrandt.
smaller. He's got paler skin, and he's a little bit more pretty in terms of his face. Like he just looks
Puerto
smart.
Rican, and then,
Yes.
Cochise is black, and then Vermin is the AO.
The guy who's like, I want more gabagool.
But Snow also has like a smaller Afro.
Yeah,
but he's taller. He's the tallest, I think, out of everybody. Yeah.
Well, the Afro guy in this scene is basically like.
Cowboy wears a hat, but it's not a cowboy hat, which is weird. Like, give him a cowboy hat at least.
Budget.
The Afro guy in this scene is like, we should get out of here. This scene, everything.
That's Rembrandt. Yes.
Incorrect. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Rembrandt's like, we should get out of here. Back over to Swan and Mercy. They're on the tracks. I wrote Swan. What is this? What is this name? Anyway. They stopped to talk.
I was wondering because, like, I've been in these kind of situations before where I'm like, if a woman is interested in me when I'm with all these other guys that are like better than me, something is wrong here. These women are gonna rob us or some shit.
Yeah,
because I'm clearly not interested.
How many of these situations has this happened?
Just like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, maybe.
Okay, all right.
And I'm like, I'm Rembrandt here. I'm like, guys, we need to leave. Something's gonna happen. One of us is gonna get sniped like in the head or something. Something bad's gonna happen. And,
yes, Rembrandt was a singer in Sliders. Yeah,
he was a slider singer.
When we go back
Slinger,
over to,
as we call him.
When we go back over to Mercy and Swan, I really liked this scene because they jump off the tracks because the train's coming, and they have a weird like romantic moment where like they kiss for a second, and then they have sort of a discussion about like their lot in life. But the color, the palette changes to like a deep red because like a red light comes up, and I thought it was really interesting. That they did this. The color doesn't play a lot of role in this film, but I always recognize it in other movies. It's mostly just wet nighttime in New York in this movie. But this does.
I would say that every time you see what's the name of the guy who like the main guy, the main like
Swan.
No. Like the guy who they keep cutting to him and like it's like the one guy whispering in his ear, being Messiah. Yeah, like every time you see him, the color is different, and it's meant to, I think, be sort of representative of like the tone and mood, and like the next. It's giving us a hint as to what they're going to be facing next.
Right. Yeah.
Because he's almost like the Zeus on the mountain, watching as like this story is taking place, and like I love that shit. Again, like when we were talking about like like the painterly feel of stuff, like all of that, I'm like. Amazing. Like the soft focused, like out of focus lights in the background, just kind of like pluming. It's so good.
Yeah.
And then we cut back to like something so uncomfortable. Like, oh god, terrible. But it's broken up by that good stuff.
Well, Swan is of course accusing Mercy.
Oh, I meant to say red, Jason. Red. This is the sexiest color of all colors.
It is the sexiest color, I think.
It's also
that's what they've been telling us for years and years. It's also
the most aggressive color. It's like,
Yeah.
Red is representative of so much in terms of human emotion.
Mercy defends herself though. She's like, I don't do this on purpose. I just have been put in this place in my life. And then they kiss very briefly, and he pushes her off, and she begs, which is weird. I think that she legitimately like is just into Swan. That's sort of how I read it. Not like I need this to further my status. I think that she just likes him.
I think it's
she
a little
likes
bit of
him,
both,
but she likes kind of anybody that is gonna like.
Like she was fucking that weirdo, like
Yeah. She was with Russ.
Everybody Loves Raymond looking guy. you know,
Yeah.
like-
I don't know.
Yeah,
Get back
like-
in the
I don't know
house.
if she's
You're
actually
not supposed to
talking
be out
Yeah,
here. Only
like-
the orphans are supposed to deal with orphan business.
all right, man.
Yeah, like
She is
she's
admittedly
got
a
some.
prostitute there where she's
Mhm.
Swan says to her like, well, great line, like, why don't you just tie a mattress to your back? You don't
Yeah.
care where you get it. And she
Well,
says, like,
I was like, okay, buddy, that is
Yeah.
next level slut shaming. I'm not
Yeah.
into this.
and so I
Like, you
Yeah.
need to
she's-
stop.
Yeah, she's looking for a way out. That's what
Mhm.
she's
And
talking
he
about,
recognizes it,
doesn't
but at the
like
same
this a lot
time,
in
she,
life, and-
I think Jason's a little bit right where she's like, I am, but at the same time, if I can find a way out with you, like you're somebody that I would like to get out
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, that's legit. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
And we'll get to it. Like,
Mhm.
there's a section coming up that is very much like exactly what we're talking about. But before that, he just
Is
wants
there
to
a
get
single
to the,
other woman other than the Lizzies in this movie? I don't think there is, right?
not nobody with station.
No,
But like, I mean, in the gangs and
Lin-
stuff,
like
you don't
in
see
the-
them
his-
mixed
her mouth
in.
on the radio.
no, there's not.
Yeah. Everybody's gay in this movie. I just realized the Warriors and everybody beyond them, they've all like hand jobbed each other at least, right?
It was the 70s.
Warriors, come out, you're gay.
Come out, you're gay. That's it. Genius, actually.
And
So
yeah,
back to the-
talking- you go, you got it.
Back to the Lizzie party. There's lesbian stuff happening, but one
Mhm.
girl and one warrior are making out, which I mentioned earlier. They lock him in, and then they attack them. Like,
There was
they-
two girls and two warriors making out.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Okay.
Cochise was doing it too, man.
okay. Well,
I think
these
like,
lesbians might be bisexual.
I think these lesbians are opportunists.
Jason, we already told you that a woman can make out with a man and it's not gay.
Or sexual.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah. They're doing it to weaponize their sexuality. It's a thing.
Which is
that
great.
anyone
Very
can
crafty.
do.
But one
Mhm.
of them does not fall for it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This seems like it might have-
He's like, this is weird, everybody.
Which is actually
why are they
interesting.
making out with you disgusting plebes? I don't even want to fuck you guys. And I'm gay.
This scene seems like it might have been like it is ahead of its time a bit, but it also might have freaked out the squares a bit to see something like this in a movie. You know, like
I don't
the
think this
70s.
movie was made for the squares.
Right.
Well, and it also is sort of up for interpretation because it's not like the two girls are like making out.
yeah,
You know, I mean, they're dancing
Also, we're
together,
like,
but they're
we're 90 years later
Yeah.
when we're watching this movie being like,
Yeah.
oh, Lizzies, they're lesbians. It's obvious. Like, it's such an easy,
yeah, for sure.
on the nose thing. But like, it's good. It's kind of good. Like, I kind of like it. Like, I like that there's a lesbian gang that's like, we're gonna kill them because you know,
Totally.
we've got the message as well, and we can lure them in, and at
Yeah.
least we'll take out some of them. Like,
Mhm.
that's a cool, smart, fun thing, and I don't hate it. I think it's kind of weird, but
Yeah.
it's also in a way redeeming fucking Dexter's dad from saying the F slur over and over again.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It did
look,
feel a
look at this
little-
independent group of lesbians that are like, we don't actually
Mhm.
want you here. We're gonna lure you in because your stupid wieners are telling you to come.
Yeah.
it
We're
did.
gonna
It
fucking
did
kill you.
feel a little sexist though that the women. She's got a gun. The guy's across the room, and she can't shoot him.
Well, sure. I
Just
mean,
unloading
although
Some
You
lady
know, I mean-
stormtroopers going on.
yeah, exactly. Like having somebody be a bad shot is just a plot device. Like,
Yeah.
True.
you know, I mean, and considering that she's other than Luther is the only other person in the movie with a gun.
Yeah. I also
Like-
read recently that every stormtrooper is a woman. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. That's such...
Anyway, speaking of women, just for a second,
They're like,
the
"There he is!"
interesting thing about these two scenes,
Yeah.
like in happening at the same time, is you've got
horrifying.
women in two different situations, in like shitty, violent, awful situations, but and both with a type of agency. It's sort of an interesting comparison. They're
They
both
both-
weaponizing
both
their sexuality in different
luring-
ways.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
but
luring
sort of for
somebody
different
in.
purposes, and Yeah,
and
so
and it's working on both of them, which is like, oh
yeah,
if this movie was to come out today, the incel mafia would be like, this is woke. It's showing
yes.
that men are stupid. It's
Yeah.
like, no, we've been
Yes.
showing that men are stupid by our behavior for
Because I even
years.
took it the other way. I was like, the director of this film is making it seem like women are terrible at like
Guns.
locking these guys in a room and shooting them. Like,
No, but they
I-
got them in there.
Well, and they also didn't take into account the fact that Rembrandt wasn't interested.
yeah, that's a
You
good
know,
point. Yeah.
Like if he had just if he was just dumb and horny like the other guys, then
You wouldn't
they
have
would
got
have
them
been
out of
able to
there.
just straight up kill them.
Yeah.
They would have been able to just like
They're
stab
dumb.
them and
They're-
go on.
they're-
I do
Yeah.
think that it would have been
Presumably
maybe
teenagers.
better
Yeah.
if they didn't have guns, Jason. I think you're right, but like at the same time, the idea still stands is that every single one of these men, except for Rembrandt, the gay man, we all agree he's gay. We have already from the beginning.
It's this
Is
scene that
tricked by
really
them. They're
Yeah.
makes it
stupid.
Clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it also, I mean, if she didn't have a gun, then they would have had to actually like have a fist fight, and that
Yeah.
would have been
That wouldn't have been great for the movie.
distasteful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It would have been a
they
bunch
would have
of
had to
men
beat up
beating up
both
women. Yeah.
and then run.
Yeah.
I mean,
know?
there are a few good shots. I think Vermin Colclock's one of them.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
then,
Yeah.
there's a great shot of Cochise swinging the chair that breaks over
Yeah.
one of them.
Just
Yeah.
explode
So,
But
like-
the women like
More-
because
more
they
fun
have the gun,
action.
they have the upper hand, so it's
Yeah.
less of a.
This
it's
also
like
would have
not
been a good
beat down.
moment built up from watching the warlord die and then watching Buddy get thrown into the railway. If one of these guys died in an idiot way too,
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was going to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
it would have been such a good opportunity. Like something so like what would be like she just stabs him in the eye or in the ear or something, like like while she's making out with him, and then like turns around like kill him, and then they all are like what the
Yeah.
fuck, and then they get out, like just kill him.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I'm pitching Zack Snyder's The Warrior.
Vermin's
Kill
Vermin's
all.
bleeding out on the couch.
Yeah. It would have been Vermin, right?
Yeah,
It
oh,
must
yeah,
have
for
been.
sure.
This is where
Yeah.
Vermin
Yeah.
gets
Oh, yeah.
killed. He gets rat poisoned.
Yeah.
They poison his tea or some shit.
Yeah.
He's got the big one. He's way
He got the big one,
Yeah.
the calzone, as they call it.
They do realize here too that they're being blamed by Cyrus, and I thought that they already knew this, but
No.
kind of revealed them here.
No, because their buddy got thrown under the railroad tracks. I
Yeah.
also thought that's why would he have not revealed that in the graveyard immediately? Is where my brain's at. Where I'm like,
Mhm.
what is? Maybe he's too freaked out. I don't know. Because have you ever been in a position where you've had to like run away from something like horrifying? Sometimes your brain doesn't work properly, but I think in this situation, your brain would want to give as much information as possible. But
So
I don't
Yeah.
know.
I don't think Fox knew. So Fox is the guy that Luther points the gun at.
Yeah,
But I
Yeah.
don't think he knew that
he shot
that
him.
Luther was blaming the Warriors. Because
Didn't he then
he
go,
goes
it's
to
the
a-
Warriors,
he-
man!
he
And Fox
aims
is
it-
still
he-
standing there like,
he aims the gun at Fox,
yeah,
and then the
lights
floodlights
come
go
on, yeah.
off,
yeah.
and then I think Fox gets out of there, and then it's Cleon. That's who.
He
shot
points
him.
it. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't think
okay.
Fox
Gotcha.
sees
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
That's
But he would at
I
least
know
know that the little goblin man was the one that shot him. Like, did he
he would
say that?
definitely know
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what I would be like. It was the goblin man. You guys
Yeah.
know the goblin gang from the north side or whatever, or the
Goblin
sewers.
Man? The Goblin
They
Man.
hang out in the sewers, don't they?
Mhm.
Like, we love
So-
shooting people.
over to
It's my favorite thing to
Swine.
do.
Yeah.
Over to Swine. He makes it to Union Square.
Yeah.
He encounters what I colloquially call him as the roller skate weirdo. He's
The
being
hottest guy in the whole
followed.
movie.
Yeah. Maybe you're hottest guy in the movie.
In my opinion, the rollerblade guy is the hottest guy in the movie, and also I was narrating this moment out loud when he's like following him, because like he goes like up and down these ramps through the subway system,
Yeah.
and like out loud when he goes up a ramp, I'm like, oh no, a ramp. His only weakness. It's gonna slow him down so much, that ramp. And then when he goes to another, and then it cuts to him coming around a corner, I'm like, ooh, a downward sloping leg. That is his strength. It's gonna buffer him. It's gonna give him extra power. But then he goes down it serpentine. I'm like, oh my god, he's using the serpentine technique. He's getting every bit of extra power from that fucking ramp that he can possibly build up.
It's like Mario Kart where he's building sparks on his wheels.
If you stay on it, if you stay on it for long enough, you're like. Zzz. I was getting really into this rollerblade lore that I was building in my head, where it's an upward facing slope is like it fucks him up, but a downward one like gives him like Super Saiyan powers.
So all the
Keep calling
boys,
it rollerblades, but
I know. I was thinking.
I know they're called roller skates. I know.
Yes.
But like, who has ever called it that since the blade was invented?
well, before rollerblades
Everybody
existed,
prior to about
everybody.
1990.
Yeah,
I got to tell you, I have been always alive since rollerblades were a thing. So
I've also been always alive since
I've always
rollerblades.
been alive.
no, but I mean, like they were already invented before I was born.
Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah. So to me, they're the
Plausible
same thing.
deniability.
They're one
I've
and
never
the same.
seen a
Yeah.
different kind.
Yeah.
So all the
Oh my
boys,
god.
Yeah.
all the boys meet up at Union except for Swan. They tell them about Ajax getting arrested and look for Swan. Mercy encounters the I can't believe I wrote this. The special needs Mario brothers. And
Oh my God, Jason.
I know that was a terrible thing to say. I'm sorry.
That's like
Oh,
almost
we-
as
we
bad as
can't-
saying the F slur 7 times.
Can't drop F
I don't-
slurs over here.
Yeah.
But they also find Swan. She warns Swan about them because they're a particularly plucky group of individuals, and the rest of the warriors show up at this moment. They all go into the men's room and they have a brawl, and mostly normal brawl stuff in here. I think this is when the chain gets brought out. But what I thought was great is somebody picks another person up and throws them into the mirror.
Yeah.
And what that reminds me of is we've watched we're up to like Friday the 13th part 8 in October. We've watched 7 Friday the 13th movies on this show, and one of my favorite things that Jason does in I think 2 movies is he picks a guy up like that and throws him through a window.
Yeah.
And that's what that reminded me
That's
of.
awesome.
My favorite part was
it
when
was
Rembrandt
awesome.
used this spray paint into someone's face.
Yeah, like immediately.
Yeah, and it was the hot
Yeah.
guy, the main guy, the only rollerblader out of the rollerblader boys.
That's right.
I mean, sorry, the skate skanks or whatever you guys want to call them.
Overall
what
roller
is-
skates. Overall
That's
roller
a pretty
skates.
good name.
Yeah.
What
They
are
have-
the
they-
Mork and Orcs called?
Their actual name is the Punks.
Ah.
Oh
jeez.
God,
Not very creative.
they don't even look
That's
like
right.
punks. But I guess maybe punks was still kind of like a
79.
a,
Yeah,
bra-
different
a
thing.
blanket term. Yeah.
Yeah. All they had for punk at this point in history for music is like I think the Ramones might have
Right.
started to exist. Maybe God Save the Queen exists.
But
you
like
know?
punks
You know,
and punk
which-
were still
Yeah, at this
Yeah.
point,
Yeah.
you're just like calling kids on the
Yeah.
driveway. Like, get out of my driveway, you punks.
exactly.
Right. It was just
Yeah.
sort of a
Not
blanket
associated
term.
with the
Yeah.
music,
Yeah,
but-
They should have
Exactly.
called the Orphans the Ramones because that guy looked like Ray Ramono, and he was like,
Get off my fucking property.
It can't rain all the time.
Jesus.
They're going about our
Deborah!
reads in the paper.
she comes out and she's like, "My name's Mercy," and he's like,
Oh, thought your name was Deborah.
I got
All
a
right, these
small
guys
brother.
are.
"Okay." Anyway, I-
Did you, Ray Romano, Deborah always ever go into like a Fred Flintstone, like Wilma, but Deborah? All the time.
oh wait, that's Frasier. Whoopsie.
Where are we going?
That's weird.
Yeah. Everybody
Uh,
loves Frasier.
So they win.
Adios!
So they win the fight. We go over to the riffs now, and there's someone with the truth about Cyrus that they've brought into the
Finally,
little
the truth.
clubhouse.
Yeah.
And
I like
then
this like
on-
random guy too, eh?
He
Yeah.
looks like he's one of like the rogues or something, right? He looks like he's close to their
I mean, I would
chief.
believe that. You know, he's another he's a CI within the rogues,
Right?
Telling on the CI
He's a double
within the
agent.
police.
He's a
I mean,
Riffs
if this-
Rogues rat.
Gallery. Yeah,
Riffs
the
Roads
Riff
Rat.
Roads Rat. Yeah, okay. I like that.
Thank you.
I think if there was if this many gangs existed in a city, the cops would be fucking hiring teenagers straight out of high
Yeah.
school would be like, all right, we're going to give you 4 weeks of police training, and then we're going to send you back out there to become one of the pinky punk pervert pogo gang, and you're going to go. And then they go and they're like, hey, and Jason's like, so you think you could be a pinky punk pogo punk, huh? All right, let me see you on the pogo stick. And they're like, doink, doink, doink. He's like, all right, you're pretty good.
You're in.
All right, can you rob a bank? Whatever. And you're like,
This movie needs more bank robberies, I think.
Right.
there wasn't even a single one.
Not
we
even a
don't have any
one.
money to get home.
Exactly.
Train's so expensive. Let's go
On
to
the,
the all-night bank.
Yeah. It's hard to rob a bank when you don't have a getaway car. You have to use the train all the time.
You gotta get away subway train.
Yeah.
On the subway, all the warriors are back together. They discuss Cyrus wanting to be the one leader and bring all the groups together. Then a prom group, kids clearly coming from a prom. The warriors wonder what normal life is like, and the prom people see how dirty and beat up they are, which was an intense thing to see because they get on with their like nice whites and their fucking cummerbunds and their corsages, and they're just looking at Swan and Mercy up and down, and they're all bruised and beaten and literally physically dirty.
Yeah,
which
like
I-
her feet are filthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is funny because actually I walked like 16 kilometers up and down the strip in Vegas a couple of years ago
What happens?
in Birkenstocks, and by the time I got back to my hotel, that's what my feet looked like. It was
Like,
crazy.
how are the bottoms of my feet dirty?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got Birkenstocks.
exactly.
Yeah. These are now Dartenstocks
Yeah.
over here.
Hey.
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah, that's a great scene. That's a really great scene because
Yeah,
it really like
There's no
especially for
real like
Mercy.
words spoken during that, right?
No,
They're just
Mm.
kind of
No.
like
The
yeah.
only words you hear is just like the chatter of the prom
Yeah.
kids. I
And they
say
kind of
prom
get
kids,
more and
but
more
they look
quiet
like
as
they're
they're
like
also
40 years
examining
old.
them, right? Which
Yeah.
is it's a pretty it's powerful.
Yeah,
It's
'Cause it's
good.
just
that-
It's
A
good.
nice
Yeah.
little moment where the prom kids are looking at Swan and Mercy, and she goes to like almost like put her hair back, and he puts his hand on her, like put it down, like no, you don't.
no,
don't
leave
have to do
yourself the way that
You don't need
are.
to show
You're
your
better than
fucking
those people.
face to these
Yeah.
weirdo rich kids,
Mhm.
and they're like, "We're not rich. We rented these,
Yeah.
and
they're not
okay,
better
whatever."
than you. Yeah, exactly.
But this
Yeah.
this was the moment of the movie where I was like, this isn't a weird dystopian future where the gangs run the world.
Right.
I realized that there this is a dystopian future, or maybe it isn't, but we're literally just seeing from the point of view of an underbelly of New York at this time, but there is still regular people out there that
Sure.
aren't like constantly involved
I-
in gang
I,
crimes.
Yeah, I don't think that the movie ever at any point convinced me that regular society wasn't still existing. Like,
No,
I
exactly,
always
yeah.
kind of felt that way. This just kind of like made me. It broke you out of like the Warriors for a minute because you're
Mhm.
only in the Warriors, right? It's their
Mhm.
moment, and it's like no,
Yeah.
the world is still existing. They're just really stuck in their own world for this entire tale, and like that moment, what it did for me was make me realize that in that giant summit, there's probably like 2 or 3 gangs that are like, like frat boys who are like, we probably shouldn't be here, guys. Like, why do we
Right,
even get
yeah.
invited? Like they're
Mhm.
they're like unofficially part of the summit because they beat up another gang one time. Like it's like Michael Bay and like his graduating class from 1982
Right.
or whatever. Like they're all there. Like
Yeah,
it made me feel like there's probably like this huge number of people that would absolutely become warriors for Silas, but there's probably like a ton of outliers that like the orphans, for example, like they're not cool enough to be, or not. It's not that they're not cool enough. It's just they weren't like
they
strong.
don't have enough
for
cred.
this
Yeah,
to get brought in.
yeah,
But like,
Yeah.
I think about it now. It's like, could you buy your way in with cred? Like, could you use money to get cred? Like,
I don't know.
this is why, again, I keep saying, like, if they made
No,
like
world
this movie
building.
again and it's like a cyberpunk world, there's going to
Yeah.
be like the rich kids who think that they're part of this and like they're
Mhm.
not, and they'll get eliminated real quick in a warrior style story.
I think you're right in that if you were going to make this today, you would need to make it an actual discernible
Super future, yeah.
something wrapped in
Yeah.
a cyberpunk motif or something else. Like
Yeah.
this is because this is, and I'll say it again. It's not necessarily in the future. It's only because Walter
Yeah.
Hill had to
Yeah.
make this other version of it.
Yeah.
Like
Even if they made
it's
it,
just a heightened New York of the time. Like there are
Yeah.
gangs, but they don't look this silly.
Yeah.
but I love the
back
silliness.
then
That's
it's
what's
not so
fun about
yeah,
it, right?
back then it's not
Yeah.
so out of place, and it just helps the movie be the movie because you can discern one gang from the other. And
What's
you know,
what's the vibe of the book for this sort of dystopianness of it all?
I have to pee. Is that okay?
Yep.
Cyber pee.
I'll tell you what I know about the book, and that I don't know that it's necessarily in the future. I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure it's taking place in the current day-ish of New York whenever Saul Urich wrote it.
He wrote it in the late 50s, wasn't it? Or
50s or 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he worked as like a social worker or something in New York. Like he
Yeah.
had associations with gangs and stuff like that. So yeah, apart from the book being the gang, the warriors are called the dominators or the destroyers or something like that. They all have different names than characters in the books too, or in the movie as well. And it is darker.
Yeah.
Given the scene with Mercy that I talked about
Sure.
before. I'm pretty sure more warriors die.
Yeah.
More people
So-
die in general. And then the whole thing ends with like the Swan character going home at the end, and his mom's like having sex with somebody. They're in like real, shitty housing with like a crying baby in the corner, and he just like tends to the baby, and he's 14 years old, and then goes down and like sucks his thumb and goes to sleep. I'm talking about like the Swan character.
Yeah.
But it's yeah,
Jesus.
it seems like a darker.
So what it
thing,
could
Yeah.
be
but
from
they wouldn't
the
wanna follow it
lens
for the movie.
from the lens of the 1950s, it is like the future, maybe, like
Well, not necessarily, because I mean, then it would have been like the greasers and the like that kind of.
okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know what black and
Different
Puerto Rican gangs
vibes.
in New York in the 50s or 60s would have been like
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
But that was like, I guess he drew on his experience for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is interesting. Yeah.
Like it's not a fun read, and I'm not just saying for like those parts. I did read most of it back when I was like at my peak Warriors fandom.
Yeah.
And it was not necessarily enjoyable for me.
Yeah.
Maybe for somebody else.
Yeah, like sometimes it's
think-
really interesting reading, like, going back to the source material. Like Logan's Run, I really like the difference,
Ooh.
the differences between the book and the movie. Speaking of which, Logan's Run.
Yeah, I watched Logan's Run recently. It was pretty good.
I love it. I love it.
Almost all I remember
You can
is
live.
Runner and then
Yeah.
box
Yeah.
at the end and be like, overwhelming, am I not? And
Yeah.
it's just like this comedically
Yeah,
70s
exactly.
robot.
Yeah. But sometimes if you go back to the source material, you're like, oh, huh, okay, well, this is not the same vibe.
Sometimes
This
it's
is
better.
not the vibe I was
Sometimes
like,
it's better, though, too.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But nobody,
Absolutely.
I would say if anybody really, if you love the Warriors movie, you don't need to read the book.
Yeah.
'Cause it's
Yeah.
not the
It's
same
kind of
thing.
like
It's a
it.
different thing.
I mean, we don't need to talk about it, but it. Remember
Yeah.
it?
Oh, yeah.
Yikes!
Yeah.
Yikes! Let me tell you.
They're not good
Yikes.
guys. Not good guys in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they leave. We get the transition to the morning, off Mercy to the Sky and the train. They get out on Coney Island. The prom people.
Sun. We get some sun.
We get some sun. It's daytime now.
Yeah.
The prom people did drop some flowers behind, and it's interesting that Swan gives the flowers to Mercy. He says, she's like, "Oh, thank you so much." And he's like, "I don't like to waste nothing." And it's like, oh,
I
okay.
hate to see anything go to waste.
She
but
Yeah,
still.
Swan is.
She
a
was just
little-
kind of like,
weird
"What's this for?"
line.
Like she didn't trust it. Like she was kind of.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she's used to the orphans, like where
Yeah.
they're probably all scrambling for a handful of fucking Cheerios or
Yeah.
whatever. Be like,
Give me that.
You want a banana peel? Huh?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but
And they
it
also have a
felt like, not an out of place line, but yeah, when Swan says, "Oh, I just hate seeing anything go to waste," I feel like there's some they're wants to be weight there or it's supposed to
Yeah.
be weight to something.
Well, I
else,
think
but I'm
that.
like, what
Well,
is
I mean,
this?
it's meant to be. I think it's meant to be like he's talking about her. Like he doesn't want her to
Like,
go
I
to
don't want
waste.
you to go to waste.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, cause like
Yeah.
he's like, I brought you along as well. Like you are like these flowers. Someone
Right,
is
you
leaving
were
behind, and like
left on the floor of
I
the
think
subway.
it makes sense,
Yep.
but at the same time, like it's not.
It's an awkward line.
It is awkward, and it's also like an awkward thing where she's like, "You calling me a fucking banana peel?" Like
Yeah.
that is, pretty
Right.
right. You're like I'm not a fucking banana peel. I'm a banana peel if the banana was still in it on the tree, and I'm running.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna figure out how to be a better banana peel in a different city. You asshole. But
Yeah,
I
this
think
is-
that's what it's meant to be. Is like I don't
Mhm.
want to see anything
Yeah,
get
that
left
makes sense.
behind. She is the thing that he doesn't want to see get left behind.
Yeah.
And he's
Going
saying at
back
this point,
to
like,
those-
this is-
oh, sorry.
We fought all night to get back to here.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just take off.
Yeah.
It is
The,
crazy that they live at the beach and like they live by like the carnival, and their theme
But-
is like indigenous appropriation. or
Yeah.
I would say, only Cochise, I would say, is the indigenous appropriation guy.
Yeah.
'cause he's got like feathers or something coming down.
And he's got like
feathers,
the
yeah.
the beaded necklace and everything,
Yeah,
but like
that's right.
that to me that sort of infects everybody. So like like if I was like in the Warriors gang and I was just wearing this like leather vest, and then some other guy came and we all were wearing this leather vest thing, and then one guy came and he was just wearing this sort of appropriative headwear, I'd be like,
Yeah.
hey man, maybe roll it back. You can't.
Mhm.
I know we're the Warriors, but we're not like the Warriors, the fucking football team or whatever.
Yeah.
Just relax.
That thing where you're like, if you're in a group and one Nazi joins your group, then it's a table of Nazis.
Exactly.
So one guy comes up and he's dressed inappropriately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all culturally
Yeah.
appropriate.
Exactly.
That's how I would tell him to take it off. I'd be like, take it off.
Yeah.
Take it off, man. Stop. Because
Yeah.
now because we're wearing leather vests, and that can be seen as some sort of, like animal product that, they're, it's all going to get blended into one thing, and people are going to think we're like the appropriation gang. We
Mhm.
might as well be called the appropriators.
That would be a great alternate name.
Yeah.
That probably would mean nothing to anybody in 1979.
But now that's accurate because every single gang
Sure.
is kind of an
Let's-
appropriate.
Oh,
let's
absolutely.
Let's remake it. It'll be
Mhm.
the wokiers.
No,
woke
we
mob.
just call it the appropriators, and then
Mhm.
there'll be a
The
woke
appropriate.
gang, like a gang
Mhm.
that's like super
And every
anti-woke.
gang they beat, they get to take something from them and be like, "This is ours now."
And there's the gang at the very top, and they're wearing like so much shit. It's like they don't even know what to do with it. They're like, oh, they're like Jabba the Hutt. Like, oh, I have so many gangs appropriated.
But I thought it was
think
great.
You can threaten me. You're like, oh fuck.
I thought it was great in this moment too, where Swan and Mercy discussed just leaving
Mhm.
all of it behind and taking off. And Swan is like, "Have you ever even been out of here?" And she's like, "No, but I could kind of imagine what it'd be like
Yeah.
to like go to a different place." And I can, like, I've been to places, but I
Yeah.
also am from Halifax originally. And when I was a teenager and in my 20s, I could never even really fathom what it'd be like to go to other places. But I always sort of thought, man, going
Mm.
somewhere else would be cool as hell.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. And they did a good job. I mean, bringing them back to Coney Island, and you've got the sun. There's sort of the hope of them arriving safely, more or less. But they still have that transition of it's just quiet. Like, yeah, you can hear, you can hear the seagulls. But it's not like, there's no like uplifting music. Like, we made it, guys.
No, it's
Whoa.
quiet, yeah.
You
And
know,
such
so
an
they
incredible
still,
juxtaposition to what we've just seen for the
Mhm.
last 70 minutes of the film, right?
yeah. Yeah,
then
but
what do you
but
get
it keeps the tone, right? Like it keeps that. Yeah, exactly.
Clink, 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 clink. I
Yeah,
love the little montage of they see the rogue's car,
hmm
and then they're all like underneath the boardwalk, just making whatever weapon they can, like ripping pieces of wood,
Yeah.
shingles or whatever shit off.
Yeah.
and then it turns out he had a weapon the whole time, right?
Well, Swan has a switchblade. Yeah.
But
But
he
had
he
it
took
the
that
whole
off the
time?
punks.
Did he take it off the punks?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, and they got baseball bats at one point too.
Yeah, from the Furies,
Okay,
right,
but
yeah.
no, but
Furies.
so I thought this was meant to reveal, which I'm now wrong, is that he had a knife on him the whole time. Like
Oh,
he
no,
took
yeah.
it to the, which changes your like brain a little bit.
This-
but now
This is like
I'm
where the
okay,
video
but-
game part of it comes in,
9
right? Because
guys,
they
no
literally,
weapons.
as they're going along, they're picking up things from people.
No, but yeah, I
Yeah,
thought
through
it,
the fight.
That
I thought
reminds
it-
me of Grand Theft Auto too.
I thought it was like he
Could
disobeyed
have
the
said
rules.
Mega Man.
you know, like
Gotcha, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
He so
Reminds
he
me of
wasn't
Mega
as
Man.
he wasn't as pure. He wasn't the pure swan that we all thought he
Right.
was. He had a knife on him the whole time. But if he took that from the punks, then he is still the pure
Yeah.
swan, and now he's out for. He's just here to practice his knife throwing, which
Yeah.
apparently he's amazing at.
Because the main punk, the roller skate punk, had the switchblade and he like popped it out and we get
Right.
a close up on it and like
Yeah.
they Chekhoved gun that
I
one.
will admit, when this rollerblade part was happening, I was making dinner and I was watching the movie at like a poor angle. And
Oh, well, that
I was
was your
trying as hard as I
problem.
could to like stir noodles and pasta and be like, I think I know what's happening. Yeah, they're in a sub. Okay, they're gonna fight these rollerblade boys. Man, that one rollerblade
sure
guy's
nothing-
really
nothing
hot. I hope
important's
that he
gonna
doesn't
happen
get
here.
spray paint in his eyes. Oh god, he gets spray paint in his eyes. Crazy.
Oh my
yeah.
god.
Just before we get back to where we are, because we're going back there, I was gonna say that fight in the bathroom is wonderful.
Mhm.
It is
So
good.
many
Yeah.
Yeah.
nice
We kind of skipped over it because
actions.
Jason only
There's
talked
its
about the mirror
ends with
smashing,
the
but
flipping
like
a guy over your back through the stall.
Oh yeah,
There's
and
one
then
guy
and
who
the shot
shot-
from out like from inside
Yeah.
the stall out. Yeah.
There's one guy who totally slapsticks it, like he gets punched in the face. He's one of the punks.
Yeah.
And he gets punched in the face, and then he's like, "Ooh!" and then smacks his head off the wall. It's like,
Yeah.
it's a whole.
have you guys
thing.
ever seen
Yeah.
The World's End? Like the
Yes.
yeah, where like
Dun
you know-
dun 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 dun
the
dun 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 dun.
not that
No,
one.
no. The Cornetto trilogy.
The Cornetto, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Sorry.
In those movies they always like they have these sort of like almost like wrestling-esque fight
Yeah.
sequences where
Mhm.
every single person gets a moment in
Yeah.
them, and they're like so beautifully shot where you're like they're highlighting just like the ideals and sort of like the persona of these characters
Yeah.
in the fight, and they kind of do that here, and I appreciated it where I'm like
Mhm.
they gave everybody a moment in the fight to like make us like these guys, the warriors, a little bit more.
Yeah.
And this is where I'm like, you know, the movie kind of dipped hard and then it's like coming back up for me at the end. And I'm like,
Right.
okay, I'm back on board over
He's
here.
like, those
I-
furies took me out, but I'm
Yeah.
back now, guys.
Yeah. I've now got my bowl of food in front of
Yeah.
me that I was making while
You're
watching.
just
I'm
so
like, "All right,
hungry."
I'm out. Let's see what this is. See what's gonna happen at the
Mhm.
end.
You're enjoying it. Yeah. Well, this is the part of the movie where, you know, the rogues roll through and they're spray painted up fucking Oldsmobile or whatever it is. And
It's a
they,
freaking Ecto 1. It's a hearse.
Yeah.
it kinda, yeah. And you know, we get the clinking of the bottles, and we hear warriors come out and play. But I never recognized when I was growing up and I knew this movie existed, I always knew this scene, and it is almost a Luca, I'm your father moment where
it
people get it
Don't
wrong.
even-
But
don't say that.
no, but it's I'm just trying to find it. It's not warriors come out and play.
No.
Warriors come out to play.
Come
Play.
out to play. So that's all I'm saying.
And
But-
play.
How many times?
That's
I
not the
always
same
thought
thing. That's not the same thing at all.
Okay, I know. I'm just joking around.
You're
But-
not. You're making an analogy, and I don't like the analogy.
Okay, fair
you have
enough.
to stop
I'm
doing
sorry.
that
It's like
right
if
I'm
they-
telling you I'm
if
sorry,
said,
it's
like,
fine.
Hey, Warriors, get out here.
Yeah.
Get out here and play it out.
Hey, Warriors, we're over here.
But my point is how many times do you think he says it in this scene? Graham probably knows, but Jenny and Steve, do you know how
I've
many
never
times?
counted. It's more than 5.
Can I try and guess?
Yes. Graham, you're wrong, actually.
Warriors
Oh, did you
Come
count?
out
Oh, you
to
counted.
play. Warriors come out to play.
I like this technique.
We're all gonna do it.
Warriors come out to play. Warriors come out to play. Warriors.
You're slowing down.
To play. And then it's in the car. Warriors, and they're like, give him a knife, and he's like, I've got a knife to play. All right, meet me at the beach. Am I wrong? It's
Five
5
times. It's 5 times
Now,
exactly.
I don't know if you're counting
what
the
I
ones that are in the background, because I was counting the ones that he's on
No,
screen
that's-
for. I think you're counting. You're
included.
not counting the
It's
ones where it's still in the
off-screen.
background.
I counted the amount of times that I heard it said in the track of like the vocal track. And the reason I did that is because I thought
Well, I was also
Graham-
counting the ones where they ran away and he's still saying it when they're like off screen.
I thought Graham was
We're
gonna
getting
do
to the
like a
beach, it's like,
more of a
Warriors, and he's got all bottles
clink,
on all
clink.
fingers, like clink, clink, clink.
well at the beginning of the movie in the ultimate director's cut it goes like cling cling and does like a weird like
Does
thing to
it
foreshadow it. Yeah.
Also,
it's-
before we started this podcast, I
Fuck.
told myself
Oh my
3 times,
God.
do not do the Warriors come out to play thing. Like, don't
well, you
do
did
it.
it 19 times.
I know.
Here we are.
I shouldn't have done it.
Anyway,
Mhm.
the Warriors lure the Rogues to the beach. We get our final battle happening at this point. Why'd you waste Cyrus? I just felt like it, which I thought was a
No,
great
it's-
moment.
I like to
No
do things like
reason.
that. Yeah.
It's no reason. I just like doing things like that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's it's the whole like it's the whole why of the movie. Why did he do it? Why did he set this whole
Mhm.
events in motion?
Yeah.
No reason. I just like doing things like that.
I just like doing things like that. It's the
Yeah.
Also, I'm an
Master.
CI and an undercover operative.
It's like the old like, well, Master Wayne, some people just like to watch the world burn.
Exactly.
I saw a guy
These are
throw a
chaos.
jewel the size of an apricot in the fucking river. Crazy, right?
Burn a pile of money, Master Bruce.
Yeah. Spend so much time asking why and the answer is,
Exactly.
I don't know, fucking whatever.
Yeah.
We always ask ourselves why, and then but we should be asking ourselves why the fuck not? Am I right, Master Wayne? Yeah.
Pow! knife to the arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would it be power? Or would it be? It'd be like
More of a-
SLLK.
What
Yeah.
sound does a Wolverine's claw make?
Snicked bub.
Snicked.
Not quite
Yeah.
that, I guess.
It should
Yeah.
be reverse snicked. Be
But
like,
also,
Zerp.
the snicked is just when they come out. It's not.
yeah.
the
So
sound
it should
when
be
it goes-
reverse. It should be reverse snicked. Yeah.
Run it backwards.
Yeah.
Hmm.
What does it sound
So the-
like in reverse? Oh.
Well, we can talk about all that and more once we get through this. The Riffs show up, and they know the truth.
Yeah, right.
They're here
How do
to
they
help
know the truth though? I
Warriors.
can't
Because
remember.
that guy
there
came.
That guy earlier ratted out the CI.
The
ratted
rogue
out
riff
Luther.
rat.
Yeah.
The riff rat. Oh man, he's like riff raff. He just wants to blow up and
That's
pretend
actually-
like he
I wanna
doesn't
write
know
that
nobody.
That's incredible, Jenny. Thank you for Riff Rat because I would like Steve to draw that now. I also
He's
wrote
the-
the rogues are bitches.
Well, yeah.
Sure.
Because
Well, at least
they're
leaders.
cops.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. They are.
It's a classic bully story. We get that bully moment where we've got like this entire gang around Luther being like, "You're fucked, bud. You're
Mhm.
fucked up," and he starts to basically cry, and his voice and his demeanor change, which I thought
It
was
wasn't
excellent.
us. It was
Mhm.
them.
We didn't do it.
Warriors.
The
It was
Warriors.
the Warriors.
Exactly.
The Warriors leave, and the rogues are eradicated. The lady on the radio talks about the ending. She sort of recaps what had just happened. The Warriors are good, and everything is fine again. It was a
And we're
misunderstanding.
sorry.
She goes.
The end.
This just in. Where's Waldo is in South America. Carmen San Diego is in northern South Korea. And the Warriors are off the hook.
Northern South Korea. I love that.
I think she said
But Graham, I know you have a major problem with the ending of this movie, the ultimate director's cut versus the
Yeah, so I'm looking at
theatrical.
it
Why
now
don't you
'cause
tell
I
us
had to
about it?
remind myself. The original credits sequence is a nice, relaxed and resolving like a 2-minute walk along the beach.
Yeah.
You just see the credits go, and you
It's
can
lovely.
see this beautiful sunset in the background as the
Mhm.
Warriors make their way down. You know, you can see them playing. There's a bit of that like innocence restored.
Mhm.
They've been through so much. They're just
I like
kids.
I like at one point the camera just like adjusts slightly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like they get. It's almost like they mistimed it or
'Cause they're-
something, or like the DOP fell
Yeah.
asleep and the director's like, "It's just fucking bullshit over there."
Yeah.
But they freeze in the director's cut. They freeze frame on like one guy like jumping up, like kicking his heels together or some shit. And
What?
Then they pull out to like a multi-comic frame, and then they're just sitting there with some stills of like Swan talking to Mercy, Mercy talking to Swan. It's just, it's you don't want to look at it. You don't want to look at it 'cause
Ugly.
Yeah.
it's like, okay, it's the ugly overlay drawings, and for some reason they decided to do it because they were just like, in for a penny, in for a pound, we're gonna fucking do this. And yeah, it looks awful. It looks awful, and you don't want to hang around for the credits. But you know, you get Joe Walsh's "Beautiful in the City" song,
Yeah.
and you
Joe
get to watch
Walsh
this nice-
rules.
You get to watch, yeah, he especially rules
Yeah.
nowadays. But yeah, in the original, you get that shot of the sunset and them walking off, and it's
Mhm.
just a long shot of them doing that for fucking 2 minutes, and it's
Yeah.
nice and relaxing, and you know, you can, it's got a little bit of change, and like Jenny says, even the camera adjusts at
Yeah.
a certain point.
Well,
So
there's some
it's
catharsis
very
there. Like you
unfulfilling
get
with
to
what they-
like
yeah, you get to come down, you get to listen to the music, and something is still happening on screen versus
Mhm.
just like those goddamn comic freeze frames. And so
Yeah.
that's the worst offender. It doesn't have any of the dumb text on screen like, "Oh no, the Furies," or like, "And then
Yeah.
meanwhile,
And then
this-
later,
Did you know that this is happening elsewhere?
Did you know
I
that two
guess I
things
do
can
now.
happen at
Yeah.
the same
I would have
time?
been able to figure that out by watching the scene that followed that
without these
scene.
comic transitions.
Mhm.
And so anyway, I love the credit sequence of the original just
Yeah.
because it is that nice, and you can take it in and bathe in the warmth of this
yeah.
New gross New York coastline, but with a nice
Yeah.
sunset.
Well, yeah, you finally get this
sunrise, I should
moment.
say.
Yeah, exactly. You finally get this moment of like it's not still, but it's like quiet and peaceful, and you're just looking because every other time in this movie when there's nothing really happening, it's tense.
Yeah,
You know, so this is just like
this is the respite.
yeah,
Nice
you
and
know.
great bit of
Breathe,
respite.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
of course, in this ultimate director's cut, it's just aborted.
It's not very ultimate.
Gorgeous.
I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it's not ultimate at all. It's
It does
It's like-
just end. Yeah, like it's like this is the end and that's it
Bam.
now.
Yeah.
This was him trying to do a Ridley Scott where he's like, tighten it up. We got to get rid of that shit.
Yeah,
and just end
there's
it."
an
It's like,
alien
well,
still
maybe
on the ship. An alien's down the beach behind them.
We forgot about the alien gang.
Xenomorph is there.
Oh no.
Yeah. New York, New York. There's an alien chasing you.
Yeah, it's
Like,
the-
oh,
it's-
we,
it's
we should've called
Spaceballs.
this Warrior so that we can call the sequel Warriors.
Yeah,
Oh.
With a dollar sign.
Yes.
Alien versus Warrior versus Predator. Well, that's the film, The Warriors. I'm glad that we were able to do this. I fucking love this film. Before we get into our sort of final stretch here, Graham wants to present us a game.
A game.
So excited.
I'm going to utilize the regular MPAA song. It says MPAA in it, but I'm still going to use it. But Graham, I want you to set up what you need to set up. I think we're going to all go to the side of the screen, and you're going to pull up some sort of presentation.
This is the beginning
He's
of the
very
game.
rough, I'm just
There was a,
sharing.
this
Ah,
is our
present.
dolls. I'm
Gotcha.
here to announce the game. If you all lose, I will barf guns out of my mouth.
Well, that's Zardos. Zardos is here. He's here
Good
with us now.
Lord.
Good
Can you see
Lord
that,
is
Jason?
my high school nickname.
If you add it to the stage, it'll fully take over. I think.
It was removed completely.
Share screen. Add it to the stage.
So, Jenny, are you working on anything new image-wise?
Yeah. right now.
Save it for plugs.
Oh, no, but I mean, like, no, that's not a plug. That's just like, what are you
Okay,
painting
fair.
right now?
Fair
Right
enough. I'm sorry.
now, I'm painting a scene from Wrath of Khan.
Ooh, can you tell me which scene, or are you
Yes.
saving it? Okay.
It is, and it's a commission, which is
Okay,
why it's
yeah.
this specific shot, because it's the after, it's like Kirk after they do the glass,
Mhm.
and then he turns and like,
Yeah.
no,
Hey,
this
Oh,
is
when
just,
he's like about to
and
do it.
he's just like, no.
Hey Jenny,
So it's
before
like sad Kirk. It's a
Okay.
sad
Jenny,
Kirk
before we
painting, but it's
before we
gonna
get
be
to
very
this
cool.
game,
Jason,
you-
shut up for a second. Heck, man.
Yes, Jason.
Whoa.
before we get to the game, user Pat King, who was somebody that got the, can you guess the movie poster thing correct?
Ooh, sick.
He wanted to say shout out to Jenny Johnson, who is my biggest nerd crush since Marion Ravenwood. I'll own one of her paintings someday.
Oh my gosh, that's
I wanted to let you
lovely.
know. I wanted to let you know about that.
Wow. And in such illustrious company. Thank you.
Right?
Who's Marion Ravenwood?
Indiana Jones.
Oh,
Raiders.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I should know that immediately. I was like, which Harry Potter teacher is that for a second?
Good heavens.
I mean, Ravenwood sounds like a Harry Potter teacher.
Is that the fucking broad from Robin Hood? Sorry.
No.
Okay.
No. No.
I never want to hear about Robin Hood again on this podcast.
Oh.
What
We're
you
the-
What
guys
about the
did last
animated
time.
one where we can all discuss our
Yes.
sexual awakenings and be like,
No,
why are we
you'll-
all furries now? Yeah, da, 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 da.
Wait till I tell you about what I thought about Robbie the dinosaur.
Oh my goodness.
Let's go.
He had a Letterman jacket. Hello.
He's got a Letterman jacket on. I mean, you can't put
Do
that
I
in
need-
a cock. and
Do I
dummy
need to hit the
thing.
music to get? Do I need to hit the music to get to this next thing?
I don't know. I got my screen up, I think.
There you go.
Hey,
Oh,
there
yeah,
it
you got
is.
It's
It's time to play.
yes, the MPAA.
Okay,
No.
Graham, tell us. You're the host now.
Welcome to Warriors Dead or Alive.
All right.
It's a very simple game. I'm going to bring up somebody, and you are going to tell me if the character is alive at the end of the movie, and guess if the actor is still alive.
Oh,
Wow.
interesting. Okay. All right. This is
And
interesting.
You
Are you
get
going to
one
give it
point-
to a? Sorry, go ahead. I'm
You get
interrupting.
1 point. 1 point for the character is still alive,
Mhm.
or not, if you guess right, and then if you guess correct on the actor being alive or not, you get another point. But if you don't, then somebody can steal. Whoop! I just hit my mic.
All right.
I'm gonna do my best to keep track of this. This is a real half-baked piece of shit.
This is a good game that you've made.
All right.
Amazing.
And so, just one thing I'll talk about before that. So I have like different copies of this movie. Obviously,
Uh-huh.
I got and I'm always searching for more formats as well.
Amazing.
There's, like the original DVD release, like the shitty DVD release,
Mhm.
the shitty Blu-ray, and then the newer Blu-ray that Jenny.
That's at my
has
house.
now.
Yes.
And I have also made my own, because I can't find VHS or Betamax copies. I've made my own VHS and
Nice.
Betamax copy. No.
Oh my
no
goodness.
screen yet.
Very nice.
Or no cover yet. So I've
Mhm.
made these from like the most recent theatrical version, with restored picture and.
Nice.
All right, Jason, we got to get Tim and this guy on an episode together.
Yeah, we do.
Sorry,
Tim
go
Allen?
ahead. Tim Allen, yeah, he's gonna be like,
He's a good friend of ours. Yeah. Friend of the show.
no, Graham's back. Uh-oh.
Yeah. I was gonna say, and whoever wins gets the VHS copy of the Warriors.
Oh man, I hope I win. I'm gonna win. I'm winning now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're gonna start off with.
I didn't know there was a
And-
prize. You can't just give me a prize and tell me that I have to win because I will. If there's a prize involved.
Well, we shall see.
Yeah.
So we'll do games with segments. Doughboys rules. Just I'll read it out, and then you have to say your name to buzz in. Okay. And
Okay.
then I'll say it's you or not.
Steven, this one.
But if you say it, then somebody else can get an easy steal off of you.
Right.
And just to not make things too easy, we're gonna jump one right now. So, Cleon, Dorsey, right?
Jason,
Jason, go. Is Cleon
Alive?
alive or dead at the end of the movie?
alive and alive.
No, he's
Steal.
probably dead. He's probably dead. So you don't get a point there.
Okay.
And I'm gonna allow a steal.
Steal.
Yes, Steve.
Character dead. Actor alive.
That's correct. I'm gonna give you 2 points for that.
Nice. Nice.
And
All right.
We're gonna jump back to James Remar Ajax. Go.
Jason,
Jenny.
Jason.
alive.
Ajax alive. James
Actor
Remar.
alive.
Okay, that's 2 for Jason. It's all tied up. Oh, I gotta keep score and make noise on my keyboard every time, baby. Next up, it's Coaches, David Harris,
Jenny.
Jenny. Coaches, alive or dead at the end of the movie?
Alive.
And David Harris,
David Harris. I'm gonna say dead.
you're right.
Thank
He
you.
is dead. He is dead. He died in 2024. And for a bonus point, how do you think he died?
Oh. It was 46 years. Let's say God, I don't know, diabetes.
No, that's wrong. It was cancer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
This is a
sorry,
weird game.
I mean,
well,
yeah.
I didn't need to do that bonus point bit. You know
yeah.
what? If
Bonus
I wanna
point.
get-
How did he die? And you're like, how do I make this not sound racist?
Oh my gosh.
Cancer's racist.
No, but if you said
Gluten
some other
would be
disease,
racist.
Oh. All right, Cowboy,
Jason,
Jason.
dead and dead.
You are incorrect. Just guess the first one, then
Dead.
you can guess the second one if you're correct. You're
Oh.
incorrect.
Okay.
Steele, Jenny or Steven?
he's alive.
Steel.
Steven, you got that. He's alive. What about the actor?
The actor is also alive.
Oh, you got it. He's still alive. He's still
Nice.
kicking. That's 2 more.
And I'm
points
going to
for
guess
you.
that he's alive because he lived a healthy life so far.
Yeah.
Do I get a bonus point or no?
out
No,
on the
okay.
ranch. No,
Mhm.
you don't get a bonus point for talking about how they lived a healthy life. All right, next up is our boy, the Fox, Tom Waits.
Me, Steven. His character died,
Yep,
and his actor is also alive, I think.
that's correct.
Nice.
His actor is still alive.
Yeah.
I don't
He
think we
survived
talked
because
about-
he avoids subways at all cost now.
Yes. I think we didn't talk about this, but he is also in The Thing. That's the only
Oh.
other thing I know him from. He's
Yeah.
in Windows.
Interesting.
He is
He's
in
the guy
thing,
who does the radio and shit.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And wears
Yeah,
the
he does the
sunglasses.
thing. He does the thing. in
Hmm.
the thing. You know what I'm talking
The
about?
only thing I know him from other boss than
I have 6 points. Catch up, fools.
yeah. Score right now is Steven 6, Jenny and Jason sharing 2. Next up, it's not Lincoln.
Jason,
I can say Lincoln is a character from the opening that got cut. That's Cleon's
Oh.
Yeah.
girlfriend.
So Jason doesn't
Jason.
actually know. He just said his name as
Yeah.
quick as
Jason.
possible.
Sometimes it's smart to go in.
Nice.
Go all
I'm
in
gonna
right away.
say alive.
I'm not. That's not one of the.
Oh.
uh,
Jason,
Mercy,
Jason,
Jason,
alive,
Deborah Mercy's alive.
and
What
she
about
lives.
Deborah Van Valkenburg? Is she alive or dead?
She's alive.
She is alive. That's
and
right.
she lives for this movie.
But how did she live in real life, Jason? Do you know?
Well, she had the nippliest shirt, and everybody saw her nipples.
And
the
she
whole
lived
time.
every day of her life that way, and that gave
And
her the
she
most
looked-
fulfilling life that
She
you could ever
lived
have.
so hard. She was too beautiful for this world.
What? But she's
Rembrandt.
still around.
Jenny.
Marcelino Jenny.
Alive.
Character Rembrandt is alive, yes. And actor,
Dead.
he is dead.
Wow.
Wait,
Yes, it was-
it's weird that you know all the dead people. Why do you know
It's-
so many dead actors?
It's a gift I have.
Yeah, you're like, I have a feeling from the moons of Saturn that this motherfucker died
He's
somehow.
dead. He was.
How
was
did he
the
die though?
First one to die. Well, AIDS.
I was gonna ask, like, is it AIDS? Because like it was, the beginning of that era, and he was
Yeah,
clearly gay.
And he's beautiful.
He is
Oh, he was
19,
gay the whole
1986.
time.
Our boy,
He looks
our
like
main actress.
he looks like Tim Curry
I
to
can
me.
see it.
He's got got those vibes, definitely, eh?
He has a Tim
Mhm.
Curry vibe,
Mm-hmm.
but Tim Curry, dead or alive, folks. I'm just kidding.
He's alive.
He's alive, and
Super alive.
Was it you guys who I was talking to about that?
it could be.
You were like convinced he was dead?
no.
No,
No,
it
I would
couldn't
never
have been
get
you
that
guys.
mixed up.
He's alive. He had a stroke, but he's alive.
I will be very sad the day he dies.
Yeah.
I know-
He's
I
in a
know
bad.
Mhm.
He was in a bad shape last year, so he'll be dead soon. I think.
Or not.
Jason
Don't say it
predicting
like
death.
Jesus.
Look, we did it with Val Kilmer. We can do it again.
I don't think that we
No.
did. I think you just decided a thing and then he died.
Yeah.
Are you guys responsible for Louis Anderson too?
Yeah. I mean, I have a voodoo doll of Voodoo Anderson is what I called it. I started
Voodoo Anderson,
smoking it
okay.
with-
Voodoo Anderson. Okay, next up, here comes Snow.
Jason,
Jason, go.
dead.
That's incorrect.
Jason just
Does
didn't
anyone-
watch
would
this
anybody
movie.
like to steal?
He's
Snow.
really good at
Every
buzzing
single
in, but
guy.
really bad at answering the question.
Who's gonna steal?
I'll
Me.
steal.
I mean,
He's
it's-
alive in the movie.
Yeah. There you go. There's one.
Uh,
And what about Brian Tyler?
I have no idea if Brian Tyler is alive or dead, but I'm going to say alive because I want him to be.
Well, that's a good guess, and being optimistic can sometimes pay off. You're correct.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Alive.
Oh my
Runaway
god.
lead, buddy.
And I'm going to say that he lived because he's handsome and he probably had a good life. He's probably got a couple kids, and his kids look up to him and say like, "Dad, have you ever been famous?" And he's like, "I was once, kids, in the movie
Nice.
The Warriors, and I will
Nice.
never show it to you until you're old enough to watch it."
Mm-hmm.
But also, if he was in a movie in 1979, his kids are probably like in their fucking 30s now.
Yeah, they know how to
Yes.
get their own money.
They've seen it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're telling him how to find movies now because
Yeah.
he's in a home.
Mm-hmm.
Next up,
Jenny.
Jenny, go.
Alive.
Uh huh. And Michael Beck is.
I'm gonna say he's dead. I'm going with dead.
Sorry, Jenny. He's
That's
actually
okay.
alive.
I'm delighted to hear that actually
Yeah.
because I was thinking
Yeah.
I was like cursed
Silver
or
lining,
something.
he's still
yes.
alive.
Yes.
He's
Good. I'm
still
I'm
alive.
very happy for him.
This is the first time Jenny has ever guessed that someone was alive, and she was wrong.
Wishing death on our boy. Okay, next up it is the big one himself. Vermin.
Me.
I think that was Jason.
Well, he survived the movie.
Hey!
But he should have died. He should have got killed by the fucking lesbian.
You got
gang.
one.
Terry fucking
I'm gonna-
Mikos.
I'm gonna say Terry Mikos is dead.
Look at that Squidward face. Come on. You cannot tell me that guy doesn't look like Squidward.
He had a good this kind of where he
Like the
he keeps his head up tilted the whole time,
Yeah.
and he was doing it the whole time. And I'm like,
yeah.
I think it's because he's probably short, right? So he's like trying
Yeah.
to make himself look taller by looking up.
Mhm.
He never looks
but he's
that,
like,
stoic and committed in the movie. He's always
Yeah.
complaining about something.
but
Yeah,
he's
it's
also
true.
kind of like he's got like sort of a goofy, like I'm about to start laughing kind of vibe about him, which I liked.
Yeah.
I liked.
Yeah.
I liked Vermin.
Yeah.
Vermin was
Yeah.
okay, and he wasn't rapey like most of the other
No.
gang.
Vermin, I wrote down whiny, hairy chest, big one, and chin.
But also, like, I'll only kiss a girl if she wants to kiss me first.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Vermin's also has the distinction of being in two goofs on screen. So in the very opening of the movie, Cleon is talking to Ajax, and he says, like, you just keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
And when it cuts back to Ajax, the back of Cleon's head is the back of Vermin's head, I think.
Oh.
It's like he goes from being a black guy talking to a white guy, and then it cuts to Ajax's reaction, and it's two
Right.
guys.
Yep.
And in the
Okay,
Lizzie scene-
everybody calm down. We don't need to get into that kind of stuff. Have you ever seen a Steven Spielberg movie? Nothing makes sense in terms of continuity.
It's fun to find just continuity stuff.
Yeah, I know.
And in the Lizzie's scene, Vermin's making out with one of the Lizzies on the couch, and then it cuts to like Rembrandt watching them.
Yeah.
And then you see Vermin walking by in the foreground. So it's like
Yeah, and then it cuts back and he's making out with Rembrandt, and then it cuts to another one. He's making it with a completely different Lizzie, and you're like, "What the hell is going on in this movie? Make up your mind, Obi."
it's just Rembrandt's looking for the big one. Okay.
Wait, did we say if he's alive?
Was he alive or dead? Do we get the point? I said he's dead.
You said he's dead. He's dead. He's alive.
Oh.
So you got 1 point out of that one.
Nice.
I'm gonna jump to a few more, just like the main-ish characters here. There's 2 more.
Okay.
So in theory, I'm not even gonna read the scores.
Ding. I have the highest
I've got the
score.
scores. Yeah.
Cyrus.
Me,
Me. Wait.
Roger Hill. His character obviously dies in the movie. He's the first character to fucking die in this movie. And Roger Hill, I believe, is dead in real life, but I don't know.
Well, that is correct. He is in fact dead.
And he was actually killed in this movie. That's how he died. He got shot for real.
He fell
They
off
were
his ladder.
they didn't actually want his character to die in the movie, but someone shot him for real.
Little
during
known
World War
fact:
XVIII.
The Warriors is a snuff film.
Yeah. This is the
Mhm.
precursor to Jason Lee. No, not Jason Lee.
Jason Lee.
Lee's
Jason Lee's like, geez, he was in a
Brandon,
Kevin Smith
Brandon.
movie, and he got
I was
shot
just
by Kevin
skateboarding in
Smith
there
by
and I got
accident.
shot
Yeah.
with something. Oh.
So I get 2 more points.
And the last one
Is that Wesley
as I
Snipes?
Scroll
Oh, no.
down is
Jenny.
buddy
Ace.
Jenny. David Patrick Kelly. Luther is
I'm going to surmise that he's dead at the
I'd
end
say
of this
so.
movie. And I'm going to say that he's alive in real
You're
life.
correct. He is still alive and kicking.
Yeah.
Not acting so much anymore, but as far as we know,
Doesn't he look like the
Still
penguin
alive.
from the Penguin Show a little bit too?
He does that, yeah.
It's a very pointy, angular face, but
Yeah.
you know, not an unattractive face, just kind of like a weird face where you're like, you probably photograph well, but you know,
Yeah,
I don't
you
wanna
probably do
fuck
some
you.
high fashion modeling, you
Yeah.
know.
I think he
put
was
a
a
boxy
stage-
suit
I
on
think he
this
was a
guy,
stage
and he'll
boy
look like
before this.
he's made to wear it.
What was that,
Is
Graham?
that the end?
I
Is
think
that
he
the
was a
end?
stage actor before this.
Oh, I didn't know
That was the end, Jason. That was the end.
That was the end, and the tallies are in third place.
NPAA, everyone. The NPAA. Wow.
In third place with 5 points is Jason. And the winner with 8 points is Steven.
Hey, people, I know my corpses.
And Jenny had 7 points.
That's what I thought.
Sorry, Jenny. Maybe next time.
Damn it. Damn it, Swan!
You're not all going home losers tonight because it's not
What?
just the winner. I'll mail everybody a copy of The Warriors on VHS so you can not watch all the
Yes.
chase scenes that drive you crazy.
And every single person who's listening right now is also going to receive one. Am I right about that, or is that?
so
Yeah.
much duplicating, so much.
Don't worry, there's only 3 people watching, so
Oh.
it's probably fine. Leave
No.
that thing. Well, Graham, that was the best game we've ever played on this show.
That was such a
also,
good
I'm
game.
probably
Awesome.
going to steal this from you and use it in future episodes. If that's
That would
okay.
be a good one for a Jason game, but except in Jason games, it's like everyone dies. But the thing about like also is the actor alive. That was pretty good, but that doesn't work unless it's like a really old movie like this one.
Yeah.
And a couple of those people
It's
died
just kind of
tragically.
anybody's guess.
Yes.
But, that's
Yes.
fun. Take a risk. Why not? The Warriors did.
They did.
The Warriors did, and you know what? They got home. They got to the beach, and
Yeah,
everybody's
most of them-
Coney Island.
Most of them made it.
Most of them.
And
You know.
we just have a couple things we have left to do here.
Hold
Graham.
on.
Thank you so much.
Hold on. I asked a question at the very beginning of this episode.
Oh yes.
And I want to know if we thought about it a little bit before we got to this point.
What's the question?
Did you all think of a gang name that you would make your gang named?
Oh shit.
And what would you? And what would you name it?
I'll go first. Mine is, of course, the video game players, but they have never played video games before. What they do is
it's the video game player. Like that's part. The video game players is the whole name. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
What they do is when they go into a battle, everything goes 8-bit pixelated, and that's it. So thematically, you're seeing it as it's a video game, but it's an old school video game. That's where I went with my mind.
Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah. He's the reason for the season, am I right, folks?
Hey.
Watch as Jenny and I just pull something out of our butts.
You guys weren't thinking about it the whole time. I told you at the beginning. Think about it.
I thought about it briefly,
Yeah.
and then I was like,
I also thought about it briefly at the beginning, and I didn't think about it till just now. And I'm like, oh man, I didn't actually think about this.
I wish you'd given us a mid-episode, reminder. I might have been sketching something.
I should have been doing it.
Drawing
Yeah.
a costume a while ago.
So that said, let's flip the
I have
coin.
another one. They're just wrestlers. Just a group of wrestlers, and they're all jacked. They have
Nice.
tights on and knee pads.
And all of their
elbow
they
pads.
constantly watch The Wrestler starring Mickey
Yeah.
Rourke
Mhm.
in their headquarters. They're like, this is the
What can
greatest
we
movie
glean- what
ever
can we glean
made.
from this?
So I win this segment because I'm up 2.
Well, thank you. I
he's just gonna keep bringing.
I feel like that's not how this works. I feel like maybe you're
it
down
is.
1 point for continuously trampling over
We're
everybody
just
else.
naming as many gangs as we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
think-
gonna make a gang of that are it's just male podcasters, and they're
They're called
just
the podcasters.
the mics. They're called the mics.
The mic.
And they all have one. They all like carry their Yetis around,
right.
with them.
And they have to
they
renounce
just-
their first name and their first name becomes Mike, and then they
Mhm.
only go by their last name. So it's
Yeah.
like Mike, whatever. Yeah.
And they just show up and just like
Mansplain everything.
mansplain and spread disinformation.
It's a lot of like what Jason was
You
doing to you earlier. Where he's like,
I don't want to tell you that The Rock
No,
wasn't
no, no.
ever there, but The Rock wasn't there. The Rock was never there.
I was just watching.
It was
the-
Booker
Oh,
T,
yeah.
all right?
Mark Carney
That's
said
fair.
he hated orphans.
yeah. Okay. So what is
Exactly.
yours?
Yeah.
Exactly.
My gang is called the Traumatized Toddlers.
Nice.
That's like
They're-
almost like the
they're-
orphans, but
they-
different.
Shit. I was gonna say they all wear green shirts.
Yeah.
They don't get invited to things.
Yeah.
They got lots of problems. They're always talking about their moms and the hitting.
Mhm.
Maybe it was like a
No
prequel
dads.
to the orphans.
Oh, actually,
the orphans.
The name of the group is No Dads. That's it. None of them have
No
dads.
Yeah. It's all moms.
Apologies.
Oh my
to
god.
Anybody who doesn't have a dad.
Yeah.
But,
I,
you know, it's a
I
gang
think
for
that
you.
the traumatized
Yeah,
orphans
exactly.
is like a prequel to the orphans. The
Yeah.
traumatized toddlers is a prequel to the
Yeah,
orphans.
because when the traumatized toddlers, they're really actively,
Mhm.
and they won't stop talking about it.
Yeah.
And when
Yeah.
the orphans, they kind of chilled out and they've really just repressed it. And
My dad went out for a pack of cigarettes, but he could beat up your dad. Yeah, well, my dad also went out for a pack of cigarettes, and I bet he could beat up your dad. Whenever they get back, we'll find out.
and they just like, cross their arms and they never come back. The dads never return.
Cut to it's just a couple skeletons of kids.
Yeah.
Or it's like them growing up slowly, like they're still alive, but they grow up. Mine is called The Red Light Trackers.
Nice.
There's hookers in the city. They're under duress, and we make sure that anybody who fucks with those hookers gets the red light tracker treatment. We hunt you down, we beat you up, and then we expose upon you the same treatment that you may have to those red light hookers. You're gonna get fucked up, bud.
Red light trackers.
Was it just they were fucking the hookers, or they were fucking with the hookers and doing something bad?
You're not gonna know until you find out, Graham R. Pass.
Oh no, my storied history.
Ding, 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 ding.
Oh, don't you start.
Graham's running through an alley. It's raining. He's like, there's red lights like going over the alleys, and he like a little invisible noose goes around his neck. He's like, like it's like lift up an alley, like. And then that's the last we heard of Graham R. Pass.
I should have tipped her 20%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 20. And all your money's falling out of your pockets.
I don't know if prostitutes accept tips.
I think prostitutes would accept tips.
Yeah, they got them.
Sometimes I think
Not
they
the same
do
tip.
only the tip.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
that was two great segments that we did one after another. How about we get into our Home Alone it all, our final thoughts, and our ratings?
If you had to pick one, what do you think the Home Alone of it all?
the Home Alone of it all?
Can someone please tell me when the Home Alone?
I really gotta know.
When is the Home Alone of it all?
What is the Home Alone of it all?
Now that's the Home Alone of it all.
Listen, the Home Alone of it all is, of course, the idea that in the movie Home Alone, Kevin McAllister slaps down the blueprint, and that's the moment we're all there to see.
That's when
Jenny, you've been here before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Graham, you've seen the show. I explained it to you also prior to this. I know it's kind of a dumb. No, it's not dumb. It's a complicated concept. It's a complicated concept, but it's basically kind of your
like
when the movie
at our show. I think
it really truly is. It's, when the movie starts for you. What I want to do here is, Jenny, you get to go first this week, but it is your Home Alone of it all, your final thought, and your rating for the movie, whether it be out of 5 or out of 10 or some stars or some popcorn. The floor is yours to tell us all about everything I just said.
Okay. The Home Alone of it all. The Home Alone of it all. The Home Alone of it all. I would argue is maybe when like Cleon goes down and the boys have to run on their own.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of mine. I have several Home Alones of it all in this one. But yeah, that's one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the elbows for me where I'm like,
right?
Finality. Yeah.
Yeah. And
that
it's
is
just, you're
death.
just like,
Yeah.
whoa.
That is an execution I
shit,
never
just-
thought I'd ever see. Yeah.
Yeah, right? Yeah, exactly. Elbows up, folks. Right? So, yeah, so what's next? The rating, the end, last thoughts?
Your final thought, yeah.
Final thoughts. I am so glad I got to watch this movie again as an adult with a functioning brain, frontal cortex and all that.
What's this thing called again
thing-
inside
well,
here?
I mean, now it's like
It's
now,
a brain.
now it's going downhill again, but where I have all of these resources and stuff to like, it was a much more interesting and like juicy movie to watch this time around with like there's a lot happening there. Like it's really, and it's beautiful, and especially like I am obsessed with those transitions, those like silent streets. So good. I'm gonna hey, rating. I mean, like, is it a 10? I'm not gonna give it a 10. I'm not gonna give it a 10 because, like, you know, Warriors slinging slurs since 1979, right? You know, but
Also another gang name, Slinging Slurs. Yeah.
slurs. But there's honestly if I had to rate this before I watched it again, I would have given it like, I don't know, a 6 or something, and now I'm like a solid like 8.5, like a 9. It's like it's great. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
because we've gone through so much horse shit over the last 2 decades of bullshit movies that you're like,
Right?
wow, this is actually a good movie.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Jenny, you rock. We love you.
That's nice. Thank you. I love you guys too.
Hey, well, we do love you, Jenny. Hey, Graham, you put this on us. Now you have to tell us about your various things.
Give us a golden gram, if you will.
Ooh.
He's
So,
like, I don't have golden ones in me.
So, having listened to a few episodes, my takeaway of the Home Alone of it all is kind of open to interpretation, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it can mean whatever the fuck you want it to mean.
Your favorite part of the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, I could pick many, many favorite parts of the movie, but the Home Alone of it all moment or scene for me is the bathroom fight against the puppets.
Nice.
The boys have been separated. They've gone through their own
Mhm.
trials, and this is the opportunity where they could come back and reestablish the team, take on a gang that's got roughly the same number of members in a very, very memorable fight scene for me that sort of encapsulates the real fun of the movie. Not that that's the only thing that's fun about the movie, but the fights. A lot of the fights, the punches in the face, the kicks in the shins,
The spins.
People at
Yeah.
People like
walls.
get punched and they spin over. Yeah. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah,
That's sick,
it's
yeah.
just they're definitely having fun with it. It's
Mhm.
fun and it's cool, and it's visceral, man. As for, and I could say the same thing about so many other parts of this movie because it's deeply in my soul,
Mhm.
and I could watch it, every day till the end of time.
Yep.
And just try to quote the parts that are appropriate to people around me.
Yeah.
Around you. Wait a minute. This guy's been saying the F slur since
Oh yeah.
2002, and he won't stop.
Yeah. So I mean, it's probably my favorite movie. Not in a technical sense or storytelling sense, just as something that I can appreciate and has a special part within me because of the experiences I have with it with friends so many years ago.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna give it 6 F slurs out of 5.
Whoa.
Nice.
God.
That's more than 5. Because
That's
that
more
he-
F slurs than were even in the movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can assume there were way more off screen than we saw.
Yeah.
Yes.
They were calling each other that the whole time.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna
Steve?
give you a pass. Am I allowed? Like, I don't know if I'm
No.
allowed to give passes. Yeah, I probably shouldn't. Yeah, Graham, yell it as loud as you want. No, I'm just kidding.
That's what I've been waiting for.
My Home Alone of it all for this movie was the moment that Cyrus gets shot, because I didn't remember a lot about this movie, and that was one thing that I didn't remember to its like fullest impact, because that is when the movie begins, where it's like, because imagine this movie without that, where he actually rallies everybody and they just run through the streets, and it's like a crazy like riot movie where they're like, "Rah!" like all these members moving together, and everyone's like, "Uh-oh, the gangs have riled up and they're going against the police." Like, that's a whole different movie. but that movie gets stopped by one bullet that hits this one guy.
Yeah.
And he falls back and dies. And then the entirety of this strength, this sort of like fist that's balling up, just like goes limp, you know,
The potential, yeah.
The potential falls back.
Mhm.
And one of the only people that goes to make sure that he's not dead or that he's okay is the leader of the warriors, and he dies because of it.
Yeah.
It's such a good moment, and it truly makes him seem like a warrior, right? Like
Yeah.
the title of the warriors is not just their gangs. It's like, no, they are warriors. They're there to fight. And like it is good. Like the movie is good. There may be a lot of things that I don't like about it, and there may be a certain drop-off point where I'm like, I'm bored, but then I get back into it by the end. But like the movie is good. It's not a bad movie.
Yeah.
When I think about it in totality, I wish that there was more of a structured narrative throughout, and not just like, let's see what these guys are up to during this escape. You know, like I'd like to see more. And like maybe that's why they made the video game, to be able to flesh that out. Maybe that's why they wanted to make the TV show, to flesh that out. And I do think that there is an interesting story there, but like we didn't really get it in this movie.
Imagine if they made it like Pit style. They had like 15 episodes of like 15 hours, like however many hours.
Every
like,
single
real time.
episode is a different character, like a different,
I would love
with a
that.
different gang.
Yeah.
Like it would have been cool.
I would love that.
There's a lot of potential within this. And again, I don't dislike this movie. I just think that there is like this weird sort of like weighted boot in the middle that I'm like, okay, we get it. They're running.
Yeah.
They're running. Yes, they're running. But that's sort of what the movie's meant to be. But then you look at something like Mad Max Fury Road, a chase movie. There's those belly moments. All they do is develop the characters within them.
Yeah.
You understand who those characters are. That could exist here, but it doesn't really. There are moments of it, but it's not as like refined or well developed. I think that I would never say don't watch this movie, because it is interesting and it's really fun. Like it is a fun cartoony movie, and I like it. I feel like I have way too much to say in the time that we usually should say. Like I should have been talking about this more the entire time. Okay, so it's good, but there's like a big belly sagging in the middle that I think is bad, but it's full of good things. Like you can find good things in a saggy belly and be like, oh, gross. Oh, that's nice. I'll take that. Oh, that's gross too. And then you get to the end and it's good again. If I had to rate this movie,
Which you do.
I do have to rate this movie. You're right. I would give this. What would I give this? Oh, you know what? Like a gang of Spielbergs. Like we're all dressed up as Steven Spielberg, and we're like, gee whiz. And then we all leave, but like one stays, and he gets murdered by the rest of the gang. That's what my rating is. Like he took a little bit, but he left something behind.
Yeah.
And he watched it.
I thank you, all of you. I would like to do the Johnny Carson. Of course, Jenny, anytime you want. Graham, I want to talk movies with you on this podcast a lot, and I hope that you'll come back soon. Please come back to the couch very soon.
If you'll have me.
If you'll have
me.
If I'll have you, which I will. Thank you guys tonight for I knew this was going to go long. I didn't know that it was going to be so dense with good.
I knew.
Hey, how you did?
You said we were going to save the last half hour for the video game.
You also said there were
prequel levels. And
Yeah,
everything. You get to learn
well,
how all the warriors met.
We're still gonna play the game. We're gonna go live on stream and play the
Nice.
game.
My
That's
name's
awesome.
Rembrandt. I love spray painting and sucking dick.
Is that how it goes?
Right.
Probably.
Yeah, that's what the video game is all about.
Right.
My Home Alone of it all is when Cyrus dies. I know that's pretty basic, but once they start running, that's from then on. That's my Home Alone of it all. This is a fun, simple to follow action movie. that I think relies on you to find the lore for yourself, is what I'll say. Which
Yeah.
requires repeat watches, which I did. I watched it twice in the last couple months, which like not a lot of people do that when it comes to movies. Steve is a freak and a pervert. He watches 100 movies all the time, constantly.
I don't know about freak, but pervert. Yeah.
But pervert. But my issues lie mostly with the pacing. My favorite thing about this movie is the thing I dislike about the movie the most is that they rely too heavily on just being chased, the warriors being chased by other gangs, but also I love seeing all of the other gangs. So I'm it's very confusing to me.
I think that
there is
pretty heavily into what you just said, though, which is like it relies on you to find your own lore, which is like
Yeah.
the biggest strength of this movie, I think.
Yeah.
We're creating our own lore.
I think, and that's actually, I think one of the things I like the best about it is because that really appeals to me. There's enough there to really like you can build on it.
You're making it yourself, being like these guys clearly, beat up hookers with baseball bats or whatever.
That said, I do wish that the fight sequences were more fight sequence and less like running up to the fight sequence. I really like fight choreography in action movies. And this movie at its heart is an action movie, but this movie also at its heart is kind of like a road trip movie a little bit, where like let's go to the like in comedy road trip movies like the movie Road Trip, we're going to the thing, we're being presented with
Like
I mean on
like,
paper,
set pieces,
yeah. Come on.
Yep.
that's what I'm saying. I give this movie an overall 3.7 out of 5, and through this conversation I will bump that up to a 4.
Nice.
And I give this
Nice.
movie a did you see this one out of a come out and hey.
Oh
Wait, can we go back to come out your gay like that? That's probably gonna be the t-shirt, right? Like
nice for sure.
You're gay.
And we have one final thing we have to do, and that's our plugs.
Oh my god. I forgot about the plugs.
All right, let me just plug this in right here and.
That's right, he's dead. Graham, do you have anything to plug this week?
I have nothing to plug. I'm just a regular man who collects too many tube TVs and VHS tapes, and struggling
Too
to be
many.
an editor. So
Nice.
that's it.
Do you have a message for the world?
Oh yeah.
I'll be right here. Sorry, you have an ET poster.
Stop it. Stop what you do.
Well, I love that. Yeah, cut it out, you guys. Well, thank you, Graham. I figure that deserves an applause. Graham, I knew you'd be good at this, but I didn't realize that you're a podcaster. You exemplify the very aura of a podcaster, and
Get out of here.
And not in the way I was talking about.
yeah, not in that a herd of men is called a podcast.
Yes.
In the same way a herd of ravens is called a murder.
Yeah.
Well, I do listen to an ungodly amount of podcasts. I'm wearing 3 pieces of podcast swag because that's what
Very
you do when
nice.
you record a podcast. Right?
Very nice. Yep, that's right.
Yeah, you got to wear all your podcast swag.
Mhm.
So
It's true.
What does that one say? Gay what? Gay frosty gay? What does it say?
this just says Snow Gators.
Ah,
Snow Gators. It's a
Nice.
Doughboys shirt.
nice.
So
I like the
Should have
Doughboys.
spelt it with a Y. Oh wait, you're not pod.
It's a real obscure reference. You know,
All right.
podcasts.
Yeah.
Podcast. I mean,
Twinkerbell.
What is that?
Yeah.
Thank you, Graham. How about you, Jenny? What do you got going on?
Well, I got a bunch of stuff. Okay, so I make paintings. I'm a painter. You can find my paintings. Well, actually, you can't find my paintings since I've sold most of them. Yay! But I have prints, folks. I've got prints. So you can pop over to my website. Sorry, it's late. JennyRJohnson.com. And God, this Band-Aid is fucked. Anyway,
I thought you wrote notes on the Band-Aid. You're like, I wrote micro notes on here to remind me. Of
My middle
So you
initial
can
is
go-
R.
You can go over to my website, jennyrjohnson.com. You can find my shop there. You can sign up for my newsletter, which I highly recommend because that's where you're going to find out when I'm dropping new prints, which is something that is going to be happening in the next month or so. Also, you can find me on a multitude of social media platforms at Jenny R. Johnson Art. I am on Facebook, Threads, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and even Red Note, although I haven't been over there in a couple of weeks. Anyway, also you can find me on Virtual TrekCon's live shows on Tuesdays and Friday nights, live on their YouTube. Virtual TrekCon, we do a news show on Tuesday nights, and we do Star Trek and Chill on Friday nights. And it's fun. And I got to talk to Jonathan Frakes on Tuesday night this week, and that was
Oh my goodness.
sick. Yes. Anyway, so you should
How
go back
do
and
I
watch
come hang out with you guys on that? Let me come once in a while.
that. Jonathan Frakes and Armin Shimmerman and John Billingsley all at the same time. Baby.
That's pretty
That's
cool.
great. Anyway, sorry, that was just me bragging. Anyway, so aside from that, that's all I got.
Well, thank you, Jenny. I appreciate that. I appreciate that you rubbed that Jonathan Frakes personally in my face.
You just followed me
Why
on
do you have to
Instagram
always do
yesterday.
that? Don't be rude.
It's
Don't be
funny.
rude.
Jenny's laughing.
Did you get him to do a recreation of that supercut of that show?
You ever ride a bike
next?
Did you get him
kinda-
to go over your head in the reverse? When he stings over a chair like your head, that would be crazy.
Steve, what do you have to plug this week? What do you got cooking on the back burner, my man, my guy?
Well, I have one brand new thing that I'm not allowed to tell you about, and I was told to specifically not tell you about, which makes me feel cool.
Godfather,
very cool.
Yeah.
But I also am doing Darth Theorist and the Three-Eyed Theorist. Every week we do 4 to 5 videos between the two. And it's me narrating. I do stuff like this. What if Darth Vader was a tiny little baby? Let's explore the depths of it in the video. And then you guys are like, wow, look at him go. He's a tiny little baby. And he's like, like strangling people and stuff. That's kind of the idea behind it. Not that weird, but it's usually like a more normal version of that.
Kind of that weird.
But it's good. We're almost at 40,000 subscribers on the Star Wars channel, and we're
That's
almost at
awesome.
20 on the Game of Thrones channel. The Game of Thrones channel is more like me being like, "What the fuck did we do, Papa?" or whatever. No, I'm pretty good at the voices. I'm making it seem bad now because it's funny. Yeah. Okay. I also draw a lot of stuff and do a lot of other things, but here we go.
We can find this show right here each and every week on Twitch and YouTube and Facebook and Kick and Instagram at Hey Did You See This One at 8 p.m. Eastern every week, Thursday. We never miss a week. We haven't missed weeks in a long time. There's 52 weeks in a year. Sometimes we do 51 weeks because
That's insane.
We just get to take a week off if there's 5 Thursdays.
There was one year where we did 62, and there are missing episodes. What happened to those episodes?
we were going across time zones, and it was
Nice.
That's funny that you say that because Hulk Hogan actually claims that he wrestled 367 days in a year because of time zones.
I mean, there's also one thing that we should never do, and that is believe anything that Hulk Hogan claims.
No, you couldn't be more right.
Again.
Yeah. Graham, real quick, could you put your head to the your left side of the screen? Just really quick.
So just move to the left.
Yeah.
Move to the left. There you go.
Sorry. Move to the right.
Move to the right. Yeah, there you go.
Get
Nice.
get
Oh,
teabagged by Zardoz.
he wanted you to get the taste of.
It's the rite of passage here.
Shade. My name is Shade, and I'm here to fight for Zardoz.
But speaking of Zardoz, we do have merch. You can get the Grimoire Familiar Killers t-shirt. You can get the Kill Aid t-shirt. You can get the Twinkerbell t-shirt. You can get the Zardoz t-shirt, and you can get the Howie Mandela Effect t-shirt. And one of these days, I'll pull the trigger on Corporal Tunnel Syndrome. And these are all drawn in-house by our very own Stephen R. Waters.
I drew those. I drew them with my own 2 hands. I got 2, but I mostly use this one. Yeah.
Probably just use one.
Yeah.
And just before we get out of here, I had hummed and hawed on how to do this. But Jenny, I think you've said it enough times. I think that I made you say it with. You said it alone. I made you say it with Simon. But I think this week I just have.
Oh God.
I just have to ask.
It's another rite of passage.
A German accent, and we couldn't really get it right.
It's okay. You just do it really fast. It's fine.
But I think this week we're just gonna have Graham, who brought this delightful movie to us, ask the question that needs to be asked each and every week. And Graham, would you go ahead and ask that for us right now?
Hey, did you see this one?
Say something funny, or else.
Funny.
Or else.
Oh my God! I think that might be the best one we ever heard, Jason.
Hit it!
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.
Let's get the hell out of here.
Listen, both of you. There are no such things as dragons. What you saw was something that looked like one. I'm trying to think what it was.
How do you know there aren't? Anyhow, what do you know about animals? Did you ever see a mongoose dance? Or a scorpion with sunstroke sting itself to death? Or a praying mantis eat her husband after making love?
I hate to admit it, but I haven't.
Well, I have.